Chapter 51 3 months pregnant? Olvia wants to be a great waitress for the husband. Let me hear a little. Could it be that little Robin is really starting to move? Rob approached his wife Olvia's belly and placed his head on her stomach, which began to swell a little, showing signs of a pregnancy that had come out of its early stages. Today when she was working in the Great Library, Olvia felt some kind of movement from the baby in her womb, and because she was so excited about it, she left everything in her hand and at once came home to wait for her husband like an obedient wife. When Rob returned a little tired from his trip to Sky Island, this was the first news he heard. Now reminded that he's going to be a dad, after another 6 months, he's going to be a dad? Yes, it has been 3 full months of pregnancy. I guess it's just a normal baby forming event. Little Robin hasn't reached full maturity to be able to move on her own. My love, you excited me for nothing. No, I'm just kidding. This is our Robin. She's sending her compliments to Mama and Papa for sure. When he raised his head and saw Olvia's weeping face, as she was surely going to burst into tears, he changed his words to what Olvia immediately wanted to hear. I'm sorry, science. In this world of One Piece you have to be subjected to all kinds of torture and break your bones. The bones of science is the logic. Rob apologized internally to the science of medicine and all sciences in general. Yay, see, I said that? Dear, our little Robin knows there is daddy and mommy who really loves her and wants her to be born sooner. Olvia hugged Rob excitedly and they fell on the bed together. Rob allowed himself for Olvia to hug him as she wanted. If he has to regret one thing he's done so far, when he make her know about his system shop. Since she got to know about it, in addition to the chaotic hormones of the pregnant woman, this formed an unknown chemical reaction, causing a huge change to Olvia's personality. Perhaps even the immortal blood affected her slightly. She has become a quarrelsome woman and a naughty, of the first degree. If he doesn't give her what she wants, he will not sleep in his bed and in the cuddle of his wife for sure. Pregnant woman was a big headache. Since she was introduced to the amazing female items he could pull out of nowhere, his art points became Olvia's property. Dear, are we going to have more kids after Robin? Olvia asked a question she had already asked dozens of times, and she was doing this because she loved hearing Rob's answer every time. Rob moved as if he was already used to it, and kissed her cherry lips with unparalleled passion before slipping down her milky neck and giving her an addictive lick. AHN. We will definitely have more. In the future this father's children will conquer the entire seas world. We are immortal, my love. Babies manufacture in the future will be our only entertainment. Ha 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 ha, don't tickle me in there, ah ha ha ha. Rob made her again know what it meant to laugh to death. When Rob felt that was enough, he stopped tickling her. You are cruel, my dear, this is just torture. Well, don't you like it? Not that. Well, I love it. Stop looking at me with that disappointed look. You said that you want to flood this world with children. I love your idea, but this I will decide after experiencing the pain of childbirth. If it is too painful to bear, you must cancel this great plan. Olvia looked at Rob with a meaningful look. In fact, she would have liked to give Rob thousands of children if that was what he wished for, but when she was talking to her friend Matriarch and some other women who had already experienced the pain of childbirth, they told her that the worst pain in life is the pain of childbirth. Just thinking about experiencing the pain of childbirth 1,000 times made her spine tremble. Rob's eyebrow raised in surprise when he heard that. Her answer this time was different. The pain of childbirth is really hard, but for someone with a semi-immortal body like you wouldn't cause you much pain. Don't compare yourself to ordinary mortals, my sweet. Rob was sure of this matter. Really? I said I'd think about it after giving birth. Ma, don't lick that place now. I haven't showered today yet. It's disgusting. Stop. Rob didn't wait for her answer and actually sank between her legs as his pink-shaved treasure appeared in his sight. Tasting this treasure daily was what made his life so rosy. Since sex is temporarily unavailable, there is nothing wrong with some necessary exercise. It doesn't matter, it's still clean for me. Stop. Don't lick there, AHN. You always don't stop until you make me orgasm. Don't you know I'm the most tormented person here? Living without him in the hole is hard as hell. I know that, but where did you learn these dirty words, sweetie? Of course, it's you. I only knew historical terms before getting to know you. No, before you knew the meaning of life because, before that, you were shyer than me. Yes, the meaning of life is wrong, which is so nasty. I have something to say to you, husband, will you do it for me? Olvia looked with puppy eyes at Rob as if telling him that if he didn't achieve what she wanted she would really cry. I have already pampered you so much, no problem with more. Tell me, what do you want me to create for you this time? The system shop front appeared in front of Rob, and he was already ready to buy a new type of cosmetics, or a new women's clothing, or a new iPhone. His art points were 2,400,450 art points. Regarding the iPhone, Rob bought a whole internet Rezo terminal, small, and put it on the personal property he bought in O'Hara. Just because Olvia liked the look of the phone, she ordered one for herself and a set of phones for her friends. When Rob turned on the network, it allowed them to communicate with each other like Den Den Mushy, but much better. Rob has created a mini community, Google, on the island of O'Hara, but visitors to this online world are limited so far, only Olvia and her female friends and other archaeologists. This was a long-term project that Rob wanted to create. Well, his content so far only talks about art stores, manga, One Piece, and some women's chat rooms. In the future, Rob will make the entire world use the internet. After all, he didn't forget his skills from his previous life, which was based on the internet world. I want the same maid outfit that Belmere always wears. Huh. Rob was dumbfounded for a moment, but out of nowhere an amazing picture of Alvia formed in his mind. She wears a white and black maid's dress, has bunny ears on her head and a woolen ball above her butt as a rabbit's tail, and she wears long net socks above the knee, but the rest of her white thighs are completely exposed. While wearing this seductive outfit, she looks at him with a cute bunny look and says, "How's that, husband? Am I cute in that maid dress?" Rob felt a burning pain in his nose as if the blood in his head was already going to explode. "Husband? What are you thinking? Your face is all red. Why do you want a maid's clothes?" "Simply put, because I want to work in your art stores as the head waitress. Not only I do, my group of female friends want to work in your store, my dear. You don't need to ask. I want to enjoy working there as much as Belmere. I'm tired of just being an archaeologist. I'm a married woman now. Archaeology will be my secondary job that won't need my presence. Looking after my husband's business is my main business from now on." Alvia winked at Rob as if she already knew all about his fetish. Rob's eyelashes twitched while staring at Alvia, who looked serious. This was totally unexpected. Chapter 52. What a dilemma it is to have a pregnant wife? Dracula my hawk interacted with the manga. "How do I look? Husband, why your nose bleeding?" Alvia looked at Rob with unreal bewilderment. She already knew he was excited to see her in such strange clothes. Inwardly, she was feeling with great enthusiasm. Inwardly she feeling very excited. She finally found something interesting to tease this mysterious husband. "And nothing, it's not blood. Anyway, that outfit you're wearing is so sexy, it really made me excited." Very quickly, Rob wiped the blood from his nose and regained his earnest face so as not to lose all his face in front of this chief wife. Alvia stood before Rob, wearing a high-quality maid's dress, much better than the one he had bought for Belmere. The pregnancy, the maid's tight dress, and all the care she took with herself thanks to the items and lotions that Rob was buying her, made her the most beautiful woman in the world. She looked kind of like the futuristic Robin from Arc Wano, only her hair color and clothes were different. "So you like this dress I'm wearing? What do you call it?" Maid's dress, right. "Well, of course, I like it. Anything you wear will definitely suit you." "Heh, you mean you don't particularly like this outfit?" Alvia approached Rob and hugged him before whispering in his ear in a very sexy way. Rob grabbed her by the waist and carried her off the floor with ease. "Do you think you can tease me some of the secrets that naughty Belmere told you?" "Yes, I especially love this outfit, but I love you more than that. You are not allowed to wear this scandalous outfit in public, do you understand?" Rob said in a dominant manner. "Does that mean I'm allowed to wear it in front of you, esteemed husband?" Alvia still feels that her majestic husband looks very cute, although she is 4 years younger than him as she was 24 while Rob was 28 years old, but sometimes she feels like she is playing the role of a mother who takes care of her child. She knows that Rob was so childish at times that he seemed like a child in need of affection. "Of course, you can. I give you a statement authorizing you to wear anything in front of me, no matter how scandalous. You are such a jealous and impudent husband, but I love it." What do you think of this? Is it good to wearing it for work?" This time Alvia wore a maid's dress that wasn't tight and hid almost the majority of her body, but the typical maid's cuteness could never be hidden. It was a masterpiece to the eyes. "You are really wonderful, my love. So does this mean that you accept my proposal to work in your store?" "No problem, but I will add a new law. Anyone who looks at my wife with a lustful look will be banned from entering my stores for life." "Huh? That's too cruel of jealousy, my dear. There is no debate in this." The next day Rob went with Alvia to a group of her friends who also wanted to work in his store. Among them was Matriarch, the celestial dragon. Only Alvia knew her true identity. Most of them were married women, but there are also unmarried young women. They were only 7 women. Rob accepted them at work only because of his wife's insistence. The group of women was so happy, the Saint Rob hiring them to his divine store. Since they got to know Belmere, who was technically considered a maidservant for their friend Alvia, they also wanted to work as waitresses and support their families. This is still a world of One Piece where it is difficult for ordinary people to live a decent life after all. After he formally appointed them, he left their organizing and supervising to his wife and Belmere, then he left for his work. It was really problematic to have a pregnant wife. Ding! Plus 1000 art points from Dracula my hawk. What? The first half of the Grand Line, on an island. A young man who seemed to be about 14 years old was sitting on a huge rock. At the bottom of the rock were scattered many severed corpses. From the shape of the corpses, they looked like a whole crew of fierce pirates. Their leader was a powerful swordsman on the Grand Line, leading his crew to challenge my hawk, the arrogant kid who wields a supreme sword and flaunts it everywhere. But now the entire crew is a thing of the past. On the rock, the young man with sharp eagle eyes carried the manga One Piece, which happened to be the book in which his future version appeared. Yes, that kid was Dracula my hawk. My hawk closed the book in astonishment. For the first time his face showed an expression he had lost years ago. It was utter astonishment and amazement. My hawk never thought that there would be something in this world that made him feel such absolute curiosity, but now he was already in his hands. The manga in his hand wasn't original, it was just a copy he got by chance from a shop that sells manga copies of One Piece book because he saw that shop cause a big commotion. Yes, indeed, even Rob doesn't know that his manga books are starting to be copied and sold on the Grand Line by unknown parties. This is the world of pirates. Manga piracy that all manga publishing companies suffered in his previous world is the easiest type of piracy in this world, of course, if Rob doesn't decide to make it difficult. But does he really have to do that? Without these people working so hard for him, he wouldn't have gotten more art points and more fame. So that's me in the future? Have I already fulfilled my father's dream? I will become the greatest swordsman in the world? I did it. Mihawk felt absolute dread. Since he was still a child, he was more likely to feel dazed, mysterious, and even excited about a mysterious event like this, even if he was a cold and lonely kid like Mihawk. And I'll have a friend too? Redhead Shanks? I'll remember you. Maybe this guy will be the only swordsman who will ever compete against me in the future. I will double my training from now on. I will not allow my future to affect my will. Without even realizing Mihawk, his hand opened the book again and saw what it would look like in the future when he recognized Zoro's design and used his black sword to cut him with it. He couldn't believe his future self had said such words. I will wait for you to defeat my sword, Roronoa. What the hell is this? So embarrassing. Mihawk reread the manga book over and over again and never got tired of it no matter what he watched. I have decided, I will go to the 4 seas to get more of this book and I will see the kind of great person who can know my great future. With that, Mihawk decided, unusually, to look for something other than a swordsman. He will search for more manga books. Chapter 53 The bravery of an immortal man is not for nothing. I think Mihawk will be the same age as Shanks right now. Well, he'll be just another excited kid when he sees himself in the manga. Rob removed the system window and continued on his way, although he was curious about Mihawk's reaction to the manga, but he'll leave that for later. Now, he was going to Skypiea again, via the art store, which made it easier for him to travel. He received word from Ganfall that the fruit he wanted had already been found. Finding a devil fruit in 3 days was an achievement counted to Ganfall and his subordinates. Or perhaps the rewards he promised were tempting enough to make the Skypieans go berserk to overturn the entire island of Pyska. When Rob arrived at the O'Hara art store, he didn't ignore his customers' greetings and responded with a gentle smile before disappearing into his personal section. From there, he teleported to Angel Island. Rob walked out of his personal section of the store and was happy to see the Skypieans who look like angels spread out in every section of his store happily discussing the events of the manga. This was the 3rd day of the art store in Angel Island, and its appearance caused a wave of excitement in Angel Island that extended to neighboring small islands such as Pyska Island. The appearance of this store was the first of its kind on Sky Island, and with this, Rob was considered the first person from the Blue Sea to open a project of this kind on Sky Island. As for the price of the manga, it was determined by Rob in 2.000 Ixtal per volume. Ixtal is the official currency of the Skypieans. If compared to the berry, it is pathetically low, so Rob decided to help these poor people raise the value of their currency and make it at least close to half the value of the berry. Since Rob is a huge trade giant at the moment, he can make such changes and control the currency market easily by turning his palm. Sky Island residents hadn't trouble to buy art store products. They were cheap and cool. After making sure that all was well, Rob continued on his way to Ganfall's residence. Ganfall's title as a god was too embarrassing even for Rob, who could be considered a demigod with only his immortal body. Ganfall is just a normal man in his 40s right now. The moment he learned of Rob's arrival, the Skypiea god's aura went unheeded and he became just an ordinary, extremely humble man. He took a small box that was beside him before he descended from his throne and entered the majestic guest room. Inside, Rob was sitting sipping a cup of tea made for him by a beautiful maid like an angel. Rob's thoughts were that the god of Skypiea was really enjoying himself, because his palace was so full of angelic beauty, that even Rob began to feel greedy thoughts about this palace. If he became a god of Skypiea, wouldn't he have all of this? Rob cleared his evil thoughts for the time being when Ganfall entered the guest room with a confident smile on his face. Hello, Mr. Rob, your return is really fast. I thought it would take a few days to get back to Skypiea, but you seem to really appreciate this thing. Ganfall put the little box on the guest table. Rob didn't speak as he took the small box and opened it. As he expected, the blue-colored devil fruit was like an apple and had a small branch resembling a lightning bolt quietly placed inside the box. You found it really? And really fast at it? I'm frankly amazed. Ha 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 ha, no, if Mr. Rob hadn't located Pyska Island as its location, we wouldn't have been able to find it so quickly. The Pyska Island jungle was already small, only 1,000 knights in service was enough to completely searching in the forests of Pyska Island, stone by stone, and tree by tree, and it was found after 3 days of continuous searching. Although he said that, his face was showing pride in the efficiency of his men, which made even someone as strong as Rob be surprised. Had it not been for some irritating difficulty who got in our way, we would have found it in less time. Ganfall's expression turned slightly angry, but in Rob's eyes, this person was only pretending. Rob didn't care why the other party was pretending, but he asked him about it anyway, even though he had an idea of what was going on. It is some outside rebels, they are called the Shandians. When they found out that we were looking for something in Pyska, they tried in every way to obstruct it, and this caused the search to be delayed more than once. Just as Rob had expected, this fake god was trying to use his hand to destroy the Shandian resistance, but would Rob allow someone to exploit him without paying the proper price? Heh, what a joke. Mr. Ganfall, really, it doesn't matter. I'm not angry. On the contrary, I'm glad you were able to find this devil fruit for me in record time. Ganfal's expression convulsed, but he returned to show a friendly smile. Thank you for your praise, Mr. Rob. As I said before, you have my word. I will invest in many profitable projects here in Sky Island. I will also open a fast and safe transportation station between Sky Island and Blue Sea. I will announce the station in due course. Rob was planning to announce this type of mega project when he introduces the Skypiea arc in the manga. Thus, the inhabitants of the Blue Sea would not remain ignorant of the reality of the existence of Sky Island as they are now. I am truly grateful for your effort, Mr. Rob. Thank the heavens for sending us such a great person. Mr. Ganfal, I have a piece of advice for you. Try to take good care of the orphaned or abandoned kids on your island, to avoid a future disaster. Perhaps by doing so you have only avoided half of the disaster. Rob pointed to the little box he was carrying. Especially try to prevent your people from bullying the kids. Find Enel on the island of Paiska, and take care of him. As soon as he said that, Rob completely disappeared from the guest room. Enel. Ganfal remained frozen in place as he digested Rob's advice. Did Rob mean he was falling short in his job as a ruler? Rob stood at Angel Beach overlooking the White Sea. It was at a point far from any human activity. Here he can go through his horrific experience in peace and without any disturbance. Rob looked at the devil fruit in his hands and couldn't stop the excitement rising in his heart right now. This is because the devil fruit he catches in his hand is the lightning fruit? Logia type, Goro Goro no Mi. What would happen if a normal person ate 2 devil fruit? Would it possibly explode and die? And what if an immortal person ate 2 devil fruit? Will he explode and die too? The paper devil fruit that the divine platform gave to Rob is completely free of side effects, but it is still a devil fruit, where the devil lives? From the system, Rob knew he would die if he ate another fruit. Chapter 54 Eating Goro Goro no Mi and death in the most horrific way. But beware what? The abundant rewards loves the brave people, the abundant rewards love the brave personas? This was Rob's principle in life. In his first life, and this life as well. Rob has always been a brave person, not just for the rewards, but for another reason as well. Every time Rob takes on a rather dangerous challenge, he's going to have the most exciting time ever. Rob was obsessed with the dangerous challenges. This obsession and lack of fear are what made him such a dangerous person in the past. Now he is facing this kind of challenge, although internally he is sure that he will not really die, but the pain of death will surely be felt. Rob's face was red with excitement as he brought a devil fruit to his mouth. 1 bite is enough to make him gain the fruit ability. But the price would be very high, for someone like him who already had a fruit ability. Okay, if it works out and I get the lightning fruit ability, I swear I'll start posting the Bleach manga chapters in the stores starting tomorrow. I'll also start creating Naruto anime, One Piece anime, and maybe Dragon Ball anime also. Rob took a long breath before taking a bite of the devil fruit. 3, 2, 1, bite. Disgusting? I've never tasted shit in my life, but I can confirm that what I ate now is real shit. Huh? Arg. Before Rob could finish his sentence, something horrific happened to his body. His handsome and manly body began to lose its human form, every part of his body bulging out in a fit of disgust. Pulsating green veins appeared on every part of his body, and Rob began to transform into a monster-like being. Arg. A blood-soaking shriek rang out from Rob. The pain he was feeling right now was extremely horrific, a pain he had never thought he could feel in his life before. Half of his body turned to paper and then paper began to fall from his body like trees in the fall, while the other half was crackling with blue bolts and very dangerous lightning. Rob looked like a generator lost its control on himself and was about to explode. The hell? Painful? Painful? Like hell. Rob's voice turned into a beast-like roar, from which a horrific aura of Conqueror Haki spread out, which started to become more and more frantic and enveloped a large area of Sky Island. Conqueror Haki of Rob evolved in the process as it began affecting the sky above. A terrifying thunderstorm formed, centered on Rob himself, who no longer looked like Rob, but more like an unknown monster made of lightning bolts and paper blades. Rob's roar continued to spread across the entire Sky Island as his roar terrified everyone on the Sky Island. His body swelled more and more until he reached the stage where his stamina was no longer sufficient to withstand the calamity. In an instant, the world around Rob was completely silent. The sea creatures of the White Sea fled to the bottom of the White Sea because their instincts warned them of the coming frightening catastrophe. There are even sea kings who fell from the White Sea and returned to the Blue Sea, but of course, they fall from a height of 10,000 meters above sea level is not a joke. Even a giant sea king will turn into a rain of blood. Boom! A horrific shockwave formed and spread out in all directions. It looked like a nuclear bomb had exploded at this moment. Rob's flesh and blood flew everywhere, not even dust left. It was his immortal body that protected him from death for so long and contributed to his suffering too much, and it was also because of the immortal body that gave him overwhelming stamina causing such a horrific explosion. If it was just an ordinary person who ate another devil fruit, he would have exploded and died within seconds and the matter would be over. But for Rob it was different. In Rob's place, there are only 2 pulsating balls that look like a heart, a ball made of blue lightning and a ball of white paper. Suddenly flesh and blood enveloped the 2 balls very quickly. In an instant, 2 perfectly pulsating human hearts formed. Many veins and arteries began to cover the 2 hearts, and out of nowhere a bone thoracic cage appeared, from which white bones extended and formed a new skeleton. The skeleton was enveloped in the meat once more, and golden-colored glowing blood spread across the entirety of the body and white skin began to coat the flesh. In less than a second Rob's body formed again, the only difference being that he was naked and his black hair had gotten too tall. Rob passed from perfect nirvana within 1 second. This was the true greatness of the immortal body that does not die. Rob opened his eyes and a yellow flash spread out from them. Rob stood silently and watched the devastation caused by his previous test on the area. The devastation was horrific as the ground below was completely destroyed. Only the white clouds remained below, as the white sea continued to seep from the newly formed hole. This horrific fucking method for death, something that should not be repeated again. I really wonder why the Navy didn't execute Kaido by feeding him another devil fruit. He would definitely die by this way. Rob wore simple summer clothes, which allowed his stomach muscles to appear in full, and he also wore short pants similar to Ace's short pant in the anime. Rob silently looked at his hand. The moment he thought of that, blue lightning bolts filled with tyrannical power appeared in his hand. He, I did it. Overwhelming offensive power. That's exactly what I was lacking. Now I'm really going to let the world government know what it means to be terrified. Badump, X2. Badump, X2. Badump, X2. Rob put his hands on his left and right chest and smiled a smile of victory. He didn't expect that his immortal body would grow another heart to take possession of the devil fruit's ability. With this, even the sea curse would not work on him, since his main heart doesn't contain on any curse. Even though his second heart already contains the sea curse, it acts as a seal for it. Rob didn't intend to do any of this. It happened because of his immortal body. He still didn't understand what kind of body he was, but he was absolutely sure that the sea curse was completely sealed in his second heart and without the ability to affect his physical body. Plus he could freely use the abilities of the lightning fruit. Rob was truly grateful for his immortal body. He was starting to discover a few of its terrifying potentials now. Zay ha 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 ha. Now, I kind of feel Blackbeard's feeling when he got the quake fruit. What a great feeling. White paper wings scattered from Rob's back and he shot like a screamer through the cloud hole and pierced toward the blue sea below. The white wings were enveloped in the crackling of blue thunder, speeding Rob's movement forward. In his falling path towards the blue sea, all that appeared from Rob was a white and blue flicker. Chapter 55 New manga appears. Soul Society and Soul Reapers? Can we have a Soul Society too? Did you hear the new news? No, I didn't hear anything. What happened? Do you live under a rock or what? Even blind and deaf people have heard of it. Sorry, but I was on a fishing trip recently so I don't know anything. Is it about the art store? Don't tell me I missed a new book from One Piece. No, the weekly update date for the One Piece manga has not yet come. So what's up, tell me? You've really got me excited, man. Look at this here. The man took out a manga under the title Bleach featuring an orange-haired boy in a black uniform with a great sword on his shoulder. This new manga. The man was so dumbfounded that he remained paralyzed in place for a few minutes. Such events took place on every island that had an art store on its territory. This morning the art store announced by the store's beacon the release of 2 new manga volumes called Bleach. This announcement spread like wildfire among manga fans, causing a huge commotion. Even sleeping people had to wake up due to the commotion. Bleach was the second manga that Rob decided to draw and release for publication in this world after much thought. He chose Bleach manga for the main reason that it is already a completed manga. All he has to do is draw the events in his head as they are until he finishes the manga. The second reason is that it's such a great manga that it hasn't even lost to manga of One Piece. Rob put 2 volumes of Bleach manga on store shelves. The first volume is The Alternate Shinigami Arc. The second volume is Soul Society Arc. Once released, 10,000 copies of each volume were reduced by the thousands by hungry manga fans. Alvia, Matriarch, Belmere, and the rest of the waitresses looked bitterly at the many people fighting to get at least one manga book. They were dressed up as gorgeous maids while placing orders for the people who had chosen to read the new manga in the store's tavern. For Alvia, Belmere, and Matriarch who had already read the Bleach manga, they kind of understood what the fuss was about. In the village of Syrup. Huh? Rukia is so cute. Oriaminu also? This bastard Kurosaki is very lucky. At this moment, the 18-year-old Usopp was enjoying the new manga very much, although he is a true lover of the One Piece manga of which his future son is one of the protagonists, but this didn't stop him from liking the new manga. Like anyone who has bought Bleach manga books, Bleach's story was very strange and interesting to these people. No, it would be more correct to say that it was the world that Bleach manga revealed that made them feel in awe. The modern world seems covered in layers of surreal mystery to them. It was another world? The Bleach manga made them think about the possibility of other worlds, and other lives different from them. It is exactly the same obsession with aliens that plagues the inhabitants of Earth. You bastard Ichigo? How can you allow Rukia to be kidnapped? Follow them and bring back my Rukia. Sorry, Bank-hina, looks like I've found a new love in this life. Usopp was talking nonsense as he put his hand on the picture of the beautiful Rukia who was sarcastically looking at Ichigo, but at this moment it seemed to Usopp as if she was looking at him sarcastically. Huh? What did you say? Let me hear you again. The color disappeared from Usopp's face when he heard the angry female voice behind him. He quickly closed the manga folder and turned around to justify the misunderstanding. Oh, Bank-hina? No, I said it's nice day to enjoy a new romantic date with my dear Bank-hina. Although they weren't married yet, they were friends more like lovers at this point. Guys, hurry up. I want all our historical manuscripts. Get them all out. Today we're going to study history again. Come on. Why are you so slow? The world is so big and so vast, and we haven't even been able to discover the truth of a meager 100 years. We won't be looking at the empty century anymore. From now on, we will look for clues about the Soul Society, Shinigami, and Hollow. Took out anything abnormal that was recorded in history and had no explanation until now. Maybe it has something to do with the Soul Society. Professor Clover cried aloud to the rest of the archaeologists who ran here and there among the great library looking for historical records. Ever since Clover and his crew knew Bleach manga read, they've become obsessed with this Soul Society. Since their world also has life and death, logically, does this mean that they will have their own Soul Society as well? A society where souls go after death. Come on, if we can use Ryotsu too, maybe immortality won't be out of our hands anymore. Shinigami? Hollow? Interesting, this man's stories are getting more and more interesting. I want more, make me have more fun, ha ha ha. On a majestic throne, seeming like a throne ruling the entire world, a dark figure sat on the throne. But the attractive curves of the figure lurking in the dark can still be discerned. In his hands, or perhaps in hers, was a manga that featured Kurosaki Ichigo, who had turned into a Shinigami and killed the Hollow. Chapter 56. The success of the new manga across the 4 seas. Big Mom in the art store, Southern Blue, Bait-Rilla. Knock, knock. Rouge opened the door of her house and was surprised to see a group of women dressed as maids, but she recognized the white-haired woman who seemed to have a leadership aura among the group. Hello, are you going to leave your friend at the door? Alvia lowered her glasses that she had recently started to wear at eye level, and looked at Rouge with a smile. Sorry about that, please come in. The group of 3 women and 1 teenage girl, Alvia, Matriarch, Rouge, Belmire, sat in the guest lounge inside Rouge's house. They'd been chatting happily for some time now, talking about the new manga that caused such a stir. Bleach. It turns out that Rouge had read and liked the manga too. Like all someone who read the Bleach manga, she wondered what kind of world the modern world is, and why it's so far ahead of theirs. The discussion about Shinigami and Soul Society continued after that, and about the real purpose of Alvia and her group coming to Rouge's house. Rob hasn't forgotten his reason about putting up the art store on Bait-Rilla Island yet. From the double art points he received from Rouge after putting up the Logetown volume, Rob felt uncomfortable about the matter. He never dared to appear in front of Rouge again, so he sent Alvia to have her invite her to join their group and serve as a waitress in his stores. Maybe that way he can try to fix her thoughts about him over time and make her become more kind to him if she thinks he's a bad person. He also had a goal in mind to get her out of her lonely solitude. After all, Rouge was still his captain's wife and Roger had tasked him with taking care of her directly. At first, when Olivia suggested Rouge work with them as a waitress, Rouge wanted to reject this consideration without even thinking again. She had negative feelings towards Rob, who kept emphasizing the fact of her husband's death in his manga as if he wanted to remind her of this matter on purpose. Although she hadn't reached the level of hatred, she was definitely resentful towards him. But after some rational thought, she decided to accept Alvia's offer. Approaching this man might be useful to her, perhaps she would know the truth about everything faster that way. With this, the art store acquired another great waitress. Southern Blue, Karate Island Art Store. At this place, 2 great characters from the future of this world met, one of whom caused a huge commotion the moment he entered the art store. This, unbelievable. Isn't that impossible? Maybe he's just one of the fakes characters, these new generation who call themselves cosplayers. Are you blind? No, even if you are blind, you can restore your sight in the holy store. Look at those eagle-like eyes. Despite the signs of youth and immaturity, the same sharpness is present. Sword? Look at the sword behind his back. It's the black sword Yoro for sure. Exactly how it was drawn in the manga. It's Dracula Mihawk in his youth. Screams of terror erupted when Mihawk was identified by One Piece fans inside the art store. Even Mihawk, who seems cold and lonely, felt dread and embarrassed by the current situation. Yes, he was definitely Dracula Mihawk. He wanted to shout that he is Dracula Mihawk, the greatest swordsman in the world, but his strong will prevent him from doing so. He hasn't reached his future achievement yet, so he doesn't have any right to brag yet. In this moment, a young man with scars on his eyes who was sitting in the tavern was drawn into the commotion. He lifted his eyes that had magically restored its light from the Bleach book and saw the young teenager who had taken a place next to him. He was as dumbfounded as everyone else who had seen young Mihawk. The man reading Bleach manga at the moment was Ishao, the future admiral. Mihawk looked in awe at Ishao for a brief moment before sitting down and starting to read the volumes he had bought. He felt the other party's immense strength after all. Ishao laughed in astonishment and went back to reading the manga. Life is so mysterious and never ceases to amaze him. Shinigami, Ryotsu, and amazing swordsmanship skills. This is definitely a treasure for a swordsman like me. What a wonderful world for a swordsman. Could Ryotsu be a type of haki? Young Mihawk felt awe and curiosity after he finished reading the Bleach manga. A whole new world opened up for him. He liked Bleach manga so much because it is a world made up of strong swordsmen. It was sort of his dream world. Just thinking about fighting a Shinigami made his blood burn with excitement. Interesting. East Blue, Fuchsia Village Art Store. Chew, swallow. Interesting, but I want more of the book about my grandson. Do I have to go on a trip to Roger's crew again? Although Garp felt that the new manga was really interesting, it wasn't anywhere near as great as his grandson's manga, and he wanted to see more of his grandson's adventures and, of course, more of the delicious cakes those refrigerator-like machines sold. Hey, you brat, go get this dad some more chocolate cake, can't you see I finish from it? Garp kicked his son, Dragon, who was overwhelmed reading Bleach manga, toward the food vending machine. This is the 20th time you suddenly kicked me, do you consider me your servant, old man? Pay with your money if you want to. North Blue, Germa Kingdom Art Store. Today an unusual pirate's ship appeared in the port of Germa Kingdom. A woman with a graceful body and a beautiful figure disembarked from the ship, but the ground shook as soon as she stepped on it, causing the people in the harbor to panic. Dear gentlemen, this pier doesn't receive pirate ships. Please goes to the island's back pier. A tremble man stopped on the way of the group of terrifying pirates in this moment. He looked like a mouse trying to talk to humans. This was because the graceful woman leading the group was ridiculously tall. She was over 8 meters long. Not to mention, the dark red-haired young man was also tall enough to appear 2 meters or less short than her. Most of the group were far from normal human beings. Their presence caused everyone who saw them shiver. Huh? Are you saying we have to go back to where we came from? Mama, let me send this idiot to hell, how dare he stand in our way? Mama, I'm in a good mood today, so it's okay. The infamous Big Mom pirates continued on their way, but when they got out of sight everyone who was on the pier fell unconscious, foam coming out of their mouths and their eyes turning completely white. The moment the group of Big Mom pirates approached the door of the art store, the bodies of the tall people among them magically shrank to less than 2 meters in a way that left them speechless. Everyone who saw this amazing scene engraved it in their minds as amazing news to pass on later. News is as important as the fact that the blind people regained their sight inside the store. Charlotte Linland's jovial laughter echoed at the little surprise, but the most important thing was that her expectations for the delicious food here had grown even greater. Chapter 57, Amazon Lily Island? Storming the Empress's bathroom, Big Mom's crazy laughter echoed in the art store while she was monopolized the food vending machine, but no one inside the store paid her any attention. She could do whatever she wanted as long as she didn't break the store rules. That was the norm for anyone here. Whatever the person's identity is, they will be kicked out the moment they cross the line. Big Mom was eating the most delicious brands of sweets from the earth happily. The rest of her sons made sure to check the art store carefully. They came here with 2 targets. The first is to try to take over this place if possible, and the second is to negotiate the right to get one from Rob if it was out of the question to take him by force. They didn't even care about the humble Vinsmoke family. If the person behind this art store wasn't a member of the Roger Pirates, they would have already taken the store by force. And they would even rule over the kingdom of Germa. Male or female, members of the Charlotte family were drawn to the manga volumes, One Piece, and Bleach and then bought. Roger the Pirate King? What a joke, my mom is going to be the Pirate Queen. This was Charlotte Katakuri's reaction when he read the first page of the manga One Piece. Ding! Plus 1,500 art points from Charlotte Katakuri. Ding! Plus 900 art points from Charlotte Oven. Ding! Plus 890 art points from Charlotte Cracker. Ding! Plus 4,000 art points from Charlotte Linlin. As Rob was soaring through the sky at a speed that even the naked eye could not follow, interesting notices entered his ear. Rob smiled and felt it was interesting that the future Yonko pirates had drawn to him so quickly. Rob was already following the news in the world. The Big Mom pirates had been formed years ago, and they were considered a powerful pirate crew. If not for the 3 pirate crews, Roger, Whitebeard, and Shiki, who take all the glory, they would be considered the best pirate crew in the New World. Since they've fallen into his hands so he can use the entire crew, Rob knows Big Mom's obsession with food, which he can use to turn her into a cute puppy that he controls. Although this idea was really exciting, Rob was not a fool to think that he could control a formidable and crazy pirate like Big Mom. Okay, I'll give it a try later. Now, I've already reached my target. He was at the Grand Line at this moment. Rob started his flight from Little Garden Island, but before that, he had participated in another dinosaur meat feast with the enthusiastic giant comrades who refused to let him go. After all, Rob has made their lives so much fun. They've been eating the most delicious dishes and drinking the coolest drinks since the art store appeared on their island, and they really enjoy the manga that Rob makes for them every week. So Rob has become the best human friend for Brogy and Dory. Grand Line, Combelt. There was no wind in this area to obstruct Rob's flight, so his speed became even faster. All that can be seen are bolts of blue lightning that literally disappear at lightning speed. At lightning speed, it took Rob an hour to cross the first half of the Grand Line almost completely. Boom! Rob fell into a forest on an island in the middle of the calm belt. Women on this island don't like males, but what about a handsome male like me? Hehe, they'll gladly accept me. A few moments later. Who are you? One step and you will be bombarded with arrows. This island doesn't accept males, go back where you came from. Rob looked at the group of savage women, who were looking at him from above the huge city gate as if he was an alien. Have you never seen a man before? Rob felt a blow to his self-confidence, and his dazzling good looks for the first time failed to play her part. And does this have anything to do with you? Go back to where you came from or you will regret it. This place is sacred to women and doesn't accept the presence of male scum. These female guards seem extremely violent towards males, not as stupid as their future counterparts who didn't even recognize Luffy as a male at first. What was happening now to Rob was like the difference between sky and earth. Damn, why didn't I wish for Luffy's plot armor? Was I so stupid at the time? No need to be so violent, guys, okay? I'm a famous business investor from the outside world. I came here to open my own business. I'm sure it will be very useful to you girls. We don't need anything from disgusting males. If you don't come back I'll shoot my arrow, and believe me, it won't be as tender as you think. Rob looked at the fierce woman who seemed to be the leader of the group of guards, who was blonde with a graceful butt and huge tits. For a moment Rob felt the urge to push this hot woman down and teach her some moral lessons. When Rob focused a little on her face, he noticed that she was a replica of future Kuja Pirates member Marguerite. Could it be Marguerite's mother? So who's the damn lucky one who got this hot lioness pregnant? Lightning crackled from Rob's eyes and a horrific conqueror haki spread that made the group of female faints freeze in place from shock, the blood on their body turning cold. Rob didn't say a word and continued his way into the kingdom of Amazon Lily. He didn't have much time to waste on a group of women with some brain problems. I believe that meeting the current empress would be the fastest way to get these naughty women to obediently accept me. Rob's body turned into a flash of lightning and disappeared from view. When he appeared again he was above the roof of the empress's palace. I lucky? There's someone in the bathroom downstairs already? I wonder what would happen if I copied Luffy's way of getting in. Boom! Rob fell through the hole he made in the ceiling. Bathwater splattered everywhere causing the surrounding fog to become even more intense. And then, Kia. Just what Rob expected happened. Chapter 58 Level 9 of the system? Opening art store in Amazon Lily Island. I'm sorry, beautiful lady, I've apologized enough times already. The current empress of Amazon Lily looked at Rob with an angry look but her face was so red, no one knew if it was because of anger or shame. Why you broke into this empress bathroom and thought a small apology would solve this matter? You saw my entire naked body. A male has seen my naked body? What will my people say of me if this matter is discovered? The current empress of the Amazon Lily was Gloriosa, or what was later known as Nyan Ba. That old woman was not from the future, but a mature, beautiful woman with a curvaceous figure and huge assets, which made Rob's throat feel dry. Her hair was pink and she had an intimidating resemblance to the future Empress Boa Hancock. If Rob had to guess her age, he'd say she's in her 20s, but the truth is that she's already 38. When he first saw her bathing, Rob couldn't believe that the woman in front of him was the same old dwarf in the original story. Damn Oda. Huh? Who is this Oda you're cursing? And don't you think you'll get away with this empress? He is the man who is known as the destroyer of beauty. Beauty like you must remain eternal. Sweetie, I will transform to Sanji for you. You. The empress's face almost burned with shame. She had never heard such words before. This man was extremely rude. After playtime and a little banter, Rob's mood turns to normal when he remembers that he has a wife who would make his life hell if she found out. For now, Rob doesn't want his ass to be shot off with the airsoft guns LWRC M6 that he bought for Olivia. That would be an entertaining joke. Miss Empress, I apologize once again for the previous incident. I have come here to open a business on your island and I hope you will accept my offer. As if I would accept the offer of a strange man like you. Rob. Okay, bye then. Rob emerged from the bathroom from the same hole he came from, leaving the naked Empress staring in confusion at his back. You, damned man. Her thoughts were confused as if she had been given an emotional shock of some sort. Her naked body was formed into a ball and dipped into the water even more as if she was remorseful about her previous rejection of the man. Rob regretted that he didn't stay longer to enjoy the view of the naked body, but the image of her body is still recorded in 4K quality in his photographic memory. Especially those huge boobs decorated with pink nipples, which look like cherries on a cake. Rob stood on a huge rocky pillar at the Amazon Lily boundary and looked out into the middle of the city where so many women crowded. A smile of victory appeared on his face as he whispered words that only he could hear. Hee, as if like I'm going to give in just because you don't want to. Do you want to open an art store in this place? System level 9, 700,450/100,500,000 for next upgrade. Plus 0-dimensional art store, 100-dimensional store is the upper limit in the lowest 10 levels. Art stores available to use, 23/100. Before Rob decided to open the art store here, he came back to see the two amazing features that he unlocked at levels 8 and 9. He would always come back to see these broken features just to make his temperament become even more gorgeous. Unlocked feature at level 8, Evil Isolation. Evil Isolation, you can revoke the previous features, Divine Protection for example, on anyone who did not fall within your criteria. Unlocked feature at level 9, Chat Room Bracelet. Chat Room Bracelet, anyone who has bought more than 10 minimum items from your store will get a high-tech communication in the form of a bracelet on their hand, allowing them to enter a global chat room to express their opinion about your art. The host will be the administrator in the global chat room. You can organize it however you like before the feature is officially activated. The feature he got at level 9 was a bit complicated. Only customers who bought more than 10 things from his store, manga, food, drinks, or even rent private rooms, were selected as eligible to get this bracelet. There are millions of people across the 4 seas who meet this condition. How can he organize so many people? Rob decided to create 3 forums in the chat room bracelet, a local forum, where the residents of the same island can chat with each other, and a regional forum, where the residents of the same sea can chat with each other. And finally, the global forum, where the whole world can chat with each other. Rob will allow 1 message per day opportunity for a person in the global forum, and also decided to limit the opportunity for 2 messages per person every day in the regional forum, while the local forum will be without limit. Rob has modified everything thanks to his job as an administrator, but he has not yet activated the new feature. The moment he activates it will be a huge event that will call the attention of the world government again, so Rob decided to plan carefully and choose the right time for it. If Rob took advantage of this feature, perhaps the title of King of the World wouldn't be far from his hands. Rob knew how terrifying social media was. To have that power in his hand is something he'd been planning for years, but he got that in an instant, thanks to the system. Rob was trying to use his system shop to bring internet technology into this world, but now everything is much easier. The moment Rob thought for what he want, the bracelet on his hand had disappeared. The gray-colored bracelet disappeared as if it had never existed before. This was the administrator's chat room bracelet that he had obtained at level 9 of the system. That's really convenient. And now, system, open a new art store where I want it. As soon as he uttered this, the same phenomenon he had already witnessed so many times erupted. The void in the middle of the island of Amazon Lily shook and the women and warriors were confused as a futuristic specific building appeared out of nowhere. What is this? A building? How did it appear out of nowhere? Art store? Where can you enjoy the future? After he finishes his work here, Rob disappears from Amazon Lily Island, leaving them to slowly get used to his store. Not accepting them will surely turn into great satisfaction. When they can't live without his manga, he will come again and announce that he is the owner of the store and we will see if they have the courage to reject him again. With an evil smile on his face, Rob vanished like lightning at his every step. His next target this time was to look for trouble. Chapter 59 The most brave merchant in history, Rob appeared over the Red Continent. It didn't take him long to reach the end of the first half of the Grand Line. From where he is at this moment, he can see Marineford below, but Rob has not come to the Red Continent to visit Marineford. Rob went into stealth mode relying on the abilities of the paper fruit, looking like an invisible chameleon, then started moving very quickly towards his target. And what was his target? Holy Land of Celestial Dragons, Mary Gosa? Yes, Rob came this time to the Bidan. He's got enough balls to open an art store here in Mary Gosa. It didn't take much time to get out of the vast lands of the Red Continent and enter the Celestial Dragon domain. Rob was excited considering the benefits he would get if he succeeded in making Celestial Dragons love his manga. Wouldn't his presence be necessary to them at that time? That would mean eliminating half of the threat of the world government. If he succeeded in monopolizing the love of their gods? Rob's observation haki was very powerful, so he succeeded in bypassing all kinds of detection from the world government's guards and succeeded in entering the domain of the gods. Before that, he glanced at the majestic castle in the middle of Mary Gosa and didn't dare get too close. That was Pangaea Castle, exactly where the 5 elders lived and the mysterious existence behind perhaps in this current world, only Rob and the 5 elders knew about existence. Rob regained his gaze from Pangaea Castle and began to delve deeper into the domain of the gods. But he didn't expect that at that moment when he was looking at the abyss was also looking at him. In a garden full of flowers and butterflies stood a tall figure covered in a black cloak, somewhat resembling a beautiful dress. The person standing in the garden was enjoying wandering around this place, but at this moment its red eyes flashed with an interesting flicker. His or her eyes looked as if they had pierced through walls and everything blocking the path and fell on Rob, who was in stealth mode at this moment. The person was wearing a white mask with a question mark on it and only showing its red eyes, but from his or her eyes that were formed into a crescent moon, he or she seemed to be smiling. You've finally come. Rob continued his journey in the domain of the gods without being stopped. His senses had detected so many pathetic slaves in this place. They were so many that Rob felt that the celestial dragons had enslaved the whole world. Rob pressed the desire to free these slaves into his heart temporarily and continued on his way toward the center of this domain of the scum. He will certainly save these wretched slaves, but now is not the time. Rob was starting to feel uncomfortable ever since he looked at Pangaea Castle, so he wanted to get out of this place as quickly as possible. Rob was blindly trusting his instincts. He was sure something was wrong at the moment, so he had to run as fast as he could. Do you want to open an art store in this place? Yes, open. The place shook and the celestial dragons whose palaces were close to the area where Rob opened his art store felt the shaking, and the agents of the world government hurried to protect the celestial dragons as if their lives depended on it. But seconds later, the abnormal state of vibration in space vanished, but the agents of the world government didn't let their guard down because of it. Only after they all confirmed that the situation was fine, the noise of many people started to come from outside. The eyes of the celestial dragons who were still inside their palaces shone after hearing the familiar voices of their celestial dragons friends. Minutes after the art store appeared out of thin air in the middle of Mary Gosa, the celestial dragons and their slaves, as well as their guards, gathered from everywhere. Such was the magical effect of the store beacon, anyone who saw it would surely be tempted. Regarding Rob, he wasn't seen anywhere, as if he had disappeared into thin air, and as soon as he successfully opened the art store, he rushed into the teleportation room and disappeared from view. He had succeeded in his mission, so he would wait for the result from afar and silently. The store doors opened welcoming new customers, but the black-suited and black-glasses celestial dragon guards stood in their way and wouldn't let them in for fear of. They also started calling the world government headquarters and asking for urgent support due to this abnormal situation. A celestial dragon with a disgusting face and a swollen belly emerged from the crowd while riding a beautiful woman as a slave and ordered a slave man to enter the store. You stinking slave, go inside and tell us what's there. The celestial dragons next to him started to applaud for their comrade's super intelligence and ordered their slaves to do the same. Their guards didn't try to stop this move. Everything was fine as long as the celestial dragon does not suffer any kind of damage. The slaves started walking towards the art store like soulless zombies. Their lives were so dark that they wished that hell itself existed behind those doors, the hell that would end their current inferno. But none of them at yet knows that behind those doors is a paradise that can free them from their current misery. Chapter 60 Marigoa in uproar. Gaze followed Rob, who created the mysterious building, and disappear inside it. Once Rob disappeared into the mysterious building, couldn't see him anymore. Her gaze became dark. Couldn't look through the art store no matter how hard she tried. Really interesting. No, that exceeded my expectations for you. Her voice was like a dream. In the next moment, disappeared from the place where she was standing as if she never existed in the first place. She appeared exactly where Rob had stood before entering the art store. Celestial dragons had already gathered around the art store. But it doesn't look like anyone can see as if she doesn't exist. She was so interested in this building who could block her sight from penetrating it. In fact, even she felt uneasy about this building called the art store. This happened before the celestial dragons ordered their slaves to enter the art store. Rob, who had already escaped, stood in the teleportation room of the Little Garden art store and summoned Mary Gosa's art storefront. After all, he hasn't made his necessary adjustments yet. Rob chose 1.000.000 berry as the price for one book of the manga for celestial dragons. Since they have a lot of money, he will not be generous with them. He also raised the price of his food and drinks through the roof and his shop sales, but he was still sure that celestial dragons would have no problem buying all of that. Rob put other secret settings. The moment the slaves entered his store, they would receive a recorded voice transmission from Rob. The content of the voice transmission was incredible for the slaves. But after a short while they will believe it. What is important is that they have to follow the instructions of the voice transmission if they want to escape from this place. Rob allowed the slaves to get his items for free as well, since he was the owner of the store and could modify his rules as he wanted. He was omnipotent inside his store. Rob also made sure to apply his new feature, Evil Isolation, that he obtained at level 8 of the system to celestial dragons. Any feature from the store will be cancelled on them, like Divine Protection, or restore manga books if they disappeared, but he didn't prevent the features that could be obtained inside the store like restoring sight. When he's done with all of these tweaks, he scraps the storefront and moves on to his next target. He still has a lot of work to do. He was eager to see the reaction of the 5 old men and their lord. Back to Mary Gosa. The celestial dragons were already in stir. They had all entered the art store and tried its amazing items for themselves. The high price didn't bother them at all, it just made them more exciting to shopping. The slaves who returned from inside were keen to amplify the magnificence of the art store, spurring the stupid celestial dragons to come in and experience it for themselves. This is what happened with the celestial dragons. As for the 5 elders who had already received the news, they exploded in a fit of rage because of Rob once again. If others didn't recognize the art store, they did. Since the art store appeared in the center of Mary Gosa, their domain, it means one thing. That bastard Rob managed to slip under their noses, set up his store, and escape again. This was a huge blow to their pride as a Gorosei. If Lord hadn't called them at the last moment and forbade them to act recklessly, they would have released an urgent buster call. After their anger finally subsided, they disappeared from the meeting room of Pangaea Castle and appeared in public near the art store. It just showed that among them there was someone with a space ability, Devil Fruit, who had an overwhelming mastery at this. The 5 elders were disgusted with the celestial dragons, who seemed to have lost themselves in the new game that had appeared out of nowhere. They kind of understood why Rob put his art store here. Yay. So much fun. This book is so fun. Dad, I want to join the Straw Hat Pirates on their adventures. Saint Giscard's son shouted at his father as if there was no tomorrow. By chance, it was this kid who fell one day into the deep sea, exactly on Fishman Island. A pirate is just scum. Do you want to be scum? You are a celestial dragon, not a pirate. But Dad, their adventures are so much fun. No, but. Similar discussions were taking place inside the art store, among the many celestial dragons. The guards watched this with a frightened expression, but the slaves' eyes were flashing with a kind of pleasure right now. Chapter 61 Baroque Works Saga, Laboon Arc. Rob didn't care what happens in Mary Gosa, because he's back at the O'Hara art store now. He still has work to do. Tomorrow will be the day of the release of the new book from One Piece manga after all. His journey yet in publishing the manga has been very smooth, and Rob is already satisfied with it. But from now on, the real challenge will begin. For the Straw Hat Pirates, the Grand Line stage couldn't compare to the East Blue stage. Many facts will emerge, and he will have to face many unfortunate events that even he is unwilling to draw it, but he must do it, or he will die. Many times the world government will be at the interface, as the Straw Hats will trample their pride over and over again. And Rob doesn't think the world government will sit idly by and watch him destroy their reputation. At that time they would definitely start launching frenzied attacks on him even if he collected all the luck in the world. In terms of strength, Rob is fully prepared. With his current strength he can take on the Yonko, not to mention the Admiral. Rob didn't think that will protect his interests for long. Rob doesn't know what is and what its goals are. He wouldn't be a fool to push his luck so much towards the king of this world. Rob only took advantage of the other side's boredom, but if I knew her boredom would threaten her rule over the world, she would surely act. However, Rob has measures to make this protection period longer. Once he starts showing the anime series that he plans to show, Rob didn't think I'm who liked his manga, won't love the anime. Inside the manga drawing room in his personal section, images of manga heroes One Piece and Bleach filled the walls everywhere. Rob was copying the new arc books, and when he finished copying hundreds he would put them in inventory right after that. This part of the story was talking specifically about the whale Laboon. Laboon arc, or the Reverse Mountain arc, name it what you want, is the first arc of the Baroque Works saga, or Alabasta saga. After the fiery events of Loketown, the Straw Hats make their way to the Reverse Mountain full of excitement and ambition after confessing their dreams and embarking on a perilous stream climb. Upon reaching the highest point of the Reverse Mountain, Going Merry with Luffy and his companions on board is dragged to the waterfall leading to the Grand Line and descended by it at a very high speed. But during their rapid fall, they find that something huge is blocking the entrance to the Grand Line. This arc is very important, as it also put out a scheme for new adventures for the Straw Hat and his companions in the future. Also in this arc appears Rob's companion and doctor, to whom previous Rob owe his life more than one time from his past adventures, Crocus. Rob was anxiously awaiting how Crocus would react to this particular part of the story, especially after seeing Laboon the whale, who started his journey with the crew of the Pirate King because of him. Crocus will surely be amazed when he sees his old version and the huge Laboon, since when he parted ways with Laboon he wasn't the last of that size. After a while, Rob finished copying the exact number of volumes and put them all in his inventory. This massive amount of books was going to be divided into every art store except for the hidden art store in the upper yard and the hidden art store in Little Garden. Rob was going to put a few books there. All this process is done by the system. All Rob has to do is to specify the exact number of the system for each store through the art store front, and the system will do everything. Art store, Germa Kingdom. Mama, this bastard Rob hasn't come yet. We've been waiting for 2 whole days. Charlotte Montdior spoke angrily in his voice. But his mother didn't even care to hear, because she was overwhelmed by eating delicious sweets and herself to him. Rob's dignity doesn't allow him to sleep with a woman taller than him. Rob and Big Mom shook hands, announcing the completion of the alliance. In the future, the Trade Emperor and the Empress of the Underworld would be the main custodians of the fortunes of the world, and they will cause an endless headache for the world government. So I'm leaving now, Roots D. Rob. I'll be waiting for you at my tea party at the end of this year. I can't wait to open your store on my island. I want to read more from One Piece and Bleach. And don't forget, my offer still stands. I'm going to stop fucking men for you, mama. Damn you. The commotion subsided when the Big Mom pirates finally left the art store. Rob was embarrassed to leave immediately. He could hear the whispers of the residents of the Germa Kingdom who were in his store after all. The whispers were like, I can't believe the Saint Rob rejected such a hot woman. He's really a saint. If I'm in his place, I would immediately accept to have a beautiful woman and a lot of children for free. Isn't that the luck personally? Damn my luck, I've never slept with a woman before, let alone a woman. She offered herself to me and I refused. Too embarrassing. This is a female for sure. Is the Saint Rob gay? Shut up, he's still here to hear you. The man who said Rob was gay was promptly kicked out of the store and he was prevented from entering him again for his entire life. This is the punishment he deserves. Oh, I told you, he'd hear you. When Rob was leaving for another place, he felt a look full of emotion looking at him from a certain angle. The moment their eyes met each other, the woman's face turned red and she hid her face in the One Piece manga book. Rob felt his heart beating when he first saw this woman. But at that moment Alvia's face came to his mind to remind him that he was a married man. Rob regained his composure and went to the table where the young woman was sitting. Hey, beautiful, can I share this table with you for a while? When the young woman heard this voice, her delicate body trembled and the manga book fell on the table, showing her heavenly face to Rob, whose heart throbbed once more. This woman was so beautiful. No, it wasn't her beauty that was the main point here, it was her innocent allure that made Rob's heart pound. She looked like a little bunny that he had to protect. Sure, Rob-sama, you can sit here. The beautiful young woman was very tense. Rob was her idol after all. Chapter 63 Elter Sora. Zeph amazement. Rob looked at her for a while without he speaking, which made her even more embarrassing. Her appearance was very beautiful. She had flawless milky white skin, dark blue eyes that were still full of youthful vitality, and wavy blonde hair so long that it touched the floor length of it as she sat on the chair, just like Sanji. Part of her hair covered her right eye. Rob almost lost himself in just her looks. Ano, Rob-sama, is there something on my face? Finally, Rob woke up from daydreaming and noticed that the face of the young woman in front of him had turned a red shade of ember. Dream as pirates. Zeph continued to drink the sake without paying attention to the pesky people who no longer feared of his identity as a dangerous pirate, but his eyes shone with a strange glint every time he came back to read the book of manga, specifically, the Arc Baratai folder. Ding! Plus 230 art points from Red Leg Zeph. Going back to Rob and Sora, Rob didn't care about any of the system notifications at the moment, although it was a strange coincidence in and of itself. Rob approached her and hugged her. After that, Sora felt with a warmth of his chest as wide as the entire world. Her eyesight became blurry before it became clear again. Rob moved with her to his personal section, away from prying eyes. In his own tavern in his personal section. RRR Rob-sama? What are you doing? Looking at her tense mood, Sora didn't understand what was actually going on. Don't worry, we've moved to my personal section of the store. Here, you can tell me everything comfortably, and regarding your previous question, you're not crazy at all, you're just a great gentle human being, Sora-san. Rob let go of his hug and went back to sit on a chair at the same table with her, although he wanted to hug her more, but it was better not to rush things. Sora didn't know why, but she was kind of disappointed when the warm feeling she felt in Rob's chest disappeared, but when the person she most respected and looked up to told her she was too great a human, she felt embarrassed again. There was a long talk between Rob and Sora. They got to know each other and eventually became good friends. Sora, who was just an ordinary person, didn't expect Saint Rob to become her friend and to know so much about his personal life one day. Rob also learned about Sora's life story before she met Vinsmoke Judge and before she had any connection with him in her life. Her life was simple, though he had some influence on her in an indirect way. Perhaps if Rob wasn't in this world, she would have already married Vinsmoke Judge against her will. Rob knew that most of her time, she was spent in the art store. Her family was once strong here in the kingdom of Germa in the era of the previous king. They were rich and even had part of the authority to rule an entire region in the kingdom, but with the rise of the new king Vinsmoke Judge, he regained control over all the areas that were under the rule of the old families in the kingdom. He literally robbed them of everything, leaving them only the name. The power of the families eventually deteriorated. Most of them left the kingdom and some stayed here. Ruling here in the kingdom of Germa was like ruling in the ancient Chinese kingdoms, where powerful families thrived. The Vinsmoke family was also one of the powerful families in the past and eventually dominated the kingdom. As for the Elter family, which is considered one of the old families, it has fallen to become like any ordinary family in the kingdom. Sora's father, who was the patriarch of the family, died of disease, which worsened with the poor conditions of the family, and her mother disappeared without any trace, and Sora became a lonely young woman. If it were not for the little wealth who remained for her after her father's death, maybe she couldn't even lead a decent life. Just like Belmir and his wife Alvia, Sora's file is now complete in his memory library. The appearance of the art store in the kingdom of Germa coincided with her tragic situation. From the moment she entered the store, she felt a kind of absolute safety inside. Because of that, she was able to escape from the claws of Vinsmoke Judge without her knowing. When she saw Rob talking for the first time to everyone in the kingdom when he opened his divine store, while behind him Vinsmoke Judge was grinning hard as if he had swallowed a fly, she felt an indescribable feeling of satisfaction. She had deep feelings for Rob at that moment, but she didn't say it to Rob in their conversation, so as not to make it more embarrassing. He is a married man and she is satisfied with the status of friends and is happy with that. So Sora, what do you think about moving in with me? You don't have a place to live, right? I can provide work and all the amenities you need, and you won't feel unsafe anymore. What do you think? Rob was serious about Sora, having gotten to know her so well that he wouldn't let her associate with the trash Vinsmoke Judge no matter what. What about the plot? Let the plot go to hell. This is his world now, this is his plot now. If Sanji and Reijo were not born into this world, he would be really sorry, but if his friend, who obviously considers him too dear to her, dies, it will be infinite regret for him. Can I live with Sister Alvia? No, that's not a good idea. Sister Alvia will think I'm a bad girl. I don't want to. Her pretty face was showing sadness and unwillingness. She already knew that Rob was a married man, but even so, she had thoughts towards him. Traces of her adolescence still dominated her mind after all, but her gentle nature always triumphed in the end. She was like an extremely pure lotus in this nefarious world. What are you thinking? You're my friend, aren't you? Alvia would be happy to have a new sister. By the way, she is looking for female members to share her workload in the art store. After all, I have many branches of my store all over the world and I need a lot of working hands. Unfortunately, Rob was not a pure person like Sora. The truth is that he is an impertinent who wants to have everything beautiful in this world, which includes Sora herself. Plus she clearly had feelings for him. But will he give up easily? Maybe he can convince his wife to let him have a second wife in the future, who knows? Until then, he will make sure to put Sora in his sights permanently. After much nonsense from Rob to convince Sora, he finally succeeded in dragging her with him to O'Hara. And he had no problem getting Sora under Alvia's care. Sora was a girl who could charm even to females and make them trust her simply because of her innocent appearance. Rob knew that this look wasn't artificial but her true self. How could he not like such a woman? The atmosphere among Rob's waitresses has become even more lively with the addition of a cute new member like Sora. And Rob also carefully guarded his cute maids against the malicious eyes of prying eyes, as if he said to them, "These are mine, look away." Chapter 64, a first-class comedy. A whale loved by everyone in the world. Last night, Rob organized a raucous party to welcome Sora and Rouge on the occasion of their joining the art store crew work, featuring Rob and his waitresses, including Matriarch and her two children, Doflamingo and Rosinante. Rob organized a modern welcome party in the O'Hara art store, of course at closing time, using modern elements of the system shop such as food, drinks, and music as well. Rob exploited the party to recreate the popular opening songs for One Piece and Naruto, and some of them Rob used in this small party. Although he was already planning to recreate them since he had already started creating the anime. He especially enjoyed their reaction when they heard the heartwarming song We Go. Throughout the party, Rob noticed the unfriendly looks from Rouge, but he still didn't care. Even if she hated him, it didn't matter. He wouldn't think of a married woman anyway. He only helped her because of Roger's promise. Rob wasn't someone who didn't keep his promises. Of course, Rob exploited the party again to enjoy dancing with his wife. They amazed everyone present with their unique unison. After all, this wasn't their first dance. They were skilled in all kinds of dance. Of course, they were more professional in dancing on the bed. And they were less wild in their dance so as not to hurt little Robin. This was Rob's way of doing things very creatively, just a little party, and he made a strong bond with everyone. Even the kids like Rosinante and Doflamingo have reclaimed their playful nature as kids, and this is what makes Matriarch and Rob happy as well. The next morning, the long-awaited volume was finally released, causing new waves of reactions across the 4 seas. The new volume contained new wonders that these simple people had not seen in their entire lives. Things like the Calm Belt, the huge Sea Kings, and Reverse Mountain, all these facts that only a few people in the world know about, mostly pirates and marines. They saw them in the manga for the first time. This was the main reason they love One Piece manga. It was a magical book introducing them to their world. Since Rob himself stated at the end of the previous volume that all the places in the story are 100% real, all One Piece fans have come to take everything they saw in the book for granted. As for the future events, real or not, Rob will leave them to figure it out for themselves. Before, the facts that most of the inhabitants of the 4 seas believed to be myths, of course, they would think of them to be myths. 90% of the people of the 4 seas have lived on their islands where they were born all their entire life. The new volume caused a huge wave of emotions, but most of the events were very funny for fans of One Piece. One of the reasons One Piece is such a spring breeze for readers was the hilarious comedy among the crew. For those inhabitants in this world who don't have a clear understanding of what the term comedy means, seeing the hilarious interaction between the crew as their ship perched atop the head of a sea king was so much fun. Yesterday, Alvia, Sora, and Belmere did everything they could to force Rob to give them the advanced chapters. But Rob was like a mountain and he didn't lose to their temptations no matter how hard they tried. Although Rob was happy to see that Sora and Rouge also had fully integrated with Alvia and the rest and had become part of the family, he refused to give in to their demands. It would be a betrayal of the other readers who have been eagerly waiting for an entire week. Flavance Island. After Trafalgar D. Water Chris finished his work today, he and his wife, Mary, raced to the art store to get the new volume before the store closed its doors or before the events were spoiled at them by a random fan on the road. Chris and his wife got used to this jogging almost every week. Sunday was the day they ran the most. As Chris expected, the elegant front yard of the art store was full of people of all ages. This place has become sacred to the people of Flavance. It is visited as heavily as this every Sunday. Since the art store first appeared 4 months ago, it has become the only common theme in the city, known as the City of the Wealthy. Even the royal family had recently been meek and no longer causing any trouble to the store. Although they hadn't really affected the store previously, they were secretly trying to discredit the store, and Rob was aware of it. But ever since they found out what happened to the Linville royal family, it seemed like they had changed 180 degrees, and started promoting the art store more vigorously. But Rob didn't really care about their trifles. After all, their fate had already been decided. Their future wouldn't be good. Rob didn't set up his store on this island in vain. After all, the sins of this royal family in this kingdom are unforgivable. Nami, the Grand Line is located between 2 other seas, which are the calm belts where no winds blow. Zoro, calm, huh? If there is no wind, so what? Nami, so the ocean? Luffy, oi, what was this? Earthquake? Usopp, we're at sea, you idiot? The emergence of the Sea Kings, picture. Sanji, Usopp, Zoro, Luffy, they're too huge. Nami, of course, this is a nest of Sea Kings? The bigs from them. Luffy, so this is the world's greatest ocean. Luffy, let's go. Boo. Zoro, what was that? Did you hear anything? Luffy, who cares? Let's go. Nami, maybe it's the sound of the wind. There are likely many unusual rocky caves around. Sanji, it's not a mountain. It's a whale. Boo. Luffy, what do we do? Shall we fight him? Nami, are you crazy? We can't fight a monster like that. Luffy, but he's blocking our way. Luffy, hey, listen up. Luffy, what did you do with my own seat? Punch. Zoro/Usopp/Sanji/Nami, you idiot? He is looking at us. Luffy, come on, damn you. Zoro/Usopp, shut up you idiot. Luffy, scene of going merry swallowing. Ha 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 ha. Chris looked at his wife Mary, who hadn't stopped laughing at the beginning of the chapters again, and went back to reading the contents of the volume again. It was a really fun and funny part of the story. He loved every part of it. Both Chris and his wife especially loved Laboon the whale. When Crocus started telling Laboon's story, Mary's laughter turned to tears. Even him, who could control his emotions somewhat, felt suffocated and wanted to cry when he read Laboon's story. This whale was pathetic. They also cursed Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine, those clowns trying to catch Laboon. This Mr. Crocus, a really great man, has built an artificial island in the middle of a whale's stomach to cure it. This is the farthest world medicine can reach. As a doctor, I salute him. I'd got so many amazing therapy ideas from this man. Yes, dear, I wish this great person was real. At least we could look for him to greet him. Mary wiped her tears and said with a pure smile, unfortunately, I don't think a great person like this would ever exist. On Oro Jackson, in the New World Sea. Crocus, achoo. What's wrong with you, Crocus? Can a doctor get sick too? Crocus was checking Roger in the captain's room when he suddenly sneezed. Do you really think doctors don't get sick? What an idiot you, Roger. Wahahahaha, at least the doctors live long, right? Roger said with his usual smile. Maybe it is true, but the idiots don't live long, it is a certain fact. Wahahahaha, your tongue is getting sharp, doctor. So, what did you find? Is there something wrong with my body? Roger's mood turned serious in the meantime. I can't confirm anything with these simple tests, Roger, just stay still and don't move. Crocus' still young face was sweating profusely at this time. He was praying to the gods that what he had discovered was wrong. Just tell me what you found out. This is my body and I can tell its condition, you know. The new volume spread across the 4 seas and its growing popularity caused Rob to accumulate a lot of art points, and EXP again. This made Rob's mood become more and more excited to draw the next volume, but the EXP wasn't enough yet to reach level 10. Although it continued to rain with EXP on him from the Eastern Blue, the Western Blue, the Northern Blue, the Southern Blue, the Sky Island, the Women's Island, and Mary Gosa too. The million EXP tape is no joke at all. Laboon, the loyal whale, has become the most famous whale in the world. His sad story caused a reaction that made the inhabitants of this world learn the meaning of loyalty again. And the pirates' crew who abandoned Laboon became ruthless sinners in the hearts of the fans. They will change their minds only in the future, when they find out the truth about Pirates Rumber's saddest story. And the shocking truth in that is, the fact that there was Laboon in the Grand Line Gate was already confirmed by the merchants going and coming back from the Grand Line, and some pirates who were lucky enough to come back from the Grand Line. In a matter of a few days, the fact that Laboon, who is still a small whale waiting for the return of his old comrades, and doesn't move an inch from there, swept through, but Crocus was not seen anywhere. Unfortunately, Crocus had followed Roger on his ship years ago intending to search for information about the Rumber pirates, and he lost himself in the pleasure of traveling with Roger. This spreading story caused such a huge commotion that even Rob didn't think it was possible. Even there are crews of pirates from the 4 seas who are brave enough. They went to the Grand Line to try to calm the pathetic whale by Luffy's way. But little did they know that they needed a plot armor, a brain without cells, and Luffy's power if they wanted to repeat that scenario. So Rob didn't care about the fate of these sentimental pirates, but he still posted a warning in art stores, warning people with the daring idea of looking for Laboon. They would be in great danger for sure. He also added the fact that he would personally restore Laboon and calm him down in his own way. Marineford, Office of the Fleet Admiral. Purapuru, gotcha? Fleet Admiral is on the phone line. Who is with me, sir? Fleet Admiral Kong spoke in a friendly manner because he already knew that the call was from Mary Gosa. Fleet Admiral, this is St. Totland. I want you to send the Admiral to the Grand Line Gate as soon as possible. Protect Laboon's whale at all costs. It's pathetic. Crying sounds? Crying sounds. Huh. I'm sorry, Your Holiness, but I don't understand what you're saying. Chapter 65 Changes in Mary Gosa. Those trash celestial dragons. How could they use their authority in such useless matters? I mean, Laboon is a really good whale and deserves protection, but can we confirm the fact that that little whale is Laboon himself? The problem is not here. The real problem is that the celestial dragons are getting emotional. Wake up guys, something is wrong here. The bald Gorosei spoke with a cold expression. The rest of Gorosei looked at each other suspiciously. Were they under the control of something? Of course not. So what happens? They all know how mean and useless celestial dragons are. Scum like them can't be fixed. They lost their human selves and their common sense a long time ago. 800 years of absolute freedom and absolute luxury. Not a joke. Even monks would be turned into scum if they were given 800 years of absolute power, not to mention ordinary humans. But ever since the art store appeared, it seemed as if the celestial dragons were being brainwashed little by little. Within week torture of slaves was reduced by 40%. This fact alone would have been hard to believe if the numbers were not from a side very credible. Not only that, but the mood of the slaves has become more strange recently. They have become more obedient and there are almost no more rebellions. In a week the rate of slave rebellion has decreased by an overwhelming 90%. This was even more terrifying. For the 5 elders, they didn't know the exact reason for everything that was happening, but it was related to the art store for sure. Well, don't worry, Sama said the art store in Mary Gosa is very good, so let's not talk about it again. The tall Gorosei wiped his long beard with his hand as he spoke. Yes, Sama's word is the law. It doesn't matter what happens to the celestial dragons, but we have to prevent them from using the authority in such trivial matters. I can't believe we have become a joke among the ranks of the elite's navy. For Sengoku to be personally sent to retrieve just a whale, I never thought something like this could happen one day, all because of the influence of the art store. Didn't you guys notice? Another Roger Pirates member appeared in the manga, the ship doctor, Crocus, who was shown by the author in a very good way, unlike his captain who killed him in the first chapter. What the blonde-haired Gorosei said definitely caught the attention of the rest. They read the previous volume as soon as it was released. This time they didn't need to wait for Cypher Pole agents to send them photocopies. They had the art store in their house. Although it was very expensive, the Gorosei didn't really care. In their eyes, a million berry is no different than one berry. But the question of the high price compared to the rest of the art stores scattered in the four seas certainly caught their attention, as did the magical payment method and everything magical in the store. Although angry at what they called unscrupulous pirate blackmail, they were also happy in a way. The art store itself was a great gift to them. At the moment they were waiting for the results of Vegapunk's search on the art store, who was definitely the one most excited to study. Since the emergence of the art store in Mary Geoise, Vegapunk has only come out of it when he is forcibly evicted when the store closes its doors. I can't believe what's going on in Mary Geoise, sending the Admiral to get a whale back. What a funny joke, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha, you're right, that's so funny. How many celestial dragons asked to send the Admiral to this mission? I heard they are more than 10 celestial dragons, BFT. Ha 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 ha. Silence? I will throw everyone who speaks one more word on this subject into the sea. Hey, we're sorry, Admiral. The Marines who had been chattering a little while ago fell silent the moment they heard Admiral Sengoku's angry scream. Che, what a farce. Sengoku took his eyes off his subordinates who had stopped talking and looked toward the huge gate of justice that was already opening its doors. They were on a warship heading towards the reverse mountain for the mission of retrieving the whale. Even Sengoku was embarrassed by the situation, but what would he do? An admiral couldn't disobey one celestial dragon, let alone 20 of them. And they all want the same silly thing. Recover Laboon, protect him, search for the Rumber pirates, and reunite them with it. What a joke! When he received the mission order from Fleet Admiral Kong, even known as Wise Admiral, his wisdom ended here. Finally, he sighed and accepted the task. But before he goes on this ridiculous task, he receives advice from his old friend Zephyr. He still remembered his words and his earnest expression back then. Start of flashback. Marineford. Oi, Sengoku, I have valuable advice for you before you go on your mission. What do you have to tell me, Zephyr? Sengoku looked in astonishment at his old friend's expression that seemed very serious. Don't underestimate a mission to do with that man, no matter how ridiculous and meaningless it may seem. Huh? Do you mean Sky Sword? The author of that One Piece book? Yeah, I've already suffered because of him, you know. Now I remember, you've moved your family home to Marineford because of a warning he gave you. I've never seen you take someone so seriously. Interesting. End of flashback. Well, I hope I don't have an unfortunate accident like yours, my old friend. Using the sea shortcuts of the Navy and the world government, Sengoku warship was already close to its destination. Unfortunately, when Sengoku arrived, the whale didn't find anywhere no matter how much he searched. The Marines deployed in a wide area of the sea from the Red Line to within 5 kilometers of the sea, but to no avail. A few hours before their arrival, Rob had already taken Laboon away. Damn my luck! Where did the damn whale disappear to? Sengoku was furious but eventually had to report his failure to find the whale. But the fleet admiral gave him 2 more days of searching. If they didn't find it they could return. Chapter 66 Laboon discovers the fate of the Rumber pirates. Rob's promise. Reverse Mountain, Grand Line. 3 hours before the Navy reached this place, a flash of lightning appeared in front of the Twin Cape Lighthouse, transforming into the shape of a man. Here is where his friend Crocus used to live. Rob looked at Crocus' house, which was locked and looking unclean from the outside. This place had been neglected since leaving Crocus, who was also the lighthouse keeper. Rob approached the sea and waited for Laboon to appear. The appearance of this whale in the manga caused him a lot of trouble, but even so, Rob couldn't hate this cute whale. He was almost being beaten by his wife because of this whale too. Alvia entered the pampered wife mode and asked him to take Laboon to the Sea of O'Hara, where she would take care of him herself from now on. When she read the new volume and Laboon's story, in particular, her tears didn't stop. She was overly emotional, all of which made Rob even tenser when he remembered Water 7 arc and Ines Lobby arc when he was going to show Robin's past. If the story of just a whale causes her so much pain, what will it be like when you watch her story and the story of her child, in a world where there is no husband? Rob doesn't want to think about that now. It was hard to believe this weeping wife was the same strong woman who appeared on the original show and stood firmly in front of CP5 agents and their chief, pointing at them with her rifle. Well, even though this violent side of his wife was still the same and even stronger, her weak side that she only showed in front of him became more visible as well, especially at this difficult stage of pregnancy. Rob refused Alvia's request to bring Laboon to the Sea of O'Hara naturally because he didn't want a pet that would be as big as a huge mountain in the future. But when he saw Alvia's angry face he nodded obediently, while inwardly angry at the reaction of Rouge, Sora, Belmere, and the rest of the waitresses who were celebrating with joy. He wanted to make this world chaotic with his manga. But why does it seem that his life is becoming chaotic and the world is becoming more peaceful? Did the gods curse me from that divine network or what? Rob took a few minutes to calm himself down. After all, the story parts that would make the world so chaotic had yet to arrive. All secrets will be revealed one by one. Little by little the doubt and mystery will begin to envelop the entire world after every great event in the manga. And chaos will begin to spread after that. Until then he has to put up with it. While he was immersed in thought, a 30-meter wide whale appeared from the sea and sprayed it with water from the hole of its head. Rob's face trembled as he looked at the one responsible for wetting his body with water. Laboon, who was still young at the moment, was playing merrily in the water. He hadn't seen a human in a long time after all. His behavior looked more like a dolphin than a huge whale. Hello, Laboon. Let me introduce myself. I'm Rob, the crewmate of your friend, Crocus, who's gone and hasn't come back yet. Boo. Laboon stopped near Rob and stared at him intently. From the moment he heard Crocus' name he became more interested in this human. After all, Crocus was his friend too. I have two news for you, one bad and one good. If you want to hear them just nod. As for Rob, he didn't think he'd talk to a whale one day, such events only happen in dreams. But here in the pirate world, even the wildest dreams can come true. Although Laboon hasn't reached his same gigantic size 27 years from now, his current size is still considered huge in comparison to a human, so when he nodded towards Rob the seawater was sprayed again, but this time Rob was ready as he turned into lightning. The moment the water came into contact with his body, it evaporated completely and the salt scattered in the air. First, I hope you'll calm down and let me finish my words without you having a backlash, okay? Boo. Laboon nodded again. No, you should probably watch it for yourself. I guess words won't be enough to get the message across. Wait a minute, I'll let you see it all for yourself. Rob take the videotape that he prepared in advance for emergencies and put it on the projector. Yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho. ×2. Binkusu no seikwo, tadak ni yuki yo. Omikaze kimakaze namimekase. A big video projection appeared on the red line right in front of Rob and Laboon's eyes. Its heroes were the Rumber Pirates, unfortunately, in their last moments. Rob took this clip from his Memories of Brook flashback. Rob played a video presentation followed by this music in the background by the projector he had bought from the system shop. It was itself a never-ending mobile generator, so electricity wasn't a problem. The video and music he was able to repeat, thanks to his photographic memory and the system feature, video projection, which can perfectly restore the sound and image from his memory and can even correct the flaws and gaps in the memories. When Laboon heard the song that has been repeating in his mind for the past years, again reluctant to the world around him, the owner of the voice was familiar to him. His eyes widened in plates and tears began to flow from his eyes like a dam when he saw the crew who had always dreamed of meeting them again. The song sung by Brook and the crew in their last moment before death resonated at the Twin Cape, and the only viewers of this saga were one man and one whale. Rob couldn't calm Laboon, who started screaming every time someone from the crew fell without getting up again, so he let him scream as he wanted. In the end, Brook was the last to fall dead and the song stopped. The situation of Laboon, who witnessed all this, also deteriorated. Rob felt sorry for the whale, so he had to say something. Don't worry, Brook will come back from the dead, just keep watching. When Laboon heard this, stopped crying and kept watching. Brook eventually came back from the dead by the devil fruit ability, and he searched his body for an entire year, eventually only finding his skeleton. The whale's screaming turned into cries of joy when he saw his friend returning from death. Rob manages to convince Laboon to come with him when he promises him a reunion with Brook. But the problem is how to transport the huge whale to O'Hara from this place. Rob got a rather crazy idea. East Blue, Logue Town. On this day, a strange phenomenon occurred in the sky of the peaceful town. A huge ball appeared in the sky and dimmed the sunlight, causing an eclipse-like event. The strange ball started to grow bigger and bigger above the heads of the inhabitants, who stopped what they were doing and stared at the sky in astonishment. Boo! The whale's voice echoed above the sky of Logue Town, and it started to rain even though there were no clouds in the sky. This. No way dash. How could am I dreaming? A whale falling from the sky. Run. Rob was under Laboon's body, carrying him from below while flying using his paper wings backed by haki and lightning. Carrying a whale weighing tens of tons and flying with it from the Grand Line Gate to Logue Town is really hard work. This quest required infinite stamina, and that was exactly what Rob was not lacking. A person with his strength level wouldn't have been difficult to carry an immature whale and fly it. Rob descended into the range of the art store under the eyes of the spectators, who had nearly fallen out of their sockets in shock. As he approached the store, Laboon's massive body began to shrink into the size of a dolphin. Rob laughed at Laboon's shock at the situation and walked into the store, leaving the stunned crowd outside. Was that Laboon with the store owner, right? Not possible. Laboon. Chapter 67. Laboon's return to his homeland. Doflamingo and Rosinante training. West Blue, a hill on the coast of O'Hara Island. There are many trees and green vegetation in this place. Various types of sea and wild birds chirped and gathered on a black mass in the sea by the hill overlooking the sea. Boo! Water erupted from the black mass, scattering the birds gathering once more. The women's pleasurable laughter spread across this place when seawater rained down and wet their graceful bodies once more. Rob was leaning against his four-wheel drive car Ford while smoking a cigarette and quietly looking at the celestial scene playing before his eyes. The maids' clothes got wet and stuck on their celestial bodies, allowing their magnificent origins to unfold in their fullest manifestations. Seeing this scene combined with the beautiful nature of this place was a blessing for Rob. In fact, only the very happy smile on his wife's face was enough for Rob. If he knew that bringing this whale here would make her so happy, he wouldn't have even thought of saying no the first time. He was living to see that happy laugh on her face in this life after all. Laboon, are you happy to be home again? From what I know, whales of your kind live in the Western Blue in abundance. Alvia patted the body of the huge whale and asked it. Boo! Haha, I'm glad to know that. Alvia-san, do you really understand whale language? Rouge wondered in shock. For a moment she thought that maybe this woman could have the voice of all things too. Rouge can hear everything going on in a whale's mind, after all, because she has that ability, but how can Alvia understand that? It is not, although I cannot understand what he wants to express as plain words, I can read his body language and translate it into words. After all, I'm an archaeologist and an adventurer. I have gained this ability because of that. I can tell that her answer was like this. Yes, I'm happy with that. I miss this sea. Rouge was shocked again because what the whale had said was almost the same as what Alvia had said. Boo. You are great, big sister Alvia. He agrees with your words now, doesn't he? The stars were practically appearing in Belmir's eyes. For the first time she knew that body language could be transformed into words. It's her, not him, Belmir. Huh? Do you mean that the gender of the whale is female? Exactly. Big brother Rob? Will Luffy fulfill his promise to Laboon in the manga? Rob looked at Rosinante who had asked this question. He was 8 years old and seemed to have become more open since he started going to school. Rosinante's futuristic Joker-like face appeared and overlapped with that of the kid Rosinante. For a moment Rob was stunned. Big brother Rob. Ah, sorry, I got a little lost. What was your question? This is because you smoke. You should stop smoking. The teacher she told us that it is bad for health and for the mind as well. Rob looked at little Rosinante with a bit of amazement and then laughed. Ha 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 ha, your teacher is really right, kid. Rob patted Rosinante's head and complimented him, under the jealous eyes of little Doflamingo. Rob noticed this and patted Doflamingo's head as well. But did you forget that I am your teacher too? No, we haven't forgotten, teacher, X2. Good, Rosinante, you asked me earlier if Luffy would keep his promise and meet Laboon to fight him again, right? Yes. Rosinante answered in his childish voice again. You will surely find the answer if you keep reading the manga. Now it's time for you to train again, kids. Rosinante, Doflamingo, yes, that's what I've been waiting to hear from you. Rob carried Doflamingo and Rosinante like empty bags and threw them in the back seat of the car. Don't forget to wear your safety belt, kids. Rob threw the semi-finished cigarette on the ground before crushing it with his feet and burying it in the dirt. Smoking was a bad habit that followed him from his previous world, unfortunately, but he is immortal and can smoke as he wants. As for you, dear mortal reader, it is better to stop. He looked at Matriarch, who she was standing next to the group of women at the end of the hill, and said, Lady Matriarch, I'm taking your children for another training lesson, so you can enjoy your time with the girls without worrying about these kids. Yes, benefactor, I would be at peace if they were with you. The four-wheel drive car stopped in a mountainous area devoid of any residential communities, and 2 kids and 1 man got off. Doflamingo, I will see your progress in the devil fruit mastering. Show me the results of your training so far. Hey. The aura around Doflamingo changed and his hands began to turn into lumps of threads that became in the form of a sharp edge. He looked toward a rock near him and a glint was reflected from his glasses. Then he quickly sped towards the rock and tore a large part of it with his sharp strings. Rob started training them physically about a month ago, and the workouts ranged from running, squats, and push-ups to rock lifting and weight dumbbell training, from the system shop of course. In addition to this, he would provide them with the meat of the Sea Kings and after each infernal training lesson, he would make them eat a lot of meat. This is how training in a pirate world should be. Rosinante's training was less intense than Doflamingo's because he was still younger and weaker than his brother. It's all just warm UPS, when the time comes the real training will show them. Good, Duffy, keep showing me everything I've taught you like that. Rosinante, come here, I have something for you. I'm here, teacher. Rob pulled out a strange fruit from his inventory to the astonishment of both Rosinante and Doflamingo. Eat this, I got it for you. Chapter 68 Morgans begins his journalistic career by piracy the manga. Shanks and Buggy appear on stage Grand Line, the New World, on an island. Come here, we have a hot commodity that has just started spreading to the world. It's entertaining tales and stories that will surely make your days entertaining. Whether you are a pirate, a marine, a criminal, or even just an ordinary person, I am sure that you will definitely enjoy the story of the adventures of the Straw Hat Luffy crew. You have to go to the 4 seas if you want to read this, but I brought it here for you. Additional information? The author of this book is a member of the Roger Pirates, who has recently become famous by his name, Skysword Rob. So what are you waiting for to buy the manga books? It is so cheap. It's only 5,000 berries for the first part, and I have 7 parts, exactly the same number that came out so far. In a public square, people gathered around the person who had been shouting interesting things the whole time. The figure of the man who was constantly shouting looked like an albatross bird, his entire body covered in feathers and wearing a black hat. Morgans was 26 years old, yet to start his career. Is this book really worth 5,000 berries? Asked a man among the crowd who was looking at the manga book collection arranged in order of volumes. Buy the first book, and if you don't come back to buy the second, third, fourth, and, I swear to everyone present that I will give you back your money. Morgans was confident in his gamble. After all, this wasn't his first time. He had never lost at such a gamble before. Okay, I accept your challenge. I'm going to read this book here. If it's not interesting you'll get my money back. Me too. And me too. Give me the first book too. Come on, this is yours, and this is yours too. You will definitely not regret it, ha ha ha. Morgans was excited when he saw the same interested and enthusiastic looks on the faces of the people who had bought the first book when they started reading it. Just as he expected, the magic of One Piece never dies. The magic of One Piece applies to everyone without exception. The Trade Emperor is truly a genius, worthy of being the destined rival of him. After some time, hey, give me the second book, this book is really cool, here, 5,000 berry. Oh, unfortunately, you know I have a limited batch of the item, so the second book is a little more expensive than the first, it's worth 6,000 berries, sir. Morgan's gaze turned maliciously as he spoke cunningly, after they had fallen into his claws, he would surely milk these fat sheep. What? I am really sorry, sir, but I really have no choice, it is difficult to get so many copies from the original of this book. Okay, here's 6,000 berry. Quickly give me the second book. Me too, take, the 6,000 berry. Give me the second book too. Morgans was pleased with the ease of taming of these fat sheep. Just keep giving me your money, after all, my dream depends on it. My dream is to be the #1 journalist in the world. I'll make even the trade emperor Rob bow before me, ha 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 ha. Those are impossible. Suddenly the bird's eyes for Morgans narrowed when he saw the two figures among the crowd. He had definitely seen them somewhere. Very close place. Morgans looked at the manga books piled up in front of him. He definitely saw them here. Hoi, Shanks? Look at there, something there that is definitely interesting, otherwise, not many people will gather on it, do you think? I think you're right, why don't we take a look? Buggy. Shanks looked behind him and didn't even find Buggy's shadow, then looked ahead, only finding dust behind Buggy who was running at full speed toward the crowd. Oi, Buggy, wait for me. Buggy entered through the huddled crowd as Shanks followed behind him. In the end, they managed to reach the center of the crowd. On the floor, they saw a group of familiar books arranged in an orderly fashion, which a bird standing on 2 legs was selling. Shanks and Buggy looked toward the manga book seriously. Shanks remembers that majestic figure of his future version while talking to the bandits and also after saving Luffy from a sea monster, and when he gave the captain's straw hat to him. As for Buggy, he remembered that arrogant clown who was played by a group of kids and they turned him into a joke and stole his treasure map as well. Shanks, this is Brother Rob's manga book. Buggy, damn you, do you want to discredit me in the new world too? Buggy, look, there are new volumes of Big Brother Rob's manga, I think the crew will be interested to read that, how about we buy them all? Shanks whispered with a low voice in Buggy's ear. We won't, I don't want to. You'll probably will make me a joke and laughingstock again like you've done all along until now. Speak in a low voice, you bastard. The people who had just finished reading the second volume under the title Orangetown looked toward the two kids who were screaming loudly. Their eyeballs nearly fell out of shock. Whether it was a coincidence or something else, the two who were in front of them in the One Piece manga appeared exactly the same. Flashback Buggy, when he accidentally ate a devil fruit because of Shanks. For a moment, eyes met on them from all sides, and it was not only Morgans who was now shocked, but everyone present. Only people who haven't read the manga yet were confused as to what was going on. Shanks took advantage of this astonishment and stole Volume 6, Arc Logetown, and Volume 7, Arc Laboon. These two books were the only ones they hadn't read yet. Once he succeeded in it, he pulled a stunt Buggy and they ran away at full speed. Although the two kids are gone, the stunned people remain. These kids? They're Buggy and Shanks, aren't they? Not possible. The similarity between them is 100%. Are my eyes deceiving me? Maybe. Bastard thieves? They stole my books. Morgans recovered himself and found 2 books missing from his collection, which already contains the fewest books. The 6th and 7th volumes were the end of the first saga and the beginning of the second saga of the story. They were a rare commodity. But the bastard's thieves stole from his rare commodity. It was 2 books together worth 150,000 berry. This was the price he decided to sell these 2 books for. These kids caused him a great loss. When Rob finds out that Morgans is extorts on people with his work, he will surely get a taste of hell. Chapter 69 Roger's enthusiasm for conquering the sea became stronger than the original story. I won't lose to Straw Hat Luffy, on Oro Jackson. Roger, BFT. Wahahahaha. Rob never ceases to amaze me, this is really amazing. Gaban, Buggy, heaven has punished you for your arrogance, ha 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 ha. Gaban, and you, Shanks, you'd better be careful not to let your hand become food for that sea snake, lest you become a joke to your friend, the best swordsman in the world. That would be an insult to our Roger pirates. Rayleigh, I agree. Shanks, of course, I'd be more careful if something like that happened. I wouldn't let that Hawkeye look down on me. Shanks, Buggy, I didn't expect you to have such bad luck in the future. I really pity you, my friend. Shanks, but, BFT, ha 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 ha, sorry, that's really funny. My stomach hurts from laughing so hard. Spencer, ha 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 ha, I think the lightning was so hurt, man. You'd better avoid anyone named Luffy in the future. Rayleigh, well, stop laughing guys. Buggy, you really are the star of this part. Despite all the odds, I didn't expect you to ally with a beautiful woman like Alvida. But even with all your strength, you couldn't do anything in front of a Logia user. Look, you see, Rob here sends a hidden message to you so you can start learning Haki just like Shanks and stop being lazy. Rayleigh, never refuse the captain's kindness again. Buggy looked at all his companions who were laughing at him while he gritted his teeth in anger. Well, what can he do about that? That bastard Rob wasn't here to get revenge. But he still took Rayleigh's advice to heart. He couldn't allow a future like this to happen in reality no matter what. Even Rob didn't expect Rayleigh to think he was sending Buggy hidden messages, which in turn motivates Buggy to train hard. Because of this small event, Buggy decided to train harder with Shanks. Perhaps in the future, Shanks won't be the only Yonko from this ship. Guys, I don't know why, but I have a strange feeling. I think that Garp's son was the one who caused that lightning. Roger was seriously looking at the man covered in a green cloak in the manga. This person made him feel a lot of mystery. He recognized him because he had seen him more than once beside his father when he pursued him on another hunt. I wish I could live longer to see that mysterious future that you can see, Rob. Garp's son? Ah, you're right, it's that dragon who seems smarter than his retarded father. Rayleigh raised his glasses while also staring at the picture of the futuristic dragon. When he saw the picture, he had the same feeling of mystery that his captain felt as well. Could he? Does he have that power to control the weather? But now he is still too weak. This book seems to be the end of the East Blue story. Come on, let's read the next book. I'll start first. I'm the captain after all. Ha 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 ha. Roger has taken the manga book which has a different cover than the previous series. A huge whale with lots of scars, the Kingdom of Sand, Kingdom of Snow, Little Raccoon, Kingdom of Dinosaurs, and two giants familiar to Roger decorate the cover of the new saga, called the Baroque Works Saga. The grand line, after all, is the real challenge. Let me see your story. Luffy, what would you do better than me? A mysterious flash appeared in Roger's eyes before he disappeared. No one noticed. While Buggy was the star of the previous part, you guys won't believe who the star of this part is. This is really amazing. Stars appeared in Roger's eyes as he remembered the events of the part he had just read. The more and more he reads from this book, the more he discovers that this Luffy looks a lot like him. Incredibly similar. Give me this. I am the vice captain so I may read it after you. Rayleigh took the book and began to read. After some time, the same astonished expression that was on Roger's face appeared on him. Roger, you see? It was fun, wasn't it? Rayleigh looked at Crocus then Roger and nodded. It was really a fun part. The interaction of the Straw Hat crew reminded him of their crew's beginnings. They were almost the same. I'm sure a crew like this will make the world turn upside down in the future. Wahahahaha, your insight is still sharp, old Rayleigh, as expected. Roger, are you hiding something from me? Huh? What? Give me the book now, Rayleigh. You've done with it, right? So it's my turn. Gaban took the book from Rayleigh's hand in annoyance and looked toward the crowd of pirates. They're eager to take the book from his hand. You guys can wait, or it will be my axe that will speak. Gaban pointed at his sharp axes causing the crowd to shiver in terror. He removed his sunglasses and turned around to silently read the book. Let's read also you bastard, it's not fair. You'll follow a class approach, it's not fair. Why do you have to threaten us like that? Why haven't I appeared in the manga yet? Crocus has even appeared but I haven't shown up yet. Looks like Rob forgot the money I was lending him when he needed it. Tears of sadness fell from Gaban's eyes before he put on his sunglasses. Well, I'll forgive him if he draws me next time. After all, this is such a fun story. I love it. Crocus, isn't that the whale you told me about? Huh? Did you say I appeared in the manga? Give me the damn book now. If that bastard turns me into a joke I'll show him the pain. When Crocus heard his name, he took the manga book out of Gaban's hand so quickly under the crew's furious eyes, he didn't even let Gaban finish his sentence. After a period. This? How does he know all this? I don't remember telling him about Laboon's story before. And will Laboon be like this because of the truth I will tell him in the future? This? I don't understand anything anymore. I give up. The manga folder fell from Crocus' hand and before it fell to the ground another person managed to catch it, but another group of men who wanted to read the manga fell on it. At the end of the day, everyone on the ship had managed to read the 2 volumes. Their friend's story was amazing and appetizing. They will be sure to read more in the future. You guys. Yes, Captain Roger. Everyone loudly responded to their captain's call. After all, they were all at the dining table at the moment. Let us conquer the sea with greater force from now on. Let our name be immortalized in the pages of history in a greater way than we may in some future. The men stopped eating or drinking while dumbfoundedly looking toward Roger who looked as excited as a kid at the moment. Let's get to the next level at full speed. Not only will we settle for the title of Greats Pirates, but we also have to become the Pirates Kings. We have to reach the final island and fulfill our friend's prophecy. Men, will you come with me? Oh, sure, Captain, we'll go to the hell with you. Ha ha ha, looks like you got our early days back because of the manga. You really haven't changed Roger all these years. But, I like this. I'll go with you wherever you want. You're the captain after all. Rayleigh stopped drinking the sake and said out loud. The crew members followed after him. They all said the same thing. You all, really best friends. Roger looked at Rayleigh and the rest of his crew with a happy smile. His enthusiasm for conquering the sea became even stronger. He won't lose to Straw Hat Luffy for sure. Chapter 70 Remains of Shimatsuki Clan at a confusion? Garp asks. Have you found the mother of my grandson? Or you haven't found her yet? East Blue, Shimatsuki Village. The gentle wind breeze brushed the vast field of green vegetation and painted a wonderful picture of the peak of the spring season. The art store stood tall in this beautiful environment. From the outside, it looked as quiet as every day, but inside it was another story. Here, you'll find simple villagers, high-ranking civilians, pirates, and criminals, and kids, and maybe you can see a marine from time to time disguised in civilian clothes or even a cipher pole in disguise. The important thing is that there were people of all classes enjoying their time as if they were a group with identical rights and duties. Of course, some of them might have different goals and threatening thoughts, but under the strict law of the system, they were all without any potential for any real threat. Without anyone complaining, they all continued to enjoy modern wines and wonderful manga. Such was the case in all the ubiquitous art stores in the sea. But here in Shimatsuki village, a certain old man would get into a fit of rage every time he got a chance, both inside and outside the art store. Just like this. "Oi, Koshiro, Suna. Yes, we are here, great father Kozaburo." The old man named Kozaburo removed his pipe and puffed away the smoke before looking at the two young man and woman kneeling in front of him with an angry look on his old face. This scene had been repeated so often recently that the two kneeling young man and woman could no longer say the exact number. "Where's my granddaughter Kuna? Haven't you made it yet? You bastard Koshiro, how dare you underestimate my granddaughter? I'm Shimatsuki Kozaburo just because she's a woman. Huh? Is this my upbringing for you? And you, Suna? How dare you die and leave my cute granddaughter in the cold hands of this bastard?" The old man once again began to angrily shout at the two of them, teaching them how to raise and take care of Kuna so that she could become the future brightest star in the swordsmanship world. Koshiro and Suna couldn't help but endure Kozaburo's endless tantrum while crying without tears. But the hard part has yet to come. "And you, Koshiro, here he comes." Both Suna and Koshiro cried out in terror as Koshiro prepared to receive his father's angry sword attack. How can you be so careless, and let my granddaughter die? Why did you cause my granddaughter to die? Huh? Are you even a father? Damn you, take that. Old man Kozaburo used his pipe like a sword, and the moment the pipe slashed the air, a blade of white energy flew from the pipe towards Koshiro directly. Boom! Koshiro didn't dare to be careless and used haki-coated Wado Ikemonji to block this attack with all his might. But as it always happened, "Arg, Ado-san, do you want to kill me?" Koshiro flew violently and hit the dojo wall before falling to the ground. "Anita, are you okay?" Suna ran towards Koshiro to check on him. "Humph, a father who can't educate or protect his daughter well, you better die." "Oyaji, stop the bullshit, we haven't had any kids yet, we only got married 2 years ago. Has your mental illness gotten more serious since you started reading manga?" "What? Are you saying that I'm Shimatsuki Kozaburo, who made half the swords of Wano country history, a crazy?" Kozaburo looked at Koshiro angrily. It seemed that this son of his needs more beating to understand his words well. Kozaburo was an old man who appeared to be 68 years old but still somewhat of a strong physique, with large, thick white hair hanging down the sides of his face, a ponytail over a tuft of light hair, and a beard around his jaw. He had a scar on his left temple as well. He wore a kimono decorated with flowers and sandals. He also carried a katana with him and often smoked a kisaro, a smoking pipe. No, Oyaji, I never meant that." Koshiro, who appeared to be 22 years old, tried to explain himself but he couldn't find anything to say. "No, great father, I guess my husband didn't mean it. He is only concerned about your health. You know, you are our clan pride." The woman who spoke was Shimatsuki Tsuna, Koshiro's wife, who looked exactly like an old version of Kuna at 20 years old. Suna, you always stand up for that bastard, but your sweet words are great to hear. Shia ha 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 ha. You've read the holy book, haven't you?" After Kozaburo calmed in his angry state, he asked the two of them a question. "You mean manga One Piece, Oyaji? It's the holy book, not a manga, at least for me, the holy book that will make the world realize our illusory reality." Both Koshiro and Suna's eyes trembled as they heard the old man's nonsense again. In their eyes he had definitely lost it. "We have already read it, Oyaji. We are also confused about it. Despite all the confusion, we have decided to correct such mistakes if we happen to have a daughter in the future. Don't worry about it, Oto-san." Koshiro spoke with complete certainty while Tsuna supported his words. "You don't understand anything. You can't see what I saw. Your life experience is very small. You might think I'm crazy, but the holy book paints exactly the future. Kuna will surely come to this world and I will take care of her until my last breath. I will not allow the descendant of the main families, the green-haired brat, to exceed my granddaughter. Never." In the sky above Shimatsuki village, Rob was hidden far from the samurai's senses of the old man and his son. He was looking at the situation with a smile. He had seen and heard a lot of interesting things. In fact, he has never seen or known about this person named Shimatsuki Kozaburo, but he is sure that he will appear in the Wano arc for the weekly manga update on planet Earth. Unfortunately, for Rob, he has moved into this world without knowing much of what will happen next. However, if he encounters such events, he will obtain a lot of pieces of information needed to finish the manga. Now, piece of information, like Zoro's father, Kuna's mother, and her grandfather as well. Fusha Village Pier. A warship stood on the pier and dragon in the uniform of a navy captain descended from it. "I'll go find Vice Admiral Garp. Get ready to set sail anytime, man." "Yes, Captain Dragon." Dragon looked at the familiar village in front of him and continued on his way. He had come to this place more than once in recent months, as a naval captain who had to move constantly, so every time he received a mission from headquarters he would take his father's ship and leave. But his father, who was Vice Admiral and who was supposed to do the tasks, had been at ease in the village since he first came and left everything on him. But what can he do about it? His father was a beast in the skin of a man. He didn't dare to disobey him. All his misfortunes happened because of the art store and the so-called manga. Dragon sighed as he entered the only tavern in this village. He could hear his father's laughter from a distance coming from this tavern. "Yosh, Makino-chan, look at this face, is it funny? Little Makino raised her little hands to touch Garp's face while laughing happily. Inside the tavern, Garp was holding the 3-month-old Makino and playing with her while making funny faces. Little Makino's laughter echoed in the tavern, making Father Mercar even happier to see it. Next to Father Mercar, the owner of the tavern, stood a beautiful brown-haired woman, who was Makino's nanny. When Father Mercer decided not to die, he decided to hire a nanny for his daughter, but this beautiful woman from Goa Kingdom came to raise her for free, just because she loved Makino. The love his daughter received from everyone on this island was the reason for his desire to live. Hello, dragon, you've back, that's good. So where is my grandson's mother? Have you not found her yet? The blood in Dragon's body froze when he heard that while Father Mercar and the nanny both laughed at it. After all, they were so used to this situation, it looked like déjà vu. I told you I don't want a wife right now, don't you understand, old man? Dragon was really angry, his father was deliberately making his life difficult. I say you need it, will you disobey this father's orders? Oh, Makino-chan, you're so cute, look at that bastard over there, he doesn't want to give birth to your little son in the future. Luffy, should we punish him? Chapter 71 The new Bleach arcade excites the readers. O'Hara, Knowledge Village. Duffy, hurry, let's go quickly, the store will be emptied of all volumes if we don't hurry. Little Rosinante moved from one place to another inside the house at an abnormal speed, which no one could see with the naked eye, but even so, his childlike voice came out from somewhere from time to time. Shut up, you're annoying, let me have my breakfast first, it's only morning. The art store won't close anytime soon. Little Doflamingo was annoyed by what was going on since his little brother had eaten. They felt respect for a man like Renji. They felt the battle madness of Zaraki Kenpeki, and taste the real madness of Mayuri Kurotsuki. They also adored the sexy female beauty who appeared in the manga, and they wanted to know more about Urahara Kisuk's mystery. They felt contempt for Byakuya, who refused to save his sister. But most importantly, they all felt happy when Ichigo stepped in to save Rukia. Mary Giose. It wasn't just Mihawk who got excited in this arc and tried to get benefits from the skills of the Godei 13 captains, but the world government also did. Once they were finished the reading of manga, the 5 elders assigned a whole team specialized solely to study Bleach manga and come up with skills from it, whether physical or spiritual. Just as the Rokishiki were being developed, the world government was planning to develop new abilities based on the Bleach manga. Since Rob opened his art store here, the life of celestial dragons has become even more exciting. The time when torturing slaves and using them for fun was their only entertainment is gone. Now they have real entertainment, literally addictive. After the release of the Bleach manga chapters, the celestial dragons got into a huge commotion and caused a lot of trouble to their guards. They were all shouting to call author Rob to marry Gioise and honor him with all the good, as long as he draws plenty of chapters for them from now on. They were angry that the Navy had failed to take back Laboon and meet their demands the last time, but they took advantage of this failure to make this new request. When Rob heard this, he nearly died of laughter. For the first time, the demands of the celestial dragons were rejected by the 5 elders, which led to a double turmoil in Mary Giose. Despite all this, the slaves were having their best days ever. Since the art store appeared and they followed the divine store owner's plan, their suffering had become nearly 0%. They just have to be patient and they will be released and out of Mary Giose once and for all. Ding! Plus 1,000 art points from Navy Captain Borsalino. Ding! Plus 1,000 art points from Navy Captain Sakazuki. Ding! Plus 5,000 art points from Navy Admiral Sengoku. Ding! Plus 5,000 art points from Fleet Admiral Kong. Ding! Plus 4,500 art points from Navy Admiral Zephyr. Ding! Plus 1,000 art points from Vegapunk. This time Rob had to wake up again due to the endless system notification sounds. Why just don't let him rest for a bit? And why do they all have to be big shots this time? Chapter 72 Giving Power on a Gold Plate? Journey to the Sky with the Maid Sisters Group Marineford. Is this book the cause of the uproar that is taking place in Mary Giose? Borsalino. Borsalino, who was still a young man, looked towards Sakazuki with a meaningful look. They were currently in a public place after all. Borsalino was 28 years old, the same age as Rob, while Sakazuki looked 24 years old. Both of them joined the Navy 3 years ago, and in a short period of 3 years, they reached the rank of captain in the Navy and got the title of New Generation Monsters with Dragon, Vice Admiral Garp's son. The 3 of them were the invincible monsters of the same generation. Their achievements were extremely powerful thanks to the natural devil fruits. A/N, Kuzan, Aokiji, hasn't yet joined the Navy on this date but will be in 1 year. I didn't think you'd read the Bleach manga too, Sakazuki, that's really interesting. Borsalino looked at Sakazuki with a provocative smile that made the latter seriously consider killing him. Old face, I asked you a question? What's the problem if I'm reading the manga too? It gets leaked in large quantities from Mary Giose anyway. Well, don't get angry, don't get angry. It's kind of frustrating when you call me that disgraceful nickname. Aren't we comrades in arms, Sakazuki? From what has been circulating recently, a large group of celestial dragons submitted a petition to the 5 elders and it was rejected. Borsalino whispered in a low voice, pressed by Sakazuki to spit out what he knew. What kind of petition is this? What is it? And why? Even Sakazuki was curious about this. After all, in the past he served under the celestial dragons. He knew what kind of scum were celestial dragons, something that made them petition for it wouldn't be simple. Oh, what an annoying subject. It's totally because of that book in your hand. Then why didn't you say it the first time when I asked you? Are you so bored to stretch this conversation to this point? Monkey face, you piss me off. Borsalino's body trembled when he heard another offensive nickname on the shape of his face. Won't you explain now? Sakazuki, take a look at our surroundings. Sakazuki seriously looked at his surroundings. They were in a public cafe for a break. Marines of all ranks were spread out everywhere, and they were reading manga volumes with excited expressions on their faces. The celestial dragons who stand above all living beings, when they tasted the pleasure of reading the manga, they didn't react like the rest of the humans. I mean, they were more excited than these, but they wanted to pull the author to their side and raise him like a goose giving birth to golden eggs, manga metaphor, every time they wanted to taste it. So they gathered their votes and submitted a petition for the first time in history. The request they agreed upon was to honor the author as a second-class noble, a false celestial dragon, with most of the rights of a celestial dragon, and this includes living in the domain of the gods with them. But their request was flatly denied. After all, the author is a dangerous pirate with overwhelming power. Sakazuki, who had heard all of this, was shocked, to the point that his mind was momentarily blank. Where did you get this information from? From the scientific base. From Vegabunk, right. In the office of the Fleet Admiral. Sengoku, the situation is getting out of hand. Rob has successfully planted poison in the middle of Mary Geoise. Can you believe it? Fleet Admiral Kong gritted his teeth angrily as he looked at the report in his hand. The world government is in a critical situation. I don't know why, but everyone in Mary Geoise seems to be brainwashed with no effects at the moment. Sengoku looked at his old friend silently. He already knew his predicament. Kong was called to the position of commander-in-chief of the world government urgently to clean up the chaos in Mary Geoise and take the pressure off the five elders. Not to lie to you, I also love that man's manga, but as much as I love it, I am terrified of what that man can achieve with it. If you can't ban those stores, I think you should start drawing world government manga as well, and it should be just as efficient as One Piece and Bleach and better centered around our justice and our navy and showing our best qualities. All the ideas you gave me I really appreciate, Sengoku, thank you. I was supposed to be happy with this long-awaited promotion, but for them to call me to clean up a chaos like this, it kind of makes me feel better if I remain a fleet admiral. Yes, I really didn't expect the five elders to summon you at this time. This is much shorter than expected. It means that the time to sit on that seat has come for me as well. You're right, Sengoku, I'm counting on you. The official announcement will be soon. Skypiea. Rob and the group of maid sisters were roaming the streets of Sky Island. Sora, look, these angel wings are so cute. I wish I had wings too. Haha, you are right, it is beautiful. I used to think that a place like this only existed in dreams. Sora let out a chuckle when she saw Belmir's enthusiasm. Wow, Sister Rouge, look at the houses, it's literally above the clouds. The clouds here have the advantage of being solid, although they are very light at the same time, so it is practically possible to build houses on top of the clouds. Rouge said with a smile. Why do you seem to know so much, Sister Rouge? Rouge only smiled and didn't answer Belmir's question. Oh my god, am I in heaven, Sister Matriarch? Look at that cute female angel. She uses what they call dials to blow the winds to dry the laundry. You can take some of these dials when we come back. They are very useful and practical. Look, I bought a lot of them too. Rob almost applauded this woman when he heard that, because she always thinks of the good stuff first. Sister Alvia, can we have a home in this paradise? I want to live here. Of course, I'll get a house for little Sister Belmir, won't I, husband? Rob wasn't have any problem spending money to build a cloud house here. Maybe he could even get a cloud villa. After all, he was rich, very rich. Sure, I'll get it for you. Just pick which cloud you want, Belmir. Yada, Sister Alvia is the best. But aren't I the one who deserves praise here? I'm the one who's going to buy you the cloud house, you know. Huh, isn't Big Brother Rob's money the same as Big Sister Alvia's? Rob, Bankai, Kokujo Tenjin Myo. Huh? Come to me, traitor Zaraki. Ha 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 ha, come, we would fight to the death, Captain Kumamuro. Rob smiled when he saw the Skypian kids playing manga characters and continued his way with the girls. They came across a lot of scenes like this, even in O'Hara. Rob was especially happy to see the kids happy. He was feeling an indescribable kind of inner satisfaction and peace. Dear, you look so happy. Alvia hugged Rob from behind as she climbed up to grab onto his back. How can I not be happy to have you around? Then you haven't yet told me what surprise you have for me, and you brought us to the sky because of it. Alvia whispered in Rob's ear. Excitement prompted her to do so. She was so excited after all. Today, she doesn't only confirm the truth of the legendary Sky Island that she saw in the records and she considered it just a legend, but her husband had another surprise for her, and this made her literally live in bliss. We'll be at Upper Yard soon. Just be a little patient. After some time the group reached Angel Beach, and Rob brought out his magnificent yacht, which had been gathering dust in the inventory for a while, astonishing Alvia, Sora, Rouge, Matriarch, and Belmir with its luxurious design that they had never seen before. Rob jumped to the stern of the yacht and created a hard paper corridor with the power of devil fruit to allow the group to catch up. Come on, what are you waiting for? Go up, we'll go to Upper Yard, or as the Land of God is called. Rob's face showed a satisfied smile. How long has it been since he enjoyed the luxury of having beautiful girls on his yacht? The point is, this will happen in another world. Chapter 73 Exploring the Golden City, Shandora. Rouge's apology. Gold? Gold everywhere, we are rich. Belmir's eyes turned to gold as she saw the crumbling golden city in front of her. Each piece of gold was large enough to turn a poor person into a billionaire. Rob, what is this place? Why are most of the ruins built of gold? And most importantly, why does everything look so old? Alvia entered archaeologist mode once more as she tried to comprehend the antique smell that filled this place. This is the golden city of Shandora that has disappeared from history, Rob said with a smile as if what he had said was something simple. But to Rouge, Alvia, and Sora, it was a shock bomb. They all said at the same time, is it the same city that Mont Blanc Noland was told about and he was executed for lying? Then you seem to know about that story as well? Yes, this is the golden city of which the famous Mont Blanc Noland tells about. Alvia, Rouge, and Sora were shocked when they heard the confirmation. Even Matriarch and Belmir were so interested in this story which they didn't know about. 400 years ago or so, an explorer man from a far land came to this place. He stood at the same place we are standing now, but the only difference is that the golden city he saw at that time was so prosperous and so beautiful to the point he was almost lost his soul in its magnificence. Rob tells them the story of the golden city and Noland briefly, telling them of the great knock-up stream that separated half of the island of Jaya from the blue sea and lifted it into the sky. The story told by Rob made the women plunge into amazing history. So, this is the real story. What an epic story. Shame on me as an archaeologist for not looking for the truth and believing what came in a distorted story. Alvia felt deep guilt after hearing the Noland story, not only her but even Rouge and Sora because, like her, they believed the comic book they had read about the Noland liar story before. It's not your fault in any way. In fact, it wasn't even the fault of the Linville royal family. After all, half of the island completely flew to the sky. Who would believe a fact like this? Yeah. Rob allowed the girls to scatter around while searching the ruins of the Golden City. They gained a lot from this trip. This was a wonderful adventure for them, so he let them do whatever they wanted while he locked them in with his observation haki at every moment so he wouldn't be careless. As Alvia was wandering through the ruins and even looking at the scattered stones with the look of a veteran archaeologist, she saw something that made the blood in her body freeze. A huge python stood looking at her from above with a frightening look, only its head was the size of a house not to mention the rest of its extremely long body. Alvia stumbled back and almost screamed in terror, but she felt a warm hand which holding her from behind. Immediately her fear flew out the window. Rob looked toward the blueskin striped python, and a light of conqueror haki flashed from his eyes at that moment, making the python sweat. Go away, now. Rob said only 2 words and then the python's huge body crawled and disappeared from view. Were you afraid, my dear? Rob carried Alvia with the way of carrying the princess because he felt she couldn't stand because of fear. It was a negative thing for a pregnant woman. I wasn't scared. It just surprised me. It was so huge. I also hate snakes. Alvia rested her head on his chest as she spoke in the mosquito's voice. Rob almost laughed because of her cuteness. From the side, Rouge and the girls watched this little incident with interest. I didn't expect there to be such a huge python in this place. Is he protecting the ruins of Shandora? Sora inquired as she comes Belmir who was hiding behind her back like a frightened rabbit when she saw the huge python. I think so. Rouge didn't care about the python but was looking at Rob who was carrying Alvia and calms her down with a complicated look in her eye. Since entering this group, she hasn't discovered anything sinister or abnormal from this man. All she has discovered is that he is simply a wonderful man. She no longer heard any voices from his mind no matter how hard she tried as if his mind had gone blank, but she knew that due to the strength of the other party, it was difficult to read the thoughts of a strong person without the desire to reveal his thoughts. The trees spread out in the area and the gentle wind breeze blew. Alvia's white hair flew in the wind as well as the beautiful women beside her. Alvia was shocked and she was so happy when she saw what she had aspired to see as an archaeologist. It's the gift I told you about, but I think its content should be kept secret, sweetheart. Did you like the gift? There are still many more like it. Sure, I like it so much. I love it. Thank you, my love. Alvia approached the poneglyph and began to read it in earnest. He's talking about Poseidon's ancient weapon. Okay, its content is interesting. I'm satisfied my dear. I love you. Alvia hugged Rob and kissed him passionately in front of the shy eyes of Sora and the others. Poseidon's ancient weapon. As for Rouge, she took the poneglyph seriously and tried to use her ability to find out its contents, but because she hadn't studied the ancient language before, she could not decipher it even with her ability. Rouge was really curious. There are other words on the golden wall, written in the ancient language. Rouge noticed the words engraved on the golden wall and told Alvia who left Rob's hug the moment she heard it and turned around very quickly to see what she had missed. Alvia looked between Rob and the words engraved on the golden wall for a while and then, PFT, ha, dear, you are a genius. I didn't expect you to master the ancient language to such a level and leave such an amazing message to the future as well. Rob laughed happily upon hearing his wife's praise. Can you sculpt a message for me as well? Sure, what do you want me to write? Then won't you at least tell us what kind of letter the president wrote? Why all the mystery? While Rob was seriously sculpting Alvia's words beside his signature, Belmere could no longer stand the ambiguous atmosphere this husband and wife created, and she asked aloud. Rob looked at the interested faces of Sora and Rouge and Matriarch, and, finally, the brat Belmere. Actually there are 2 messages, one for the crew of the Pirate King and one for my daughter. Rob removed all the ambiguity about the 2 messages which he had left, and he told the woman group what its content was, finally curing their curiosity. Rob-san. Rob looked at Rouge and he was surprised that she hadn't left with the rest yet. Why didn't you leave with Alvia and the others, Rouge-san? When they had previously explored the golden city of Shandora, Rob took them to an art store hidden in the jungle near the site of the poneglyph, which really surprised them. Rob stayed in Skypiea because he still had some unfinished business here, and asked the waitressing sisters group to get back to their work. It was very good to them, but when Alvia asked him why he hadn't brought them here directly through this art store, he simply said, "Because I wanted to make you enjoy the journey on Sky Island, and more than that I wanted taking you on a luxury yacht tour. Didn't you say it was a fun experience and you want to ride my yacht again?" His answer was very convincing as they all nodded in agreement. Back to this moment. "I have something to tell you, so I stayed behind." Rouge was a little tense, and that's what Rob noticed. "Okay, let's go to the right place to talk." They both returned to the art store and sat in the trendy tavern. "So what do you have to tell me?" Don't be ashamed, Rouge-san. Tell me what's on your mind without being upset or embarrassed about anything. I won't blame you no matter what." Rouge was dumbfounded by his words. She couldn't believe he said he wouldn't blame her for all the coldness with which she had acted with him the whole time. "I'm sorry, Rob-san. I wanted to apologize for my past behavior with you, even though you are my boss." Rob didn't think this woman would ever apologize to him. No, he didn't think she could forgive him one day. "Seriously, I didn't really expect this, even though I was clearly the one in the wrong, but you came to apologize to me. What are you apologizing for? You have done nothing wrong. This is how any wife will react against the one who predicts her husband's death. I apologize because I thought you were a bad person before. So, can you at least tell me why my husband will give himself up to the Navy in the future?" Rouge seemed to be convinced by what she saw in the first chapter of the manga. "I guess he'll tell you himself next time you meet, or would you rather hear it from me? If you want I can tell you, no problem with me." Rouge thought seriously. She was hesitant because she really wanted to know, but hearing the truth from Roger would be better. At last, Rouge stood up before she thanking Rob and starting to leave. Her decision was clear at this point. "Rouge-san, if you succeed in convincing him not to die, I can save your husband for you. I have my own way, plus I also don't want Captain Roger to die." Rouge's steps stopped as she turned around and looked at Rob, who was still sitting in a complete stupor. "Can you really do that?" "Of course, I can." Chapter 74 Baroque Works Saga, Whiskey Peak Arc. After the events of the Reverse Mountain and with the log pose in hand, the Straw Hat Pirates head to their next destination, Whiskey Peak, a city that welcomes pirates with open arms and treats them like celebrities. Unfortunately, that can't be true, because, on the same night that the Straw Hat Pirates enjoyed the party, the islanders showed their true colors and turned out to be bounty hunters disguised as civilians. The Whiskey Peak was a town on Cactus Island, the first island on the Grand Line that Luffy and his comrades had reached. A welcoming city, a princess protection deal, a secret organization, and a beautiful woman. Rob drew everything in this arc in high esteem, but, why? Of course, because of his unborn daughter and his treasure. Robin will make her first appearance in this arc. It's just like a version of Alvia. Rob commented with a gentle smile on the picture of Robin that had suddenly appeared on the Going Merry ship. Her appearance in this arc was due to her desire to help the Straw Hat Pirates avoid the dangers of Little Garden. But stupid Luffy didn't appreciate this favor and broke log pose again. This arc was the real beginning of the clash with the Baroque Works organization, in which 2 important agents of the organization were toppled by the Straw Hats, and the short arc ended with a glimpse of the next island and the appearance of a giant human foot. Prehistoric Island, Little Garden? Okay, we're done with that. Now, it's time to release the weekly update. Rob finished mass copying the new volume and the system filled the shelves directly. The art store hadn't opened its doors yet, so everything was still quite calm. Although it was only superficial silence, the silence before the storm, because on the day of the weekly update of One Piece manga, the people of the islands that have an art store on their territory used to not sleep that night. Their only thought was who would get the new update first. Sigh, it will be a very long day. Rob sighed at the thought of how to justify everything to Alvia. Robin's appearance in the manga was inevitable. She was an exact copy of Alvia. So she will definitely get to know her. No, the archaeologists will know her too, and Rouge and Sora and the waitress sisters will definitely get to know her. How would their reactions be? Rob was expecting a lot of interesting things today. Maybe, on this day he'll have to tell Alvia the truth of everything in a way she can believe. Every time he lied to his wife he felt pain, and Rob wasn't as unemotional about it as it seemed. He knew that a good relationship is built on honesty. But Rob's situation is somewhat unrealistic. The truth he knows he cannot simply tell. It would be ridiculous for him to say to his wife, "You were just a manga character in my previous life." No, this whole world was just a manga story in my previous life. It would be good if he told her a more logical and believable truth. Although Rob is sure Alvia will believe him even if he tells her the truth as it is. However, he doesn't want to harm his wife in any way. What would you do if you knew that the fact that you exist is a fictional character? You certainly cannot accept that. This was Rob's philosophy, he would rather lie than hurt his loved ones. Rob walked out of O'Hara's art store, pulled out a cigarette, and began to smoke while looking at the full moon and the bright stars in the dawn sky. In fact, the longer Rob lived in this world, the more he refused to believe that it was just a fantasy world. It looked very real after all. I wonder in which galaxy the Seas planet is located, could it be the Milky Way as well? Or should I wonder if this planet is in the same universe as Earth? The next morning, the green light from the store's beacon looked like a green moon over each island's sky. The sounds of rushing feet and the noise of the crowd rang out on every island that contained an art store. Most of the people in the crowd didn't even eat their breakfast. After all, the new One Piece book was lunch for the soul. The doors of the art store opened in O'Hara and the famous waitress sisters led by Alvia welcomed dear customers. Hello everyone, the internal space of the store can accommodate all of you, and new chapters are available in large quantities, so there is no need to rush. Dear customers, please one person enter at a time. As you wish, owner's wife. Will be in your care, Alvia-san. It was the same situation in Flavance, Logetown, and the Kingdom of Germa, and in every island had an art store. Enthusiasm fills the air as if today were a festival. In Mary Geoise, the same thing happened too. The weekly book of One Piece was followed by the youngs and the olds. The flavor of adventures that the celestial dragons miss in their lives they found it in the One Piece manga. Therefore it is preferred over Bleach manga more often. Again today a batch of new slaves entered the art store and word of Rob's vocal message spread among the majority of slaves in Mary Geoise. The slaves' gratitude towards the divine store owner was growing stronger with each passing day. Chapter 75 Robin's appearance in the manga? The amazement of Alvia and the archaeologists of O'Hara. Mr. 5, the two enemy agents are, the commander of the Royal Guard, of the Alabasta Kingdom, Igaram, and also, Princess of Alabasta. Nefertari Vivi? Vivi, you are a devil. Mr. 9, Miss Wednesday, are you a princess? Vivi, stop your foolishness, Mr. 9. Zoro, what a night. Good luck to you, bye. Mr. 5, by the name of the leader of the Baroque Works organization, I will get rid of you both. Igaram, please, take the princess to Alabasta, it's a kingdom in the Far East. Igaram, protect her, you will be generously rewarded for this. I beg of you, please save the princess. Zoro, do you want me to beat you up? Nami, just how high are the rewards you're talking about? Igaram, huh? Nami, we'll do it, for 1 billion berries. Zoro, Nami, so what are Baroque Works? Igaram, it is a secret criminal organization. None of its members knows what its leader is like. Most of its work is focused on theft, espionage, assassination, and bounty hunting. The leader dictates orders to everyone. Nami, you don't even know what he looks like? Why then do you carry out his orders? Igaram, the ultimate goal of Baroque Works is to create the ideal city. Igaram, those of us who work in the Baroque Works, promised high positions in that ideal city. Nami, I see. Igaram, his code name is Mr. Zero. The closer the code name is to 0, the higher the position of its owner, and the more powerful it becomes. Those with code names less than 5 are extremely dangerous and their power is enormous. Nami, so that's it. I'm starting to fully understand the situation. With your country in shambles, we have no money to get it there. Luffy, but who is the mastermind? Vivi, I can't tell you who the leader is. What a question. Don't ask me about this. I can't tell you. If I do, they will chase after you too. Nami, haha. It's okay, don't tell us. I mean, if he wanted to control an entire kingdom, he must be a really scary person. Vivi, it is. You are all very strong, but you are no match for Crocodile, a Shishibukai. Nami, degree, Luffy, degree 0 degree. Zoro, you just told us. Luffy, the fog has cleared up. It's morning time. Miss All Sunday, be careful not to hit the rocks on the cliff. I'm glad you managed to escape. Zoro, huh. Who are you? Nami, who is this? Miss All Sunday, I met Mr. 8 a little while ago. Miss Wednesday. Vivi, so you did this to Igaram. Luffy, hey, that's you. First, what are you doing on our ship? Vivi, that's right. What are you doing here, Miss All Sunday? A bounty hunters organization ruled by the Shishibukai whose goal is to overthrow the Alabasta Kingdom. Why do I feel like this doesn't bode well for us guys? The long-bearded Garosei spoke some subtle worry in his voice. Ever since he started reading the new book, a bad feeling has been rising in his heart. Why exactly is Alabasta? Of all the kingdoms at the beginning of the Grand Line, why did the author choose Alabasta to build the next conflict? The bald Garosei wondered why the Alabasta Kingdom had come to the fore this time. I heard that the newly crowned young king of the Alabasta Kingdom, Nefertari Cobra, has been married. The kingdom of Alabasta is currently living in the rhythm of wedding festivities. There are no economic or political problems in the kingdom. I wonder if the future will be as described here. The blonde Garosei was more concerned with the matters of the Alabasta Kingdom currently. Evil organizations that want to overthrow kingdoms are not uncommon. It always happens, but exactly that to the Nefertari family. What a funny joke. Is Rob trying to tell us what kind of future is coming? Now that we know this, does he think we'll leave a trivial Shishibukai Grand Line heading towards a new goal of opening his own art store? I think that's for the best. While he was in the sky, he began to remember the content of his conversation with his wife, the facts he had revealed to her, and her sudden reaction to everything. Flashback. Alvia, I have something to tell you so that your mood in the future will not be affected and so that you may remain strong as I have always known you. Rob looked into Alvia's eyes and spoke without any hesitation. You're making me tense, Rob, just tell me what's going on. How do you know what our Robin will look like in the future? This kinda scares me. First, tell me why are you so sure Miss All Sunday is our Robin? Rob was more interested in this point. It's a mother's intuition, and Miss All Sunday is just like me. The moment I saw her she felt like Robin, and I think Belmere knows that too because she already told me that your manga is real. Just tell me everything now. The manga I'm drawing at the moment is another reality in a parallel world where I died. It's a parallel world. I got his memories in a way that I can't describe, but I can bet that we have the same history with the parallel world and we probably would have had the same future if I had died. But, before he could finish speaking, he felt Alvia's warm body hugging him tightly. I understand everything now, but the most important thing is that you will not die, right? Rob felt a deep fear of Alvia at this moment. She was afraid of losing him. Rob gently patted her back as he spoke. No, I won't die in this world and it doesn't look like I could die even if I tried. The important thing is, no matter how unfortunate you read about the unfortunate events in the manga later, I hope you don't blame me. Those events are what happened in a parallel world and I'm obligated to paint them as they are or I'm really going to die. I will not blame you no matter what. I will be with you in whatever you want to do. If you want to change the world through facts from another world, I am with you on this, my dear. But please don't tell me that our daughter will be evil in that world. Haha, no, my dear, Robin-chan is the kindest person in all of the parallel worlds out there. It really comforted me. End of flashback. Rob was so happy to have a woman like Alvia whose only fear after knowing the truth was whether he would stay with them or die in this world too. After he finished thinking about what had happened, Rob began sensing his current surroundings again. He had entered a cold region in the Grand Line. Rob noticed the snow falling in this area of the sea and realized that he was already close to his destination. Due to his lightning-enhanced speed, Rob quickly arrived at the desired location. Rob has finally descended into the Kingdom of Drum, a kingdom of winter and snow. My art store will be the only warm place on this island. I think I'll have to add some heaters to warm the store more. That would be an important attraction. The title of art seller gave him vital insights into ensuring that his profits would continue to rise anywhere. In a house among the snow-covered pines, an old woman was busy preparing her various medicinal recipes, as she used to do every day. Her common nickname among the current inhabitants of Drum Kingdom was Immortal Witch. After all, she has lived through many generations and is still alive without any complications. This was the home of the famous Dr. Kurha. What are these annoying lights? From the window, a beam of light penetrated and caused annoying photorefraction of the eyes. Dr. Kurha had to get out of the house to find out what was going on. What is this thing? Art store? Where can you enjoy the future? These bright words decorated the sky of the Winter Kingdom and everyone in this kingdom could see them, including a crazy doctor who felt excited at the moment. What will my future as a respected doctor be? Will I save a lot of people in the future? I'm really interested. The bright lights of the art beacon were reflected in the eyes of a 40-year-old man with a strange hairstyle and an excited smile. This man was the notorious Dr. Hyriluk on this island. Rob stood beside the king of this kingdom and his guards while speaking with a smile to the people of the Drum Kingdom, who were feeling excited by everything they heard from this man in front of them at the moment. I promised King Mapole that I would make a lot of profitable investments on this island, didn't this, King Mapole? Rob looked at King Mapole with a meaningful smile while the latter forcibly smiled and nodded his head without daring to laugh it off, even adding so much spice to Rob's words. King Mapole was the current king of the Drum Kingdom. He seemed to be 55 years old and was the father of Wapole who happened to be 1 year old at present. When Rob first came to this kingdom, he humbly asked for a plot of ground from the king so that he could open his art store here, but Mapole thought he was just a fat sheep waiting to be slaughtered and demanded a 1 billion berry for a little piece of ground. So Rob taught him a small lesson until he became obedient. The smell of roasting meat from being struck by lightning still pervaded the place after all. Not yet born who can blackmail Rob. Rob went on to talk about the benefits of the art store for the still growing crowd. Of course, he didn't tell them about such great benefits as being able to protect the entire island. After all, that was his trump card that he wouldn't reveal as easily as he did last time in the Loneville Kingdom. As he was speaking, Rob saw two familiar figures in the newly regrouped crowd. They were Dr. Kurha and Dr. Hyriluk. Dr. Kurha especially, Rob needs to have a good bond with this old woman. Her amazing medical skills are worth it. He was very interested in her reaction when she sees herself in the manga after 2 weeks at the Drum Island arc. I won't make my speech longer for you. You can go in now and judge on my store for yourselves. Chapter 77 Gloriosa Falling in Love? The Alabasta Kingdom, the Grand Line, Amazon Lily Island. Since the art store appeared here, this place has become noisier by the day, after it was in the past very quiet. The art store became a sacred place for these female warriors and female pirates. And Rob, who was the owner of this store, became the most mysterious man in their hearts all. They've gotten to know Rob from the art store because he always leaves his autograph after all, and only a few of these women know Rob face to face. When Rob came here for the first time, he actually left his name to the female guards and the Empress only. So these very few women are the ones who know him. After all, Rob hasn't been back to Amazon Lily since he opened his store here. but he's allowed Alvia and the others to move there to hospitality these women from the women island from time to time. Just like today. So you are the wife of the owner of this place, aren't you? Gloriosa, the empress of this place, did not know how many times she had asked this question. Alvia looked at the beautiful woman in front of her with confidence, and she answered with pride. Yes, I am his wife, Empress. I have already answered that question to you dozens of times now. Do I look like I'm lying? Look at this picture. Alvia took out her iPhone and showed her a very intimate pose with Rob. Gloriosa felt a twinge in her heart when she saw this picture. The Empress's female guards also showed a look of disappointment when they saw the picture. Alvia's eyes narrowed to a crescent shape as she saw the reactions of the Empress and her guards to this fact, and she asked with a rather frightening smile. Did Rob do something to disgrace you girls? Why do you have such a sad expression when you find out I'm his wife? Rouge, Sora, Velmir, and Matriarch all felt pity for Rob when they saw her fearsome smile that would obviously kill him if she found out he had done something bad behind her back. Gloriosa regained her composure and said with a somewhat fake smile. No, he didn't do anything at all. He forcefully opened his store here after I turned him down, and that helped us all enjoy manga we didn't know anything about. That's why we liked him so much. I hope you don't blame Mr. Rob, Alvia-san. Yes, that's what happened. I never thought I'd like a man in my life until I saw Rob-san. Alvia, who had heard the words of the Empress and her guards, did not know whether to cry or laugh. She can't blame her husband for his charm, can she? What Alvia didn't know was that Rob broke into the Empress' bathroom and he saw her completely naked body. Gloriosa hid this fact to protect Rob's married life. After Alvia and the others leave, Gloriosa returns to her palace. Above her bed her sensual body was turning left and right. She couldn't sleep at all. The content of her conversation with Alvia was replaying in her mind almost at every moment. From the day that strange man broke into her bathroom, it seemed as if he had broken into her heart as well and imprinted himself deeply in it. On the same night she suffered from a high fever and many thoughts were in common, all of her thoughts containing that man's face. Only after a few days did she find out that she had become in love with that man. From the records of the previous empresses, her condition was similar to many of them who fell in love. If it wasn't for the art store he left behind, she would have gone crazy or gone out to sea to look for him. That man her heart chose was the one she wanted to live with, even if she broke the taboo in the law of the Amazon Lily Island. But when Alvia first came to the art store on their island and told her that this man was her husband, her subconscious refused to believe it. Every time she asks her the same question and Alvia answers her with the same answer. To this day, Alvia has shown her the ultimate proof. Her false hopes flew out the window. Gloriosa rolled over on her bed again, but this time her tears streamed uncontrollably down her pretty face. Her heart is broken. The Grand Line, Alabasta. Rob appeared in the Kingdom of Sand and Desert this time, although it looked a lot greener than it looked in the future. Rob wandered in the capital Aluberna for some time, the buildings here reminding him of the Arab civilization of his former world. Rob is surprised that the city has a festive atmosphere. So he used the observation haki and covered the whole city. From the whispers of the crowd near the royal palace Rob got surprising news. Today is the last festive day of the week-long royal wedding. Well, since it is the last day of the wedding, I have to wait just a little while to meet the young King Cobra. Rob searches for a hotel and chooses to spend a quiet night there. He's already finished setting up an art store on Drum Island. Now all he has to do is set up a store here on Sandy Island and he'll be done. He wanted to protect the islands containing the poneglyphs the most. He also decided to present to his wife any poneglyph who knew his whereabouts. The more complex reason why he set up his art store here so urgently is that there is a possibility that there is a Pluton somewhere on this island. He will surely know where he is after reading the poneglyph. The next morning, Rob drove his Ford to the royal palace, marveling at the residents who had remained frozen in place when they saw a Ford for the first time in their lives. Even the palace guards didn't dare stand in his way when they saw the Ford wanting to enter through the gates. Rob came down from the Ford in a suit and solemn mood. Only his 3-meter height approximately made everyone who saw him want to bow to greet the king. Rob opened the back of the car and called the guards to carry the gifts he brought. After all, coming to meet a newlywed couple without gifts would be bad for Rob's taste. The servants and maids of the royal palace ran to take the well-arranged gifts as hearts appeared in their eyes as they looked at the Ford that looked like a black armored beast, with matchless elegance. From here, my lord, the king, and queen are already waiting for you, a maid said very humbly as she began to lead the way. Before Rob came here, he sent a message to the royal palace, which contained his identity and his desire to meet the king, as well as his goodwill. Of course, when Cobra had learned that his guest is a notorious pirate with a bounty close to $1 billion, what can he do but obey? Chapter 78 Opening a new art store in Alabasta? The interaction of Alabasta and Drum people with the manga. Thank you for your kind gifts on the occasion of my happy marriage. I and my wife really appreciate it. Cobra was no longer tense when he noticed that the other party didn't come with any aggressive intent, so he returned to his majestic nature as king of Alabasta and spoke softly. I totally agree with my husband, Mr. Rob. We are grateful for your generosity. Nefertari Titi, who looked just like a copy of Vivi, spoke with great gratitude. Although he is a dangerous pirate, he is still a big figure in this world. Someone like him who comes to congratulate them on their marriage is not something that happens every day. I came here for work. I didn't think I would come across the king and queen's wedding event. I thought this was a good opportunity to congratulate you. Rob said spontaneously while drinking the cup of sake that the maid offered. Then, what business does someone of your caliber do in my humble kingdom? Nefertari TT noticed that her husband was tense again, so she grabbed his hand to calm him down. Nefertari Cobra calmed down thanks to his wife's kind gesture and waited for Rob's answer. As I said in my letter, I'm not a pirate anymore. Although my bounty is still active, that doesn't mean I'm a bad man. Please don't get tense because of me. I'm not an irrational person. Don't speak, King Cobra, just let me finish. I have become a reputable merchant in the 4 seas, and have just begun to publish my work in the Grand Line. Your country is the 3rd I have chosen to publish my work in Grand Line, so this is what I came here for. I want to buy a piece of ground from you to open my art store in your country. Grand Line, Drum Kingdom. I can't believe a blind person can get his sight back here. How does this place work? It doesn't make sense. The laws of medicine don't work here. Sitting in the trendy tavern of the art store, Dr. Hyriluk repeated his words for the 100th time. Since entering here he has been in a daze. Besides this, don't you feel that you can live forever if you stay in this place? This unnatural feeling. I think it's real. Dr. Hyriluk turned back and looked at the old woman in front of him with a meaningful look. It could be said that his medical knowledge in comparison to this old woman could only be described as meager. So he couldn't consider something the old immortal has said to be meaningless. You are right, I feel indescribably safe in this place, as if I cannot die here. Dr. Kurha looked at the noisy place and smiled before she said. This place is very warm, it has amazing food and a variety of drinks, it provides physical and spiritual security, it's also very cheap and it's free entry, and most importantly this. She pointed to the manga book One Piece before continuing. I wonder if the owner of this paradise is a benevolent saint or a soul thief devil. Dr. Hyriluk looked at the manga book while listening seriously to the words of his colleague in the profession. I've read it to the last chapter. I think this book is full of potential, a great story that shows what a pirate really should be. I think Monkey D. Luffy is a real pirate. How nice it is to seek freedom by relying on real companions. But this remains just a fantasy. There is no such pirate in today's world. I really don't understand why someone great as Sky Sword would publish such a book. While drinking a can of Coca-Cola from a vending machine, Dr. Hyriluk said whatever was on his mind. Listen to the reactions of the people of the kingdom and you will understand why. Dr. Hyriluk stopped drinking the soda and listened seriously. I want to read more of this story. It's really fun. Dad, can I go to the sea when I grow up? I want to be like Luffy. Yay, Nami-san is so beautiful. And Vivi-san too. I think Miss All Sunday is the prettiest. I didn't know the world was so big. Pirates aren't that bad. I didn't know the Navy was so rude. I'm starting to hate the Navy. I'm starting to love pirates. Hyriluk sprinkled the drink he had not yet swallowed due to the shock, but Kurha avoided it before she got wet. This is really shocking. I think I'm starting to understand. He wants to change the world with art, but why do I have a feeling that I will meet the Straw Hat Pirates in the future? That's if you're still alive until then. Are you cursing me, you bastard? How about a bet? You're going to die before me? Ha 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 ha. Dr. Hyriluk froze from Kurha's evil laugh. Alabasta. That's amazing, Manga. So this is the art the store owner was talking about. Great, that's really cool. I can't stop reading it since I read the first volume. I've lost 7,000 berry, but why do I feel like what I spent isn't worth it? I also have the same feeling. Why don't we buy the Bleach manga now that we're done with One Piece? Guys, we'll buy Bleach manga later, but doesn't it look like you missed something important? You're right, Nefertari Vivi. Isn't the royal family's name Nefertari too? He mentions the name of our kingdom directly in the last volume and says we are in a civil war. You fools, weren't you focused? You're right. Husband, this is kinda scary. I feel like this book predicts the future. The 22-year-old Cobra was sweating while reading the manga, but his wife's comment made him sweat even more. No, it's just a coincidence. Mr. Rob himself said he only publishes art. My dear, Mr. Rob doesn't know that we've decided to name our future daughter Vivi. Don't we just know that? Plus, the facade of this store clearly says that we can enjoy the future in this place. Maybe he got the name from your name by chance. And how do you explain the presence of Igaram as the commander of the Royal Guard? Were we not going to appoint him to this position next month? How did he know that Igaram became the commander of the Royal Guard? Although what he heard from his wife made a lot of sense, Cobra refused to believe it. He refused to believe that his future self had allowed his beloved daughter to put herself in such enormous danger. My dear, if I happen to die in the future, please don't endanger our daughter. Vivi will become the queen of Alabasta after all. Nefertari TT said with a rather bitter smile. Don't say that. Why curse yourself, my dear? Returning to Rob, all that can be seen of him at the moment are the sparks of lightning leaving behind him in a straight line. Rob was flying at lightning speed towards his next destination, but before that he summoned the system window to perform the next update. It's time for part 2 of the rescue arc after all. The next book of Bleach is coming to cause a new stir. Chapter 79 New Bleach book? The Road to Wano Country status window. Host, Roots D. Rob. System level, level 9, 900,000/1,500,000. Art store, 28/100 usable. System shop, 531,563,054 art point. Host titles, beginner mangaka, art seller. Store window, manga One Piece. plus 7 books, / Manga Bleach, plus 4 books, / One Piece anime, plus 0 episodes, / Hunter x Hunter anime, plus 0 episodes, / Naruto anime, plus 0 episodes. While flying at a high speed, Rob inspects the window of the system to publish the second part of the rescue arc that he had already finished from it some time ago. The feature of the system window was very good in this case. He could publish his manga from anywhere without having his personal presence. Regarding the new book that he just published in all his stores, it contains a big surprise and a big turn of events that will shock all the readers for sure. The good man who everyone thought died in the first part of the arc, the captain of Division 5, Sosuke Aizen, came back from the dead to shock everyone as the main villain and the big boss who was playing with the strings of everything long ago and who had everything under his control and planned meticulously of him. Rob was excited to see the audience's reaction to this situation. Bleach fans in particular will be stunned. After all, despite being a villain, Aizen would make a special impression on fans' hearts. An impression that cannot be touched in any way. After Ichigo saves Rukia from execution at the last moment, captains sympathetic to Rukia are forced to appear to stop the other captains, Shunsui Kirako and Jushiro Yukitake, from interfering, thus beginning the real turmoil in the Soul Society. A lot battles started again everywhere in the Soul Society, but this time it was more strong and fiercer. The fight awaited by the fans, Ichigo against Byakuya, began right after Ichigo handed Rukia over to Renji to escape from the execution grounds. It was an enthusiastic fight and Rob was sure to make the followers' blood boil. After all, not only did Ichigo Bankai and Byakuya Bankai appear in this battle, the Hollow took control of Ichigo, making him become even more terrifying. Surprisingly, Ichigo defeated Byakuya in the end by a narrow margin. In addition to all of this, Rob is sure that the fight of Captains Kirako and Yukitake against Captain Commander, Genryusai Shijikuni Yamamoto, will be very exciting for readers. After all, a fight of this level can be compared to the battles of an admiral level in this world. Yamamoto could be compared to an admiral of the fleet or more so. Commanders can also be compared to the level of an admiral. Only with his Shikai, Yamamoto completely burned the area around them, and that didn't even show how strong his true strength was. Also featured in this part is another battle between the teacher and her student, this time as well, Yoryuki against Sui Fang, which Yoryuki eventually defeats using the Shunko technique. It is also in this part that Hitsuguya discovers that the mastermind behind everything is the still alive Aizen, who was easily defeated by Aizen and went to the execution area where Rukia was sent. Sting that made him slow down. 5 islands floating in the air, 4 small islands, and 1 large island in the middle of all of them. Rob's eyes flashed as he flew toward the large floating island. Perhaps today he will get some benefits from this untamed lion. Chapter 80 Fighting Shiki? Earth and Sky Earthquake. Jihahahaha, who is my guest this time? The moment Rob stood on the surface of the floating island, the golden lion's laughter resounded across the entire sky of the island. Shiki was right now, and Shiki, who had been defeated by the Straw Hats 27 years from now, was like comparing the distance between heaven and earth. After all, Rob saw dozens of battles between Roger and Shiki with his own eyes. Their battles, especially the last battles between them, were earth-shattering. They were very strong, so Rob was not detracting from the value of the golden lion Shiki in any way. But because of his immortal body also, he wasn't worried in any way. He could even face 1000 Shiki and would still be alive despite dying 1000 times. So what is there to worry about? Although confronting a great pirate may seem like suicide in the eyes of many, for Rob it is just a fleeting thought and he decided to implement it. But there are still worthy goals behind this fleeting idea. He decided to bump into this man, first to find out the exact level of his own strength. After all, the current Shiki could be considered the peak of strength in the world, except for I.M. He also wanted to plant his art store here, so he could easily track down this invisible bastard and, after all, his devil fruit was too amazing to miss. Rob would wait for it for years until he weakened and took it from him, as well as destroying the 20-year plan by which Shiki wants to destroy East Blue after Roger's death. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Roots D. Rob, a former member of Roger Pirates, has come to meet the Golden Lion. Boom! The ground near Rob shook and dust scattered when a majestic man emerged from the dust, with very thick, yellow, thorny hair drooping down, and with a short beard. Shiki looked at the man in front of him with a wide smile before asking with great enthusiasm. Huh? Roger Pirates? Former? Aren't you the famous Sky Sword? Jihahahaha, did you come to join my crew after your arrogant captain rejected my offer? Anyway, I will definitely accept someone of your caliber. Looks like you misunderstood something, Golden Lion. I didn't come to join you, I came to offer you a business deal. Shiki's bright smile turned into a frown and then disappointment. He looked with his head down as if he had been betrayed of some sort. The sight of the Golden Lion depressed rendered Rob speechless. He didn't think the stupid studio extras in the anime were real? What were those signs of the frustrating darkening aura above the Golden Lion's head? Is he just imagining it? Shiki was really frustrated. Just why doesn't at least one strong person join him? All his rivals, Whitebeard, Roger, have hundreds of times more powerful members of his crew and he's their rival. He doesn't even have a right arm that can be considered really strong. Because of the trash crew who chose to follow him, Shiki became the ranking tail of the 3 great pirates. Isn't he, the Golden Lion Shiki? Doesn't he have a strong charm that attracts strong men to his crew? Even that bitch Linlin produced a lot of powerful children, and maybe she might have 1 or 2 children among them with him, and even that lucky apprentice, Kaido, had obtained good seeds. Except him? It looks like it's heading for bankruptcy from the top. His situation doesn't look very promising. Then, what deal do you have with me, Sky Sword? Do you want to take the title of the best swordsman in the world from me or something? A/N, since the best swordsman in the world, before my hawk, was not mentioned, I decided to make Shiki the best swordsman in the world at the moment. Taking that title from you is kinda tempting, but I came up with a business deal this time. Business deal? I'd like to open a store that sells lots of fun stuff here on your island if you'd like. Rob knew Shiki well, he was sure he would refuse. After all, who wants to bring in their safe base something out of their control? And more privately, the secretive base of Shiki was one of his strongest cards. So why would he let Rob make a rabbit trap on his land? Not only that, but Rob is sure that his offer will make the Golden Lion angry because his mood is fickle as hell. And that's exactly what happened. Are you making fun of me? His earlier frustration, followed by this man's suspicious presentation, was on his nerves. Do you know who you're talking to, Kozo? Rob Surigiri pulled out of the scabbard, who in turn longed to fight like a sword. He turned his face towards Shiki. You reject my good intentions, Golden Lion, but don't blame me in the end. Blame you? Do the bugs need the blame? Since you won't join me, you have to die here. Sending your corpse to Roger, that will make him angry, won't it? Rob didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Was this Golden Lion on an unknown type of drug that made him turn into a complete idiot? Boom! Sparks fly everywhere after Shiki's swords, Oto and Kogarashi, collided with Surigiri. They were famous swords that were powerful in their own right, but the person who was carrying them was even more powerful. I heard you stopped Admiral Zephyr, and it looks like it was real. Don't you know that during a fight chatter is unnecessary, Shiki? Gee ha 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 ha. You're a cocky boy, but I like it. Show me what you can do. Boom, boom, what is going on here? This captain is fighting. Is it an enemy attack? Get up, bastards, we're under invasion. No, Captain Shiki is fighting one person. It's a battle of swordsmen. A terrifying sword intent makes my body shiver even from such a distance. Oh my god, the floating island is shaking. Golden Lion pirates of various ranks, from cannon fodder to commanders, gathered and watched the fearsome fight between their captain and the enemy. But the ferocity of the fighting did not allow them to interfere. Gee ha ha ha, not bad, really not bad at all. I don't know why, but your solid body kinda reminds me of that lucky, horned bastard. Do you know, you're the second person to compare me to that scum Kaido. Oh, so who's the first? It's the one who raped you, Shiki. His crew. Readers. Author. Shiki had a memory buried deep in his memory that caused him unforgettable shocks one day. When he was drunk to the extreme on that fateful day, he remembered that beautiful face with a sinister and lewd look that was drawing close to his face and moving away as she panted and enjoyed sucking it dry. She was going up and down his little brother with an abnormal roughness and speed. On that night, he felt as if he was in the arms of paradise and hell. His soul was trapped in a cold and hot cave. The wine made him weak and unconscious, while Linlin's strong soul made him in bad condition. He was raped in every way that night that left an overwhelming and indelible impression on his soul. But the question now is, how did this bastard know that he had been raped by Linlin? His face turned red, and Rob didn't know if it was anger or embarrassment. Hoi, don't get angry, it was just a joke. Rob felt as if he had angered the Golden Lion with his thick joke, so he hurriedly pulled it off. Do you know who you messed with? Aren't you the famous Golden Lion? Why are you asking such a stupid question? Boom! Rob was sent flying like a cannonball sent with crushing force, crashing into a small island below the main island, Merville. The small island was shattered into smaller pieces due to Rob's body, and the devil fruit power that was supporting it disappeared when the small island was shattered into pieces. Hundreds of huge rocks crashed into the sea below, and Rob hoped that this disaster wouldn't crush a ship below. Oh my god, this was painful as hell, old bastard. The Shiki pirates fell to their bottoms in shock when they saw a person being smashed onto an island with overwhelming force. The island was shattered into pieces, but he was still unscathed. Is he even human? In below, the blue sea. The sea rose in a dome and a bubble-wrapped pirate ship came out. The moment the ship rushed from the depths of the sea to the top, the bubble burst and the ship settled. Then, heard the voices of the pirates celebrating their arrival at the New World at last. Men, we have finally come to this stage as Elephant Hammer pirates. Now we can dominate the sea. We will show the world how strong Elephant Hammer pirates are. Ooh, Captain. Suddenly the sky above them turned dark for an unknown reason. Everyone on the pirate ship raised their heads in anticipation, and it was shocking. This. Death is coming. I can see it. F***ck the New World. How did we not hear that it was raining huge rocks in the New World? Move on, you bastards. Get us out of here from the field of rain rocks. We'll get crushed. Set fucking up the second sails. Captain, no maneuverability. It's hundreds, maybe thousands of huge rocks rain. Boom, boom, boom. In a second, the pirate ship that had just entered the New World was crushed by huge blocks of rocks, which had previously been a small floating island with the power of the Golden Lion. He didn't even hear the screams of the pirates on board as they died in an instant and turned into a paste of meat. Neither Rob nor Shiki knew that they had ended the hopes of a rookie pirate crew without their knowledge, but even if they knew they wouldn't care, it was their bad luck after all. Rob and Shiki continued their fierce fight, not considering anything else. Sword energies collided and smashed a lot of rocks from the floating islands, the Conqueror Haki colliding and making the pirates watching the battle kneel in awe under the stifling pressure of Conqueror Haki. It was a battle that lasted for half a day. Within half a day the sky and the earth and sea shook. Rob was developing fiercely during the fight while Shiki laughed non-stop as he threw yellow energy blades toward Rob filled with killing intent. At the scene of their fight, the sky was torn apart, again and again, yellow and purple energy lights collided with each other, and black clouds formed, sending an ominous omen of calamity here. Even pirates or navies who were at the closest point to the battlefield below in the sea, they could see the abnormal signs of disastrous combat. After all, such phenomena only occur when two great pirates fight each other with their full strength, and this is a rare occurrence. How did you become so strong? You're on the same level as your captain? That's terrifying. Shiki spat blood from his mouth as he was slightly injured and said in astonishment. Anyone can become a powerful force by working hard. Come on, I didn't even use my devil fruit's power. Shiki, you really disappoint me. You're saying that as if I've already used my ability. Brat, our fight is destroying my base, why don't you just leave? When Shiki offered to leave, Rob was disappointed that he didn't get a chance to show the power of the lightning fruit he had recently obtained, but it was okay. Rob was patient enough to test it later. There were still plenty of monsters to enjoy fighting later. Okay, I will leave, but not before I leave you a gift for which you will thank me very much in the future, but because of your violent behavior everything in my store will be twice or more as expensive, but I think you can afford it. Golden Lion. Huh. The Golden Lion didn't understand anything of what the bastard in front of him had said, but he suddenly felt something appear out of nowhere in his field of observation and quickly turned around when he saw a building of modern specifications appearing out of nowhere, while he feeling daunted and dazed. When he turned to ask Rob what this was, he found that bastard was already gone. Chapter 81 The terrifying world of Shinigami causes everyone to be stunned. Meeting Kuri Daimyo Odin, after the raid on Soul Society led by Kurosaki Ichigo, battles spread all over, and in the end, Kurosaki Ichigo managed to arrive in time and stop the execution at the last moment. These were the events of the first part of the rescue arc, which caused the readers to ignite the enthusiasm to wait for the second part with great enthusiasm. And as they expected, the second part didn't disappoint them. No, it is more correct to say that the second part blew up their most brutal expectations, and assured the readers that anticipating its events before its release was nothing but a fantasy. Who would have guessed that Aizen would be the big villain? After their grief for him in the first part, they felt pity for themselves in this part. Just as Rob predicted, the day after his second volume was released, sales shot up again through the roof, and the volumes he put into each store their numbers were dropping at an insane rate. When he was fighting Shiki, Rob didn't want to be bothered by the system's notifications, so he cancelled it and continued to fight freely. After arriving in Wano country and before entering the urban areas, Rob found the time to check the notifications again. Surprisingly, a lot of Marines were once again interested in Bleach manga. Rob didn't expect that setting up an art store in Marineford would even affect Marineford, so he started wondering should he set up an art store in Marineford. Rob also discovered a lot of stacked notices from the world government agents from CP0 to CP9, celestial dragons, Gorosei, slaves, celestial dragons guards, and the biggest of them all, the mysterious person behind the world government nicknamed Dime. All these people read the new chapter with great enthusiasm. Apart from the world government and the navy, pirates were the least numerous of his clients. After all, most pirates concentrated in the Grand Line. If he doesn't put up his art store on Whole Cake Island as soon as possible, the real pirates won't be exploring the manga world anytime soon. So far only the weak pirates of the Four Seas are enjoying the benefits of the art store. Perhaps Arabasta will be good pirates' stop point in paradise in the future as well, given that it has an art store. West Blue, Kano Country. Inside the art store, it was a bit noisy, but somehow the noise didn't affect the people focused on reading the manga. Mihawk, who is no longer a stranger to art store goers now, was one of those people who focused on reading manga. He was so focused that his eyes contained a mysterious glint from the start of his reading of the second part. How not, and this manga still surprises him with the sharpness of its fights and their magnificence. The hell? It was a terrifying level of strength possessed by these swordsmen who seemed to be mere spirits. They were spirits of death. Their swords could compare to, or perhaps even surpass, the powers of the devil fruits. Their captains could compare their strength or spiritual pressure as it was called in their world to the level of the admirals in this world. For Mihawk who chose not to eat the devil fruit because of its drawbacks beyond its benefits, the Zanpakuto was an irresistible temptation. What supreme or more famous swords are compared to the Zanpakuto? Unfortunately, there is no comparison. Mihawk felt remorse that he wasn't born into the Shinigami world instead of the pirates' world. Captains Shunsui Kirako and Jushiro Yukate's fight against Captain Commander Yamamoto left him in utter awe. He was completely dumbfounded. A battle power like this was what he aspired to reach at any cost. Only if he reached that stage could he call himself the best swordsman in the world, and take the title from the Golden Lion. As for the fight between Ichigo and Byakuya, it was one of the best fights Mihawk had seen in Bleach so far, although he felt that Ichigo was very lucky or else he wouldn't win. Byakuya Benkai, Senbonzakura Kage was so awesome, millions of sharp blades were practically impossible to avoid, it was scary to fight with someone like him. But Ichigo's hollow mask made him even more terrifying in this fight, and his Benkai, Tensa Zanjutsu, became even more powerful. Mihawk felt that Ichigo's body contained many secrets, his spiritual world in particular, as it appeared in the previous chapters. I heard that Don Chinjao started training his family in bleach skills. I heard that, but what kind of skill? Kido techniques and unique Hakuta techniques and fencing skills. What an idiot, doesn't he know that he needs Ryotsu to do this? The fool is you, have you heard of Haki before? Haki. O'Hara. Thank you for taking my order so quickly, as you can see I really like this coffee with a milkshake, no matter how much I drink from it I can't get enough of it. Ishao thanked with a smile Belmir who had just brought his request. You don't have to, sir, it's my job. With a satisfied smile, she turned around to serve the next customer. Ishao is back to enjoy the last chapters of the new volume. I didn't really expect Aizen to be such a malicious scheme, it just surprised me. You see that? This Aizen-sama. Kini Mindano. Ashiradano. Both Odin and his servants returned the greeting of their people with smiling faces. Rob was satisfied with how Odin treated his people, he was very generous. You're right. This is a good place, a flat plain and central district, very good as a place for my store. Now, you have to invite your people to come here, we have to tell them my project. I told you earlier that I would help you set up businesses works, knowing that you would be the future shogun, that would be the best. But, why are you upset? Rob looked at Odin's face and found that he was already annoyed. Rob wanted to laugh right now. I can call my people here to see the magic building you've spoken of, I'm also excited to see it, but I don't understand anything about your business. Odin-sama, you don't need to understand anything, we are your servants, we will understand everything for you, just rely on us. You all. Now it's time for magic. In front of the flat grassy plain of Kuri district, a whole Kuri people, both men and women, gathered for the opening ceremony of the first art store of its kind in Wano. The people who were saved from poverty and crime by Odin became civilized people, who yearned to live a decent life. And now they were attending their first interesting event in the presence of their daimyo, or especially by the friend of the daimyo, the outsider person. Suddenly the void curved over the flat plains and a building even stranger than the void appeared, its shadow covering the astonished faces of the Kuri people and their ruler. Art store in Kuri Wano Kuni Dash. Officially opened. Chapter 83 doing a favor to Odin by rooting out the future roots chaos. Yoho, One Piece manga is so wonderful. The adventures of the Straw Hats and the strength of their friendship are truly enviable. How amazing is this bond? Doesn't it remind you guys of our friendship? Odin looked at his 10 loyal servants and brought back his precious memories of when these men started following him on his journey. The whole time someone had been following him unknowingly. He was leading the wolf into the sheepfold. Rob has always hated Orokai, and in the manga, the author introduces him like an insect who deserves to be trampled. So much so that there are fans who wished Orokai death so badly that they didn't even care if Kaido was still alive. It got worse when the Kurozumai elders who instigated everything appeared. Today, Rob was determined to kill them all. Not one of them will escape from his hand. Chapter 84 Killing Kurozumi's remnant and getting 2 devil fruits. Rob flew in the sky while watching like a hawk the movements of Orokai who had been running for some time in a dense forest towards a specific destination. Finally, Orokai, who was still young and ambitious to become a shogun, arrived at an abandoned wooden house in the middle of the forest. Rob recognized this place because he saw it in the anime from Orokai's flashback. This place was the last ruined remnant of the Kurozumai clan in Wano country. Rob checked the place with observation haki and recognized 2 other people inside. They were the same old man and old woman who had incited Orokai to start everything towards the downfall of the Kojiki clan. Rob went into stealth mode and reduced his presence to almost non-existent. This was a skill he had learned from his previous life. He was used to chases. After all, in more than one place he had to sneak away to escape, repeating that every time. He mastered this to the point where he could become a first-class assassin if he wanted to. Today he has to assassinate someone so as not to cause him any possible inconvenience because of his annoying fruit. While Rob lurks in the shadows like a professional assassin, Orokai and his 2 allies laugh at Yasui's stupidity as they used to. Orokai laughed so much that his stomach hurt, while not realizing that he had brought death with him on the way. Nikyakyaku, Orokai, did you see that? I told you that realizing a dream starts with 1 step, you will definitely become a shogun. Now you must move to the next target, Odin. It would be fun to see the future shogun financing his neck cutter, wouldn't it? Gyakyaku. We need a lot of money, it's not enough at all, to attract Kaido's attention we need a lot of weapons, tons of that. We will be the main financiers of the beast pirates in the future, only then can the Kurozumai clan stand on top again. The old woman was Kurozumai Higurashi, the same person who uses the main no mi, and who gave Orokai the devil fruit. Hebai no mi, model, Yamata no Orokai. Sure, I'll do it, I'll do whatever it takes. On the side, the old man, Orokai's second ally, Kurozumai Semimaru, was playing his guitar with his eyes closed, as usual, unaware of the impending danger. He was unaware of the death that might knock on his door at any moment. He didn't realize it until when it actually happened. His senses warned him too late, only when the sword actually touched his neck did he get a belated warning. His eyes widened open and his senses responded in a manner faster than light. He almost activates his barrier fruit ability, but that's because he hadn't realized yet that he was already dead. The picture of his headless body was reflected in his widened eyes, which soon lost their final light. The last thing he saw and realized in this world was the fountain of his blood gushing from his neck. His head fell and rolled on the ground as a headless corpse immediately fell afterward. Next to the corpse, a basket full of fruits appeared out of nowhere. As he emerged from the darkness behind the headless old man's corpse, Rob, whose eyes were glowing with a sinister purple glint. The surgery sword in his hand was not stained even by a single drop of the blood of the man who had just beheaded. Rob looked toward the basket of fruits he had just taken out of his inventory and didn't find any abnormal change yet, then turned his gaze toward the duo who fell on their bottoms with shock. Their minds haven't understood yet. What the hell happened here? Well, we're done with the potential inconvenience. This man's fruit is rather troublesome. Since he is an old man, it means that he has lived a lot and got plenty of time to develop the barrier fruit. It would be unwise to underestimate him. Anyone who holds this kind of troublesome devil fruit should die by assassination. Don't you agree with me, Kurozumi? You are a clan famous for assassinations after all. How do you feel when you taste from the same cup? Now, I will enjoy chopping you to pieces. Only now were both Kurozumi Orokai and Kurozumi Higurashi able to awaken from the stupor in which they had previously been plunged. You killed Semimaru. Do you realize what you just did? He is Kaido's subordinate. No, before we were Kaido's subordinates, we were his companions who sailed with him and guided him from a mere learner on a ship to a living monster. Do you realize now who you just killed? Kaido has companions like you? What a joke. Rob almost had laughed at this old woman's words. Had he not been familiar with Kaido's true personality, he would have truly believed such nonsense. Kaido is someone who doesn't even care about his own daughter. How can he take care of disgusting old men like these? Who are you? I have nothing to do with the Kurozumi clan. I'm going from here now. Despite his fear of this terrifying man, Orokai managed to stand up and moved a little towards the door, wanting to get away from this place as quickly as possible, but his steps stopped in a very harsh manner. Arg! Orokai cried out in an extremely loud voice, expressing the frightening pain he was feeling at this moment. His short legs remained in place as his upper stump fell to the wooden floor, but he was still screaming from the pain that still damaged the nerves in his brain. You especially have to die hard. Just cancel the idea of getting out of here alive. Orokai's eyes were bloodshot, but that didn't stop him from feeling frightened and crying like a terrified kid. What do you have against my clan, Kurozumi? Why are you doing this? If you're unaware, you're standing in Kaido's way. You're messing up Kaido's plans by doing this. Kaido will never forgive you for doing this. Before she could finish speaking, the world in front of her turned upside down, and her words stopped completely. Kaido, just shut up. You're so annoying, plus your mouth smell is so disgusting. Rob cut off her head with one blow, as he had done with her companion. This time, it was not an assassination, but a fatal blow with a tyrannical force. Rob's stifling aura made Orokai feel despair. A frightening picture was reflected in his eyes as the head of his second ally flew into the sky because of that fearsome man's sword. Rob started getting close to Orokai after he finished his first two goals. Stay away, please, I don't want to die. Before he gets into hysterics due to fear, Orokai remembers his trump card and regains his cool, but outwardly still gives a facade of a frightened and pathetic person. Have you seen these gold coins? It's a lot, isn't it? You can take them all, just leave me alone please. Orokai continued to pretend. He was really afraid of this man, but he wasn't afraid of death after he mentioned his life-saving card. He will surely take revenge one day. Do you think you can trick me, Orokai? Huh? I'm not deceiving you, that's really all we have. Because of the mythical devil fruit, Yamata no Orokai, you have as many lives as heads. This fruit really is a cheat. The mythical devil fruit cannot be underestimated. You have 8 heads, so I can kill you 8 times, right? The blood on Orokai's body froze when he heard that. With a sinister smile on his face, Rob Surgery rose, ready to kill him for the first time. At this moment Rob looked like a demon from hell. It had been a long time since he had recovered his evil self buried deep within. From the time he got to know Alvia, that character of him began to disappear little by little, but it did not disappear at all. All that happened is that he has hidden from view and can only show it in the face of such situations. When Orokai saw that evil smile, he tried to crawl towards the exit with all his might, but Rob's sword was faster than him. With one wave the Orokai was cut in half. After some time Rob came out of the wooden house with a basket of fruits while he ate an apple. On the basket of fruits appeared 2 fruits that are different from the rest. The fruit is transparent, glass-like, and the other is purple in color with snake-like patterns. Unfortunately I only got 2. Chapter 85 Baroque Works Saga, Little Garden Arc. Little Garden Arc? Kobe reappears in this arc. Before the Straw Hats officially reach Little Garden Island, Luffy remembers about his friend Kobe, who appeared in this arc, that he is starting to realize his dream of becoming a major figure in the Navy already. Kobe and his friend Helmipo fell into the cruel hands of Vice Admiral Garp and began infernal training for their bodies to break the level of the ordinary person and officially enter the world of strong people. Rob was very interested in Garp's reaction to his appearance in the manga. Maybe he might keep scratching his nose and laughing while flipping to the next page. That's how he would react, right? Garp is the first elite marine to appear in the manga, so Rob is also interested in the reaction of the elite navy. especially Sengoku, who has officially become an admiral of the fleet, as this big news was already announced, which caused quite a stir recently. This early change in the plot didn't really surprise Rob. With his blatant interference in the plot, the change would be inevitable. After the minor arc that shows Kobe and Helmeppo's hard work and the story of each of them since they have parted with Luffy and Zoro until now, the story returns to shed light on Luffy and his comrades once again, who have reached their second island in the Grand Line. After getting his lunchbox from Sanji, Luffy went with Vivi to enjoy an adventure that he smelled from this mysterious island in which everything seems to be very huge, unlike the name of the island, Little Garden. Then Zoro challenges Sanji to contest who will be the one who catches the biggest and tastiest hunt. Thus, Usopp and Nami remained on the ship going merry, afraid of entering the island, which gave off a terrifying aura, which Nami later discovered a scary truth about. It was a prehistoric island, an island where dinosaurs did not become extinct and still roam the earth. Not only that, but right after the crew left, a giant creature came to get the sake from them, its appearance scaring the shit out of Nami and Usopp, who pretended to be dead out of fear, especially after seeing the giant Brogy chop off the head of a T-Rex as if he was chopping vegetables. This arc will surely be interesting to the readers, a lot of useful information about what kind of islands there are in the Grand Line. Little Garden is one of the most dangerous islands where someone can get stuck in the first half of the Grand Line. After all, the magnetic field of the island is so strong that it is difficult for a log pose to absorb a magnetic field adjacent to the next island. A full year is the amount of time that the log pose has to wait to register the next coordinates, and this is only relatively. That's what Nami and Usopp found out when they asked the giant Brogy about it. This is just a disaster for everyone who has reached this island without an eternal log pose. The question now is, could anyone survive for an entire year in an environment teeming with dinosaurs and prehistoric insects? An island adventure of this kind, readers will be excited to see. Since he started drawing this part of the story, Rob's smile hasn't left his face. He used to enjoy his time drawing chapters. Rob finished drawing this arc already some time ago, but he was busy supplying enough copies that each art store would need, according to the number of sales in each store. After all, sales differ from one art store to another. There are art stores where the percentage of sales does not exceed 30%. There are also other stores, such as Mary Geoessays, which sells 90%. Can you imagine that? So naturally, the number of volumes it provides in each art store will be different depending on the demand. Now, that One Piece manga is so popular in the world, Rob was on the right track to conquering the world with manga already. So he just has to continue what he's doing without caring about the consequences. Opinions about manga One Piece vary from person to person. Some say that it is a holy book that tells us the events of the future. And some say that it is an interesting story whose owner deserves to be commended. And some are fascinated by the real places in the manga as well as the real characters. Some consider the story just nonsense and pass on piracy ideas in a nice way. Opinions vary from person to person, but that doesn't change the fact that manga One Piece has become world famous. But the appearance of the giants, Brogy and Dory, in this arc will surely blow the minds of the inhabitants of the four seas. The existence of giants is not a secret or unknown matter in the eyes of the world. For Elbaf, the land of giants is a land known to the whole world. But this is only on the Grand Line. 90% of the inhabitants of the four seas consider the race of giants to be a myth. Even Princess Vivi, who is Princess of Alabasta, didn't believe in their existence until she saw them with her own eyes, let alone ordinary people from the four seas. That's why Rob is sure this arc will educate the world's population a lot before he entertains them. But the most important thing is the reaction of his friends Brogy and Dory to their appearance in the manga. That would definitely be fun. They'll laugh a lot at it, and maybe like Rob even more because he showed the world their legendary fight. How Rob displayed the utter pride of Elbaf on all of them, and especially Dory, who went to fight despite his severe internal injuries due to the shameful ploy of the Baroque agents, will make readers raise their hats to the Elbaf warriors. Usopp's proclamation of his dream of being brave and unshakable pride like the Elbaf warriors had a special stamp on this arc. Rob painted every moment of it so perfectly. He didn't miss anything and didn't add anything superfluous. But the way it was drawn and coloring gave life to the manga, making it much better than the original story. Prehistoric island, extinct dinosaurs, fighting legendary giants, Red Ogre Brogy, Blue Ogre Dory, leaders of Elbaf warriors, pirates who became famous pirate crew 7 decades ago, the second clash with Baroque Works organization, fierce fighting, wax art making, Sanji cunning and his deception of Mr. Zero, Sanji and Zoro tied in a dinosaur hunting competition, Island Eater, going merry once again swallowed by a gigantic sea creature, Luffy and Usopp trust in the strength of giants, Island Eater, cut off by the combined attack of the giants. It all happened in this fun arc. And today happens to be the day of the weekly update. Rob was ready to publish the new volume and rekindle the reader's enthusiasm. Chapter 86, The Famous Giants. Dory and Brogy enthusiasm ascends to the sky. 1. Little Garden Island. In a prehistoric jungle, huge animals spread everywhere. But at this moment, the sky and earth shook with the eruption of the volcano that erupted at least twice a day. Boom! The animals returned to their burrows to avoid being crushed by 2 excited giants. Geigia, Brogy, are you ready to lose today? Giant Dory ran with his sword and shield with unstoppable momentum. The huge trees in his path were like a field of tiny plants compared to his gigantic size. He really deserved the title of Blue Ogre. On the other hand, the giant Brogy ran with the same momentum. Their strength was too terrifying. The moment the sword collided with the axe, it seemed as if the air in the middle of the attack had been broken. An extremely powerful shockwave spread out and uprooted many trees. The animals and dinosaurs who were close to the battlefield, they were shrunk of fear at the moment. After all, these two giants were considered to be the rulers of the island due to their immense strength. Even T-Rex, who is the most powerful dinosaur, can only be considered a cute cat in front of its overwhelming strength. Gabba-ba-ba-ba? Do you mean losing you, Dory? After another epic fight. 61,099 fight. 61,099 tied. Gabba-ba-ba-ba? My old friend Dory. I got some new sake that was recently deposited at the art store. It's called champagne. Would you like some? Gagea? I got it before you? It tastes really refreshing, especially after every fight. Yes dash. Suddenly a green light scattered from a place familiar to the two giants and its light covered the entire island. The glow lasted for 5 seconds before it stopped. The duo looked toward each other in amazement before laughing with delight. Hurry up! I forgot it's the weekly updating day of One Piece manga. Brogy and Dory ran towards the art store while terrifying the animals and dinosaurs who thought the fight of kings was over. Alabasta Kingdom. Your Majesty, a new volume of One Piece manga has been updating. Igaram, who was still a young man, ran into the royal hall bringing the new One Piece book with him. Oh, Igaram? We've been waiting for you. Thanks for your hard work. I appeared in the chapters again, my king. I was advising Vivi-sama. I'll see, Igaram, don't spoil the events. Sorry, Your Majesty. I was too excited. Igaram left the manga book in the king's hand before asking permission and leaving. Every time I see Vivi, I really feel like she's my daughter. That feeling seems ridiculously certain. Vivi's face was the first thing Cobra saw on the front page of the manga, so his first comment on Vivi was naturally, "Did you say that, my dear? I told you I had the same feeling." Nefertari Titi came out of the shower, her wet curves so sexy, but Cobra, who he was soaked in the pleasure of reading manga, didn't see it. You're right, Titi. Then let me read the manga with face to place as they laughed and tears of happiness sprayed from their eyes. They were so happy, beyond description. Their enthusiasm far surpassed anyone else who had seen themselves in the manga. Their enthusiasm literally soared to the sky. After they finally calmed down. I think Rob knows us well. I even forgot why we disagreed. I didn't think I'd remember it again because of the manga. A nostalgic smile appeared on Brogy's face as he looked at the face of the innocent little girl who was the direct cause of their ongoing fight until now. Yes, I remember it now. It was because of the little girl we started fighting over who had the biggest catch. All our old friends are drawn here. How did Rob know that? Should we ask him when he comes next time, Brogy? So we have another reason to stay here and fight, to ensure that the Straw Hat's journey continues, right? Then we'll keep doing it? But my catch is greater than yours. No, my catch is bigger. Look at your catch skull. It's smaller than mine. Gagea. Gabba-ba-ba-ba. O'Hara. Rob-sama? Nami, what's going to happen to my daughter? Why she's fallen into bad shape at the end of the volume? Please tell me she'll be fine. Please. Belmere grabbed Rob's leg, refusing to let him go while I repeatedly asked him. Alvia, Rob, tell her that. We want to know that too. Sora, Rob-sama, we also want to know. Rouge, matriarch. Rosinante, teacher, we want to know, too. Doflamingo. Rob looked at all of their faces. They were all seriously curious about Nami's health. Well, no need to worry, though she will be in life-threatening danger, but in the end, she will survive. Ding. Plus 5,066 art points from Garosei. Ding. Plus 5,043 art points from Garosei. Ding. Plus 5,100 art points from Garosei. Ding. Plus 5,200 art points from Garosei. Ding. Plus 5,405 art point from Garosei. Ding. Plus 5,000 art points from the Chief Commander of the World Government Kong. Ding. Plus 5,300 art points from Fleet Admiral Sengoku. Ding. Plus 5,000 art points from Vice Admiral Garp. Marineford. Kobe, Helmeppo, am I going to train these wretches in the future? But first of all, why do I look so old in that brat's manga? That's all the more reason to look for it. Garp, we recently had reports of a sky-destroying fight between Golden Lion Shiki and Sky Sword Rob. On the account of the witnesses, their fight ended in a tie. How better not to look for him for trouble. Sengoku, do you think this will stop me? And what if he's strong and can tie with Shiki? That would be for the best. No, that's not good. What's not good about it? Huh? Seriously, do you think I'd lose to that brat? It's not like that, Garp, but the 5 elders are forbidding us to directly in. When Odin exits the art store, he meets face to face with the Whitebeard pirates, who are led by Whitebeard himself. A comical scene occurred where both parties froze looking at each other for a few seconds. You are the pirates from the outside world. Yes, we are. The moment Odin heard the confirmation, he pounced on Whitebeard's leg, unwilling to let go. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Please allow me to get on your ship. Go away, you're annoying. Whitebeard kicked Odin like a ball and sent him flying. Odin was able to establish himself in the sky and pulled out his swords, which were thirsty to fight the strong people. It's time to find out whether or not this person deserves to carry him on his ship. Whitebeard's expression changed as he sensed the other party's strength. Guys, step away, this person is very unusual. Odin's two-swords style. And just as it had originally happened, an earth-shattering battle erupted between Whitebeard and Odin and ended with Odin losing. But this time the location of the battle and the number of witnesses were different. The first difference is that they fought near the art store. The second difference is that the battle was seen by a lot of Kuri residents who flocked to the store gate, as well as anxious Alakazeus. Odin-sama, how can you say such a thing? You're a daimyo of Kuri. You can't go anywhere else. You're annoying, get out of this country. Kinemon looked at Whitebeard and said so. Whitebeard was busy analyzing the events of the day in his mind. We also hope we could. Our ship destroyed after all. Then fix it and go away. The Whitebeard pirates ignored the cries of Odin, who was being held back by his subordinates, and entered the art store they had originally come here for. The moment they got here, the first thing that caught their attention and made them more interested was the shape of the building, before Odin walked out and took all their attention, causing their admiration for the shape of the building to turn to the strange samurai. It would be a lie if they said they didn't like someone like Odin. He was very powerful after all. Even someone like Whitey Bay expressed her admiration for Odin to Marco. Wow, the interior of this building is definitely huge. Devil fruit ability. In Whitey Bay's eyes, something abnormal like this could only be caused by a devil fruit. This couldn't be more clear, right? This time it was Yozu who spoke. Even Edward Newgate felt that this place was interesting in many ways. This place is special. I can smell the excitement in every fold. Look at the faces of the people here. They are all excited. Marco was more interested in the expressions of the people around them. You are right. What kind of future would make these people happy? I suddenly had a desire to explore it too. Gururera. After Whitebeard and his crew finished reading the One Piece manga, they looked at each other and laughed non-stop for a while. What a fun One Piece manga. Gururera? Roger gets executed in the first chapter. Yes, Oyaji, what a joke. How could those Navy bullshit catch someone like Roger? Marco still laughs at the author's sense of humor. Wait, Rude's D-Rob? Isn't that person, the Sky Sword, a member of the Roger Pirates? Why does he draw his captain dead? Whitebeard's expression changed when he heard Vista's words. Vista was right. How could a crew member cast such a bad omen on the head of his captain? I wonder, have Roger and his crew ever seen this book? What could this One Piece treasure be? I didn't know that the most mysterious treasure in the world was called One Piece. I'm your captain and I didn't know that, so how do you know that? The Whitebeard pirates continued to enthusiastically discuss the events of the One Piece manga. This store was really fun. They haven't enjoyed it like today in a very long time. Despite their initial confusion, that all changed as they continued reading the manga books. The amazing drawing and clear narration were two important factors that made the Whitebeard pirates' confusion fly out the window. All that remains is to have fun reading the manga. The adventures of the Straw Hat Pirates were fun, though they're diminutive in comparison to theirs. With the idea that this is a fictional story, they kept reading the manga, but every time they saw a world-famous character in the manga like Roger and Garp and characters they knew existed like Crocus and even Shanks and Buggy, they would ask themselves, is this really a fictional tale? Could this story really be the future? So doesn't this mean that Roger will overtake me to become the Pirate King? What a joke. Chapter 89 The Celestial Dragons Having Fun. The World Government Invitation, ding. Plus 6,000 art point from Whitebeard, Edward Newgate. Ding. Plus 2,000 art point from Phoenix Marco. Ding. Plus 2,000 art points from Diamond Yozu. Ding. Plus 2,000 art points from Vista. Ding. Plus 1,000 art points from Whitey Bay. While Rob was busy making anime episodes in the O'Hara art store, he suddenly received a lot of system notifications containing a good number of art points at once. Someone gives 6,000 art points in one go. What does this mean? Big shot. Whitebeard pirates. They've arrived at Wano, then. This means that the Wheel of Destiny is still moving as it is, even though I obstructed it so much. Well, it doesn't matter. While the Whitebeard pirates were enjoying the new art called Manga, which they recently got acquainted with. Plus they have to contend with Odin's endless annoyance. In another place, the most hated people in the world, they were having so much fun. Mary Giose. The world before and after the manga is completely different, don't you agree, Saint Merald? A celestial dragon with an ugly face and a big belly said with an excited expression. Sure, I feel proud that I was able to live in this era where the manga finally came out. Saint Merald was a celestial dragon with a fickle temperament just like all celestial dragons. But ever since he started reading the One Piece manga, it seemed as if his fickle mood was diminishing. All the celestial dragons before the appearance of the art store were lacking in common sense, just like newborn babies. But after the art store appeared, they began to gain some common sense. What do you think will happen to Alabasta? They are under the threat of a powerful Shishibukai just like Mihawk. Do you think Luffy will succeed in defeating a Shishibukai? Since everyone has seen the strength of Mihawk, who is called the strongest swordsman in the world and also holds the title of Shishibukai, they believe that this joint title means the same level of strength or at least very close. This is a miscalculation of the fans. How about we send the Admiral to support Luffy and his comrades? The ugly-faced celestial dragon wanted to support his favorite crew with the most powerful weapon in his hand, sending Admiral. Isn't the royal family Nefertari one of the 20 royal families who established the world government with us? I wonder why they refused to live in heaven and chose to live in the underworld. Are you idiot? How are we going to send the Admiral to the events that happened in the manga? Well, maybe they still miss a lot of common sense. The celestial dragons were really having fun. Rob was probably the only Earth transmigrator that made the most scum of the world of the seas enjoy like this. Since the art store appeared in the middle of the domain of the gods, their lives had changed 180 degrees. Previously, they didn't have a specific program to spend their day on, and most of them were very bored. Therefore their only entertainment was often confined to the torture of slaves or the organization of combative contests between slaves and beasts, or between slaves and each other, or randomly feeding the slaves devil fruits. This was one of the best entertainment they had in the past. But now, with the emergence of the manga One Piece and the manga Bleach, these events have shrunk by a very large percentage. Who will take care of slaves when his mind gets the most wonderful entertainment? The dopamine that hadn't exploded in their minds like this before was dictating the following commands to them. I want more One Piece manga. I want more Bleach manga. Will there be another manga coming? The words may differ, but their desires are common. Through all of this, Rob discovered that the celestial dragons were simple creatures by nature. They were the weakest species that a human race could produce. When there is no sense of danger from the mind, when there is no sense of responsibility and the need to work and have a lot of authority and absolute freedom, you will have a celestial dragon. A human as a pig. Pigs can be tamed if you are given the right opportunity. And the only person in the world who had such an opportunity was Rob himself. In the domain of the gods, the celestial dragons gathered together in groups, guarded by the black-suited agents who were looking extremely weary. These gatherings were mainly confined to the art store area. Out of the 10 celestial dragons, at least 9 of them had a manga book in their hands, whether it was open or not. Their conversation was limited to what will be the next manga for One Piece or what Aizen will do after he succeeds in getting his way. New World, the flying island Merville. The place was very quiet, the wind was the only source of the sound. The place looked desolate and deserted. The only source of light on the flying island was the beacon hanging in the sky that looked like an open book. Below the beacon was a white building that looked like a building out of a science fiction movie. This place used to be the Merville art store. The store that Rob opened here earlier after he finished fighting Shiki. Opening this store here was just a fleeting idea of Rob, but days later, it turns out he's already done a great service to the flying pirates. Outside, life was quiet. But inside the art store, the atmosphere was far from calm. Thousands of pirates gathered around the vending machines scattered in the store, wishing to break them down for more chocolate or hamburgers. Some of them also gathered around the borders of the 3 sections, wanting to explore every part of this strange place. Jihahahaha, giving me such a wonderful building as a parting gift is the best you can do as an apology to me, Sky Sword. Shiki continued to drink cool whiskey while flipping through the manga pages while rereading the chapters of the One Piece manga avidly. Is this your perception of the future, Sky Sword? Deposed Pirate King Roger. So what is the role of this lion in your drawn future? I can't wait to find out. Jihahahaha. You will be the true Pirate King, Captain. Sky Sword is definitely dreaming about bullshit. Yes, Captain. Is that right? Jihahahaha. Yes, it's definitely fancy. I'll be the Pirate King. Neither Roger nor Luffy can obtain that throne. Back in Mary Geoase, in the Pangaea Castle, the Garosei were considered the highest authority in the world. They were studying an important decision for the time being. And what is this decision? Sending an official invitation from the world government to Rob. Te recognition from the world government of the title of Mangaka King. Cancellation the bounty of Rob. Giving Rob the freedom to do whatever he wants as long as he doesn't discredit the world government. In return, Rob has to teach the world government agents the basics of drawing manga. And the obligation of confidentiality on this matter. Chapter 90A Deal with Whitebeard. Rob exited the bamboo field between the Kuri civilian area and the shore and entered Kuri Beach, where the Moby Dick ship, which was currently under repair, was located. Both Whitebeard and Odin, those present in the venue, sensed an extremely powerful presence entering their senses and immediately raised their guard. The moment Rob appeared in their field of observation, Odin instantly recognized him while Whitebeard sank into thought, as he felt that the man in front of him was a bit familiar. Oh, Rob Dono? You should have at least let me know you're coming, ha ha ha. Odin said with his usual smile, while Whitebeard and his crew were surprised by this. They didn't think this person who seemed dangerous was Odin's acquaintance. I can get here before my letter, so that's for the best, my friend. Oh, so then? Well, it's okay. Only when he got close enough did the Whitebeard crew recognize him. After all, they were used to fighting Roger's crew. The second best swordsman in Roger's crew, worthy of their attention, after all. It's really Sky Sword, Rob. His wanted poster is here. 800 million berry, that's close to Oyaji bounty. You forgot the most important thing, he is the author of One Piece. You're really right. How can we forget this important thing? Rob ignored the whispers of the Whitebeard pirates among themselves, as he was focusing on the most dangerous person in the place. From the moment he appeared here, Whitebeard was locked onto him with all his senses. It looked like a mountain wishing to compress it down. In the past, when former Rob was present in his crew's confrontations with Whitebeard's crew, he only looked at Whitebeard from afar and did not dare to approach. This man was like a mountain too tall to climb, just like his captain Roger. But now, even though his pressure was truly frightening, he was Whitebeard in his youth and peak strength after all, not the same person who had lost in the Marineford War. However, this pressure did not succeed in suppressing Rob's current presence, which was getting stronger by the day. Gururera? For a moment I thought Roger had removed his mustache and appeared in front of me. Boyo, you're interesting. Whitebeard's mood turned 180 degrees after making sure that the other party had no ill intentions towards him and his crew. Odin looked at the confrontation between Whitebeard and Rob and fell into confusion. Do you guys know each other? The whole world knows these two, but we know each other more privately. But not in the same way that we know each other. Me, and you? Whitey Bay approached to Odin in a very intimate way while she told him some facts about their crew and Rob's crew. So then. Whitey Bay, after all, she was so pretty and sexy for someone who was obsessed with collecting harem in the past, so even Odin was secretly excited by the way Whitey Bay treated him. Maybe he'd dig another burrow tonight. This is if Whitebeard doesn't detect it, otherwise, it will turn into a pile of broken bones. Whitebeard pirates, Wano country is under my protection, so I hope you don't think of anything funny. Rob looked at the ship of Moby Dick, which was currently under repair, and said so. Although what he had originally said was an announcement that he was protecting Wano rather than alerting him to the Whitebeard pirates because he knew they wouldn't do anything bad. There is a monster like this in Wano, why do they need to protect an outsider like you? Since he was a pirate, Whitebeard wasn't bothered by Rob's words. After all, who could put their trust in a pirate? But isn't Rob a pirate too? This is what puzzled the Whitebeard pirates. Oh, do you mean Odin? He's like a kid who needs adventure. I bet he'll board your ship despite your nose. Someone like him can't protect anything, not even his family, let alone an entire country. When he heard these words, Odin's body, who was under contentment because of Whitey Bay's breasts that were pressed against his back, trembled. In the moment. How could his friend say such a thing about him? Rob Dono, I agree with you that our master is behaving like a kid who wants to live an adventure, but we will not allow you to insult our master. Our master can protect everything he wants to protect. Kinemon, Ashira Daji, Kanjuro, and the rest pointed their swords at Rob. After all, their master's dignity was a red line. Not even a great benefactor like Rob could insult him. No, in their eyes not even the highest person in the country, the shogun itself, could insult their master. What I said is not an insult in any way. Odin is my friend. I don't insult my friends, and I think he understands perfectly what I mean. Your little minds can't handle the words of great men, so don't point at me with your little tools. Rob pointed his finger in a motion that seemed the eyes of the 9 red scabbards, but before they realized the situation, all they could feel was being stunned before everything turned dark. This is their punishment for raising their swords against me. Don't tell me they don't deserve it. Odin. Odin looked at his loyal guards who had been struck by lightning and fainted, and at Rob for a while before sighing. You are right in everything you said. I always feel I'm cursed, but since you appeared in Wano I have felt my curse begin to recede. I am grateful to you for everything you have done, whether you have done in public or even in private, but please don't hurt my friends again. If you want to hurt someone, you can hit me, I won't fight back. The Whitebeard pirates who were watching the show were completely dumbfounded. Even Whitebeard himself did not expect this situation. Hell, what is this position? That was lightning, wasn't it? Odin, I punished them, I didn't hurt them, even though one person among them really deserved death, but I wouldn't interfere with what you have to deal with yourself. If it were other people who raised their swords against me, it wouldn't just be a punishment, it would be a real hurt, their good fortune. They followed the right person. And you, Whitebeard, I'm going to talk to you in pirate language. I suppose you walked into my store and saw what I could offer. How about making a deal with me? Oh, a deal? What kind of deal is this? Do you not want a store like this in your lands? Rob pointed to the beacon hanging in the sky while speaking softly. When the Whitebeard pirates heard this, they ignored everything else they saw and completely focused on their father's answer. It was a chance to get the best they saw it in their adventures. How are they not excited? Okay, talk. What do you want in return? Money, treasures, lands, or women? I can give you what you want. Women. Even Rob was surprised by this. Where would Whitebeard get them from? He didn't remember any event involving slaves or women in which Whitebeard was involved in it. Was Whitebeard so unruly in his youth? Don't give me that look. We don't take slaves or deprive women of their liberties. We have a lot of lands in our care, and there are a lot of hot women looking for work. One word from me and you'll get as many as you want. Odin, who was examining the injuries of his loyal guards, shook once more and swallowed his saliva upon hearing Whitebeard's words. Lots of sexy women? I have really chosen the right man? How lucky he is. Whitey Bay, who saw Odin's interaction, let out a chuckle. She was really enjoying teasing this man. You have all it takes to make a successful deal with a lustful man, but I am not. I am a married man. Rob said with a gentleman's expression that made the Whitebeard pirates appreciate him even more. Then what do you want? Fighting against you with all your might. Choose an uninhabited island and let us fight to our heart's content. I will not regret even if you kill me. Huh. What? He just said. Want to fight Oyaji to the death. Is he crazy? Does he really want to die? Silence. Having silenced his annoying children, Whitebeard looked into Rob's determined eyes with a kind of astonishment. I didn't expect that a calm person like you would have such a burning fighting spirit. You really are a mysterious man. But you deserve a fight with me. It's decided. Open your store in my land first, and then I'll give you a satisfying fight. Rob soared high into the sky toward his next destination. After agreeing with Whitebeard on a place and time to set up an art store in his territory, he finally got out of Wano and was going to Dressrosa. Rob decided to set up a new art store there. With lightning speed, He moved away from Wano's atmosphere, and after 2 hours, he traveled the distance 3 days by ship at his high speed. By chance, he flew over a small island and his haki was able to pick up something interesting. A girl in distress, and not just any girl, but the most mysterious girl in the story of One Piece. Chapter 91 The Dirty Pirate World. Amatsuki Toki, Rob noticed a group of 15 women, who are being led by pirates towards a base in the island's jungle. The pirates group, as well as the island itself, were very familiar to Rob. But the group of 15 women was unfamiliar. No, only one of them he was more familiar with her. I think they hunt women from neighboring islands or merchant ships to sell them as slaves. Rob wasn't surprised by this fact. This was the world of pirates. Slave hunting is very common, plus this group of women is very beautiful. If the timeline goes the way it was originally, it will be Odin, who endured for 3 days held by a rope at sea, towed by the ship, Moby Dick, and in the last glimmers of his success in the challenge, a woman in distress made him decide to come to this island that far away 3 days from Wano by ship. Yes, the woman who Rob recognized among the other women was Toki, Odin's wife and the mother of Momonosuke and Hiri in origin. She may have originally managed to escape from the Takatopa's pirates right up to the moment when Odin managed to save her. But now, it was obvious that she had just been caught with another group of women and maybe there is a bigger group in the pirate base, who knows. Well, I never expected to meet something like this. Should I avoid this and let fate take its course or save them? But that means saving her as well. Rob's senses were focused on the woman with light green hair and dark green eyes. Toki was extremely beautiful. She could be considered one of the most beautiful women in One Piece. But Rob, who was married with Alvia and he seeing beauties like Sora and Rouge Daily, didn't really care about her beauty. It was her mysterious power that really could catch Rob's attention. Her power was one of the One Piece's secrets that baffled many followers. What if the time fruit also could be sent the people back toward the past instead of just sending them to the future? What was the cheat? This was the cheat. If Rob intervenes now, Odin may not be able to repeat his heroic attitude, and Toki, she may never fall in love with him again. But if he does not intervene, the other women may not be saved, and will they be sold as slaves by the damned pirates? After all, that octopus, Karma, not only died but became an ally of Whitebeard in the future, plus only Toki was saved and no other women were mentioned in flashback Odin. This just shows that this world was extremely brutal, and its true brutality was never shown to the One Piece fans on Earth. Rob was not an emotional person, but he was not someone who could see people enslaving in front of him, and he continued on his way as if he had seen nothing. He was someone from modern society with a certain level of values. That was hard to break, although no one knows what was going on in the underworld, but the accepted values were solid enough to be recognized in the first place. What if his rescue of the slaves, as well as Toki, caused Toki and Odin to have no relationship? Although he has become somewhat friends with Odin, Odin's emotional issues do not concern him. Well, maybe in the future they can love each other after seeing their relationship in the manga, who knows, haha. When Rob decided his next move, he quietly followed the pirates who were leading the women back to their base. Rob had to hold back his anger when he heard the screams of the women being taken advantage of by the disgusting pirates. Toki was really lucky that her attractive body was not touched by pirates. Okay, the matter, it's been decided, I'll kill you all. Rob would never be as merciful as Whitebeard and Odin in such matters. In fact, Rob has never been merciful. The merciful person was the original Roods D. Rob of this world. After some time the group reached the base, which was a very wide one-floor building with a wall surrounding it on 4 sides. The base was really stinky, look and feel. The moment Rob's eye fell on it he had already combed it with the observation haki. Veins appeared on Rob's forehead. For the first time he had been so angry since coming to this world. As he expected, there were other slaves at the pirate base. But this is not what angers Rob, but rather the condition of some of the slaves. They were all women. Some of them were pirates' pleasure slaves. They couldn't be sold to celestial dragons, they could just keep asking them to death. Some of them had already died, while others were dying. Most of the pleasure slaves were soaked in liquids and they didn't even clean them. This was the cruelest dulled human emotion can reach. You've brought the last batch successfully, that's well. Karma, the octopus man, fishman, looked at the group of 15 bound women, who were being led by his pirates towards the known cages. Yes, Captain Karma, so, as you promised, can we pick from the previous batch? The man who spoke are a Scarface pirate with a muscular body that looked like a junior captain among the pirate group that had brought in women earlier. Did I promise something like that? Yes. The last thing the pirates saw before he was beheaded was the scorned face of the octopus. Why don't I remember promising something like that? Did I promise what this dead human said here? The pirate that Karma pointed at shivered in fear, but he didn't dare disobey his captain's words. No, Captain, he was just talking about bullshit. Yes, he was definitely talking nonsense. The last 4 batches we painstakingly collected from the highest quality to sell directly to celestial dragons. Each of them is excellent quality. How can we use them for pleasure? Recently, there has been almost no demand for celestial dragons for slaves, not only pleasure slaves but all kinds of slaves, which has caused widespread concern among professionals like us. The only logical explanation we all agreed on was that celestial dragons had come to prefer quality over quantity. Do you understand? Now, why let you enjoy all that junk there? It's because no one wants them anymore. High voltage boom, high voltage. The sky shook with a roar of thunder at this moment. The sound of the thunder explosion was so terrifying that most of the pirates shrank in a moment of stupor. In asking for mercy. You want me to forgive you? Yes, yes, great sir, we will never do something like this again, please forgive us. You are Sky Sword, Rob, the fourth cotter of Roger Pirates, right? I got to know you, we can become a supporting fleet under the banner of Roger Pirates, so think about the benefits of that. Karma started talking nonsense, maybe that's how he survived Whitebeard in the first place, who knows. Ha 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 ha, do you want to become a fleet under the Roger Pirates? Aren't you asking for too much? Pirates. Okay, I won't waste time with you anymore, go to hell. I will tell you that before you leave, you are the first to die with the most powerful killing move I have, so it is a kind of honor. Pirates. And before I forget, even though you are now dead because of me, you will live in the hearts of fans one day when you appear in the manga because of me too, so, you kind of stay alive. Pirates. Rob slowly raised his hand to the sky, but he wasn't slow at all, a slow motion appeared in the eyes of the pirates and women who were watching from behind the barrier. Thick sparks of lightning flew from Rob's finger and with lightning speed, it entered the huge forehead of lightning demon god in the sky. At that moment, the demon opened its eyes, announcing the fall of the demon god's terror on the island. His eyes were made of pure white lightning, carrying within them a frantic feeling of inevitable death. This attack wasn't Rob's strongest out of thin nothingness, he used all of his knowledge of creating the techniques most terrifying of those novels in Eastern and Western fiction to create them. In this, he used his inexhaustible physical strength to combine powerful haki with deadly lightning, forming an inevitable killing weapon. It was not the size of the lightning demon that was frightening in this attack, but the lightning formed from it, that was the most frightening. It was raw energy, impossible to produce in an instant even for an immortal like Rob. He needed a full 5 minutes to accumulate this level of lightning intensity with haki, to create an attack of this huge size. Rob was inspired by this attack from a Western novel he had read in the past concerning a demon lord from the abyss. That demon lord's attack was smaller than Rob's, but still wiped an entire city off the map. Now, Rob was desperately expecting to see the efficiency of his stronger attack. Under the terrified gazes of the pirates and even the women protected within the barrier, the lightning demon god opened its mouth, ready to swallow the entire island. Lightning god pillar. Rob slowly pronounced the name of his attack. This was his strongest move after all, although saying the name of the attack out loud was embarrassing, but Rob's enthusiasm covered the embarrassment. He was anxious to see how much damage this super attack would do. He couldn't see the damage of the judgment sword in the past, but no one would stop him from seeing the damage of the lightning god pillar. This was the strongest devil fruit he had. He ate 3 devil fruits, the strongest offensively, the strongest defensively. To every woman who introduced herself, he announced his identity before setting up a strategic art store in this place. He named Ring Hell Island as a new name and, from now on, it will become his island. When the women saw a magnificent building appearing out of nowhere, their reverence for Rob grew in their hearts, and Rob was getting more and more mysterious in Toki's heart too, especially when he ignored her scorching looks at him. Rob's good looks, temperament, and divine power made all the women present get thoughts of him, including Toki herself, but Rob didn't take advantage of such situations to get women. He has a 5-month pregnant woman. He wouldn't have another woman as long as there was no mutual love and Alvia was satisfied with her. Rob didn't pair Sora with Alvia without a reason after all. If he liked a girl he'd move to get her, that was Rob with the black wing. But if that didn't please his wife, he wouldn't have her, that was Rob with the white wing. Chapter 94 Rob requests a service from Kurha. Taking Toki to Wano, Rob bought 15 recovery beds with modern equipment from the system shop, and carefully placed the injured women on them under the stunned looks of the other women. Soon, Toki and some nice women came to support him in this. Enough, put them on the beds, don't touch anything else, you'd cause the trouble in their modern equipment. Yes, Rob-sama. After a while, he finished observing the condition of the injured women and decided which of them needed urgent medical attention. With the help of his photographic memory, he was able to bring back some memories about medicine and healthcare, so he could do that, but that's where his experience ends. He now has to seek help from a real expert. He quickly contacted Alvia and her group, who were not late when they found out about the matter. Alvia came out of the art store. Her swollen belly was a clear indication of her pregnancy. She was overflowing with the maturity of motherhood. Rob missed her so much, so when they met they hugged and kissed without paying attention to the others who watched it all with double amazement. Soon, Alvia, Sora, Rouge, and the rest of the waitresses move into the group of female survivors after Rob tells them everything about them. In order to console them and help them overcome their psychological situation first, and also to check on their health. They felt pity for them, so they were happy to help. Rob touched the dead bodies and placed them in his inventory to provide a decent burial for them later. He then proceeded through the art store towards the Kingdom of Drum, after reassuring the group of women that he would be back quickly. The moment he arrived, finding the art store full as usual, he greeted the excited locals with a smiley face, before searching for Dr. Kurha. Unfortunately, he couldn't find her in his store, so he had to go out and visit her at her house. After wandering the snowy grounds for some time, Rob arrives at Dr. Kurha's house, which is set among the white pine trees. It was good that he found her resting outside since it was neither windy nor troublesome air today, but it was still a little snowy. Oh, I didn't expect to see someone take a snow bath. I thought the person could just sunbathe. The pirate world really is a little different from the common sense in my world. The moment he arrived and saw Dr. Kurha resting on her chair and half asleep, He made a strange statement to describe the strange situation. What do you know about logic, kid? What you call a snow bath has a lot of health benefits if one gets used to it. Maybe your world has a strange logic. Cold is a cure for the disease. Oh, is that you? Kurha took off her sunglasses, maybe snow glasses, and recognized Rob, feeling a little surprised. Thanks for the valuable advice, Dr. Kurha. Rob smiled humbly. It was great to take advice from someone who could extend his lifespan and keep himself healthy. You're most welcome. I suppose you came to visit me. Yes, do you have some time to hear my request? Kurha got up from her seat and put on her coat before opening the door of the house. Sure, please come in. Thanks. Minutes later, they both came out again. Kurha was holding her medical equipment in one hand. As expected, after Rob told her the situation in detail, he was able to convince her to help him treat the injured. Above all, Dr. Kurha had a good heart, and Rob's brilliant reputation on Drum Island also contributed to her inability to refuse. But Rob promised her to pay all the patient's expenses out of his pocket, so there was no reason for Kurha to refuse. Soon, both of them arrived at the art store. Previously, he had modified a large infirmary-shaped room in his personal section. He left Kurha waiting for him and returned to fetch the patients. Rob returned to Ringhell Island and finds that everyone has entered the art store as he requested. From there everyone, survivors, patients, and waitresses, was taken to the art store in the Kingdom of Drum, where Dr. Kurha was waiting, of course, without their knowledge. When Dr. Kurha saw a large group of women entering the comfort room in the infirmary, she was surprised, but she didn't ask about it. All she cared about were the 15 women on the recovery beds. After praising the quality of his medical equipment for some time, Dr. Kurha asked Rob to help her get all of them into the treatment room quickly so she could start her work. Rob didn't hesitate and simply snapped his finger. The 15 recovery beds disappeared and reappeared within the treatment room to everyone's shock. Rob then gestures for Alvia to follow him out of the hall. Wife, I'm going to take one of the unlucky women to her destination. I want you to take care of the rest and see where they want to go so we can take them home later. Okay. Alvia nodded with a gentle smile, before hugging Rob excitedly. You don't have to worry about this matter. Most importantly, I'm glad to have you, my hero. Once again you saved so many people and won so many hearts. They used to revere you like a god, BFT, ha 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 ha. When they knew that God is married and soon he will be had a child, they couldn't handle this. Rob clicked Alvia's forehead gently. Now you know how great your husband is, huh? Rob-sama, thank you for accepting my selfish request so quickly. Toki slowly bent over to Rob, showing her gratitude for him, but Rob stopped her. No need to do this, Miss Toki, it's my duty. Since I saved your life, I'm responsible for it until the end. Until the end. Toki's face suddenly turned red as she thought of something. They were both outside the Ringhell art store now. Nobody among the women who were former slaves knew that they had moved through space from the new world to paradise because they didn't feel anything strange. In their eyes they were still inside the art store. But Rob wanted this. After all, they were strangers. Teleporting between the art store was his greatest secret, known only to a few of his acquaintances and loved ones. Therefore, despite using it, it will make it secret to strangers. For Sora, Rouge, Matriarch, and her family, firstly, they are no longer strangers. Secondly, he used a magical contract with the power of system on them. They couldn't divulge the store's secrets even if they wanted to, including the children, Doflamingo, and Rosinante. Why do you want to go to Wano? Didn't you tell me that you don't have a family and you don't have anyone? Don't forget my offer to work with me is still valid. The more Rob looked at Toki, the more he felt a little greed bigger and bigger in his heart to make her his own, the same strange greed that had gripped him when he saw Sora for the first time. I really want to see Wano first. I also don't know why. You may laugh at me, but my heart tells me to go to Wano even if it's a short visit. Rob-sama, I didn't turn down your offer, you know. If it still stands after my Wano visit, I'll be happy to working with you. Rob thought for a while, maybe this visit to Wano will make the lovers of fate meet, and thus he will lose any chance with this beauty of being his partner at that time. After some thought, he decided to do what she wanted. Well, even if that happened and she became Odin's wife despite all he had done, he wouldn't regret it then. If he still had Alvia, as long as he had Alvia he wouldn't regret it about anyone else. Okay, I'll take you to Wano. Thank you very much. I really don't know how to repay all your kindness to me. You don't have to give me anything back. Soon the two of them reached shore. Rob took out his wonderful yacht whose looks astonished Toki again. She didn't count how many times this man had surprised her. Even his ship is wonderful. Rob climbed up the yacht's stairs and reached out to grab Toki's tender hand and pulled her into the yacht. When he took her hand, Toki felt a light thunderbolt that gave her goosebumps, and especially when she entered his embrace the moment he pulled her, his hand was filled with a warmth that she had not felt for a long, very long time, but his embrace was much warmer. She began to feel the desire to try his warmth again. She hid her blushing cheek and sat on a comfortable couch by the pool. The yacht was so luxurious that it left Toki's mind blank for a few moments. She didn't wake up until Rob brought 2 big glasses of fruit juice and 2 bottles of vodka. The yacht had already set off on its trip, so there was no harm in drinking with a beautiful miss. For the first time Toki felt embarrassed. She was only drinking with a man alone. Isn't this more like a date? But he is a married man. So what if he was married? Toki didn't care whether Rob was married or not. She lived in a culture where harems were very ordinary. but she didn't think that there would come a day she would think this way. Perhaps the strange and good effect of wine affected her so wonderfully, or that this divine man had already conquered her. Chapter 95 Whitebeard Pirates Sailing. The beginning of Odin's journey, Rob's yacht continued its fast voyage across the waters of the New World. Rob had Odin's life card, so the trip to Wano across the sea wasn't a problem. Throughout the trip, Rob had a great time with Toki. They got to know each other better, and they became more compatible and open to each other. For the first time, he saw a real smile on her beautiful face. They laughed together, ate together, and basked in the sun together. They seemed like two good friends enjoying their time together. Rob noticed that Odin's Viver card was approaching them faster, so he got a little confused. Is this a life card? Looks like its owner is on a ship moving in our direction. Rob agreed with Toki's words. He had a slight hunch about the matter. On the other hand, on Moby Dick, which has already come out of the turbulent sea of Wano. I'm so glad you're joining us, Odin. May we have a drink together? Surely. Odin smiled and exchanged a drink with her. This blue-haired beauty was constantly flirting with him, so he wouldn't be a man if he didn't push her down soon. Odin-sama? It's not fair. Why don't you share your drink with us too? Suddenly, Odin heard three familiar voices which made his face tremble. You? Why are you here? Izu? Nekomamushi? Inuarashi? Huh? We sent by the others unanimously. Odin-sama can't be left sailing unattended, so Kinemon and the rest decided to send us to take care of you. Izu slowly said whatever was going on in his head while the little two minks nodded. As for us, one day on your journey you may need to stop at so our attendance is essential. This time it was Nekomamushi who spoke up. You guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you. When the drama of Odin and his servants ended, Whitey Bay dragged Odin to her room. Drinking in an open space wasn't a good idea, so why don't we make it indoors? Maybe she'll get results with this guy today. Whitebeard closed his eyes to his daughter's nefarious actions. Might she have reached that stage? Who knows? But since Odin was also his chosen son, he wouldn't really mind if they met each other. Just let the kids have fun. Thus began Odin's journey aboard Whitebeard's ship. Whitebeard wasn't as opposed to Odin's joining as it had originally been, but rather was more accepting. Having someone like Rob who truly would protect Wano and earn the trust and recognition of both Whitebeard and Odin contributed to Whitebeard's decision to accept Odin on his ship without Odin resorting to strict action. Of course, the servants of Odin were dismissive of this issue, but their rejection was not as strong as the original. The presence of the art store contributed to this as well. When Kinemon and the others realized that it was impossible to convince Odin not to leave Wano, they came down to the negotiating table with him. They decided to secretly send Izu, Nico, and Inu to accompany Odin, while they agreed with Odin on a maximum of 5 years of travel, which he cannot pass and he must return to Wano to take over the country. Odin agreed unconditionally. Before taking the trip of a lifetime, he had met his father and made sure he was very healthy and living a good life. The same goes for Yasui. He visited him and chatted with him a bit as he gave them many manga volumes that made them addictive. Kuri would always be in a fuss about the art store, so he wouldn't worry about the prosperity of his district. She'd bypass the capital for sure. This made him leave the country with a satisfied and relaxed heart, unlike the original. Just having someone like Rob made him completely at ease. Odin had thought that his friend was stronger than him, so there was no problem in protecting Wano. His father and Yasui already knew about Rob's existence, so Rob is already getting a good reputation with the Wano rulers. A wonderful scene happened at the moment. The Whitebeard pirates were cramped to the left side of the ship to see a luxurious-looking metallic ship passing by their ship. Rob and Toki stood next to each other, dressed in summer clothes and sunglasses. Throughout their trip, Rob continued to invade Toki with his contemporary ideas about the necessity of enjoying life, so Toki was slightly touched by his words which reflected on her cute appearance. She is no longer wearing a pink kimono, Japanese traditional dress, but rather a modern suite consisting of skinny shorts and a more feminine t-shirt, looking like a model, or a cosplay actress. Even Rob was very impressed with her cute looks. But at this moment, when Rob was intending to propose the idea of swimming together and getting an extra step to win the heart of this time fairy, Rob and Toki suddenly saw a large white ship coming in their direction. At lightning speed, Rob went to the cockpit to change the course of the yacht, so as not to crash into the ship in their path. The two ships approached until they were completely equidistant from each other. Finally, the passengers of both ships were able to get to know each other. Gururera? What a nice coincidence. Kuzo. Rob Dano, are you done with your works? Looks like you're going back to Wano. Yes, I am already going back to Wano. Looks like you have decided to leave already. Odin. Yes, my friend, I am grateful for you bringing the world into my hands. That was really fun, but it wasn't enough to quench my thirst that had been thirsty for so many years. This is my destiny, my friend. I feel this world needs me to go out and explore. But who is this beautiful lady next to you? At first, he was talking seriously, but when he saw Toki he felt a twinge in his heart. This woman was very beautiful. I understand, someone like you can't stay in one place, that's impossible. Oh, this is my friend Toki. Toki bent down to greet Rob's friends with a slight bow. Gururera, now I know why you rejected my previous offer. You have a beautiful woman around you. What do you need with random people? You are a lucky boy. Toki was so embarrassed when she heard that her cheeks flushed. How good would it be if she was his wife? Will Alvia accept her as a younger sister? Her thoughts throughout this trip with Rob have become very chaotic. She was very novice on matters of the heart, she was switching from time to time all the time, so she didn't have time to get to know a man and live happily married life, but her time with Rob was the longest time she had with a man before. No, she's never been with men before, Rob was the first. Not only did he save her, but he gladly accepted her wish, heard her incredible story, and extended an olive branch to her, ready to accept her into his family, as was Olvia more willing. All the while her ideas turned from mere ideas to reality. Rob was the first man she felt attracted to. Unfortunately, Odin didn't get such an opportunity, because Rob unknowingly took it. See, Whitebeard, I told you that Odin will board your ship, whether you like it or not. After the chance encounter with Rob and the Whitebeard pirates, the two ships continued on their way thereafter. Oi, Rob Dono, take care of Wano Kuni. I'm going to pay this debt back in the future. With a smile Rob nodded at him, so not to worry, it was the least he could do for this man right now. Rob looked at the turbulent sea into which the yacht had entered and felt that their ship's voyage ended here. Toki-chan, I think we will continue the trip by another way. Another way? Which way? Leaves formed into wings on Rob's back, and his look like a mixed Lunarian and Sunshian person reappeared in the full shape in front of Toki. Why do you look surprised? Nothing, just your wings of different colors are so beautiful, can I touch them? Of course, no problem. Toki shyly stepped forward and touched Rob's wings. What Toki didn't know was that they were just paper wings, but who could blame her? It looked so real after all. Are you satisfied now? Rob's face showed a meaningful smile. He was enjoying the actions of this time fairy as he secretly liked to call it. Yes. Do you know anything about the moon and sun race? Rob was really surprised by her question, because of course, he knew about Lunarian, but he had never heard of Sunshian before. Maybe she talking about Shandion. Yes, I've heard of the Lunarian race, those who look like fallen angels with black wings and can control flames, right? But I've never heard of Sunshian before. What? Rob was surprised by the bewildered look on Toki's face. For a moment her face overlapped with a reaction similar to Hiyori from the anime version he had seen in his past life. They both had the same face after all. Sorry. I wasn't expecting you to really know about the Lunarian, that startled me. Oh, I understand. There is only one person alive from the Lunarian race at the moment, so your reaction is understandable. Very, very few people know about this race because it is already extinct, the so-called gods in the past. So, there are still remains. Really? When Toki remembered that she was going to slip and reveal something, she stopped speaking. It reminds me, you told me you came from 800 years ago, that. I believe you? You believe me? Okay, let's not talk about it anymore, come here, let's continue our trip. Rob opened his embrace because there was no other way, he had to fly while holding her. When Toki understood the matter, she was as ashamed as she had never felt before, but she nevertheless strengthened her resolve and slipped into Rob's arms. Her thin body was very light in his arms, so there was no problem. He stored the yacht in inventory and flapped his wings easily. This was the second time he had flown with a woman, the first time, Olvia of course. Toki enjoyed the trip and grew closer to Rob again, beginning to feel happy around him. A short time later, a man and a woman disembarked in Wano Kuni. He fulfilled his promise to Toki and finally delivered her to Wano. Chapter 96 Meeting Trafalgar D. Water Chris. After leaving Toki under Kikunoho's exclusive protection, Rob returned to the Kingdom of Drum in order to follow up on the condition of the injured and unlucky women. Rob has agreed with Toki to wait for him at the Kuri art store, once she had finished her works in Wano, and he had also recommended Kikunoho, Kinemon, and the others to take special care of Toki, so he wasn't too worried about her. After receiving the reassuring news from Olvia regarding the stable condition of the 15 women who were being treated by Dr. Kurha, Rob breathed a sigh of relief and moved on to his next target. Flivens Island? Yes, a visit to this dreary place with a beautiful facade was again on his schedule a long time ago. He had a dispute with the royal family to resolve, but the most important thing was that he wanted to meet Trafalgar D. Water Chris. It's time to hurry up and help this dead city in order to find a way out to survive. Destination, Art Store Flivens. The teleportation room in the art store Drum Kingdom glowed, and Rob disappeared from the scene afterward. The next moment, he appeared in a similar room. Rob walked out of his personal section and was greeted by a good number of people visiting the store. After all, it wasn't the day a manga volume was published or an event of some sort, it was a non-commercial time of the day. But even so, there were so many people, that made Rob happy. These people recognized him and caused such a stir, after all, that Rob would come over and over to Flivens, so much so that some thought Rob was always in their city. It was a common misunderstanding among every city that had an art store. Hello, Rob-san. We missed you, store owner. Hurry up and let us know Nami's condition. We want other chapters. What happened after Aizen escaped from the Soul Society? We want to know. Rob greeted these people with a smile as he walked out of the art store. As for the people who wanted spoilers, Rob didn't enjoy spoiling up stories for the readers, so he shrugged them off. Rob walked the white streets of Flivens, and the city would have been so beautiful if there had been no dreadful tragedy behind its beautiful facade. Rob received greetings again from the people on the street, so he wasn't stingy in greeting them either. This time Rob goes straight to the big hospital in the city, where he wants to find the person he's looking for. Rob sat in the office of Trafalgar D. Chris while carefully examining the young man in front of him. This person was, after all, a member of the notorious D clan, so Rob thought he had something special. But no matter how closely he observed, he didn't find anything special about this man. He was a young man of 23 years old, even his appearance looked ordinary. He was like any doctor you would find in any hospital you went to. Then, Mr. Rob, why are you looking for me? In fact, even Trafalgar D. Chris was tense about this man's sudden visit. After all, who doesn't know Rob? Before he was the author of the famous One Piece manga, he was a pirate with a bounty close to $1 billion. He also obtained an entire kingdom by absolute authority. In the new nation of Luneville, Rob was above the Prime Minister. He was like a National Guard. This is just a small amount of his authority. After all, Rob is known for being the trade emperor. The number of his stores spread around the 4 seas is estimated at 21. This is only what has been discovered so far and what is publicly known. It was a frightening number that showed the wealth and power of this man. Plus everyone knew that Rob had managed to defeat the Admiral. Someone with such strength and authority would come to visit him, who was just a little doctor. Naturally, even kings would be tense, let alone him. You don't have to be so nervous. I didn't come looking for you with bad intentions. When Rob noticed that the other party was tense, he hastened to make him relax, for, after all, he didn't come to visit him out of malice or out of evil. Excuse me, but in front of someone like you even kings would feel pressured. You might not know this, but the aura around you made my back cold from sweat. I'm just an ordinary doctor, you know. He was already just an ordinary doctor and wasn't a fighter with any kind of strength. Oh, I'm really sorry if I caused you any kind of stress. I had a battle recently, so maybe my body is still unconsciously on guard. Rob cancelled out any tension in his body, causing the frightening aura that had been surrounding him to disappear the whole time. He was moving from one place to another the whole time, so his body was on standby the whole time. Or maybe not. This was a habit that followed him from his previous world. Its symptoms became more severe in this world of One Piece and he couldn't get rid of it easily, because this is related to the subconscious. He was chased all the time in his previous life, and he didn't complete half a year since he moved to this world, so these habits will remain negativity with him for some time naturally. Ah, I see, that makes sense since if you were in a fight. Mr. Chris, you are the most famous doctor in this country, so you will naturally be the most familiar with the health of your countrymen, right? A deep frown appeared on Trafalgar D. Chris's face when he heard Rob's words. He had a conclusion in his heart, but he was in no hurry to reveal things. Huh? The answer of this question would be, yes, naturally. When I came here for the first time, I felt that this place is unnatural. There is some secret under this smiling facade. I don't randomly choose the cities in which I open my projects. The tense smile on Dr. Chris's face froze when he heard this, but Rob still spoke. At first, it was just a feeling, but that unnatural feeling made me research this issue, and what I discovered was shocking. No, it was actually scary. Dr. Chris was no longer smiling in any way, but looked rather helpless, and asked a question he already knew the answer to. What have you discovered, Mr. Rob? I discovered that this city. Rob paused for a while, looking deeply into Chris's eyes before continuing. Dying. Sigh. Dr. Chris let out a long sigh as if he was removing an entire eon of sighs in one sigh. It was a helpless sigh. Rob really felt pity for this man. How did you find out? Rob's use of a hypnosis-like manner of speech, his manipulation of words, his control of his voice, the timing of the right words, and his use of his aura, in the beginning, were all known in psychology to disable the listener. The listener will have no choice but to follow what you have to say. It's very easy. Anyone who is competent and knows a little science, if he looks into lead amber he will find how harmful it is to the human body in the long run. Inhaling its dust will certainly cause pulmonary constriction, and it also has carcinogenic properties that reduce the life expectancy. This substance is dangerous. Trafalgar D. Chris no longer has anything to say. This man in front of him already knew everything. Then since you know all this, are you planning to blackmail the royal family? Why did you come to look for me? Why should I even blackmail them? They are doomed. I have come looking for you because I want to help you save this city. Have you thought wrong of me? Huh. At this moment Trafalgar D. Chris felt was deeply shocked. His mind couldn't comprehend what he was hearing. I have clients who are reading my books in this city. How can I let them die so early? Rob left satisfied completely after speaking to Dr. Chris. This man was so emotional that he cried so hard when Rob gave him a helping hand. Even Rob was touched by how responsible this man was as a doctor. The members of the D clan were truly mysterious individuals. This man was giving everything he had to save this country's people. So Rob didn't hesitate to help him. He gave a drop of his blood after extracting the immortal attribute from it due to the system. Only the healing properties remained in his blood. Rob's system has this ability. As long as it's something about the host's body he can do whatever he wants. It was an auxiliary function in the art publishing system. Rob lied about the source of the drop of blood, telling Dr. Chris that it was a drop of blood from an extinct mythical beast, and he believed him immediately. He also suggested that he work with Dr. Kurha to create an effective treatment from that drop of blood. Trafalgar D. Chris didn't refuse and gladly accepted. Although he does not know who Dr. Kurha was, he will have an idol in the near future. Rob had already spoken to Dr. Kurha about the matter and how serious it was, and she agreed. Here Rob has done his part to save the people of this country perfectly. But his role doesn't end here yet. This time Rob appeared in the royal palace, exactly in the king's room which looked as vast as a palace itself. The king with a swollen belly and golden bracelets was living bliss with his women on the bed, but when Rob appeared, feeling as if a mountain was pressing on him, the women, his harem, quickly left the room. Very quickly, he woke up from heaven to find himself at the door of hell. You, Merchant Rob, what do you want from me? He almost pissed himself in terror when he saw the smile of mockery on the face of the man who had terrified him for months now. I learned about the Amber Lead. The king felt as if thunder was exploding in his mind when he heard this, so he knew that his affairs had come to an end. I'll give you 10 days to get you and your family out of this kingdom and appoint Trafalgar D. Water Chris as your successor. If you don't, I'll pull you out by force, and believe me, you wouldn't feel good at that time. Chapter 97 Arrancar Arc 1. The New Bleach Arc. The emergence of bleach techniques in the pirates' world, on a small island in West Blue. In fact, it cannot be called a small island. Because it was very small, it was 200 square meters in size at most, so it wasn't even a named island. Besides 2 short banana trees stood young Mihawk. His young body was sweating as he tried to implement the techniques in his mind. The technique he wanted to master the most was Shunpo. This speed technique was the most convenient for him and the most amenable to mastering quickly. This technique has an 80% match with Zoro of Navy, but it's much more flexible. It's way better. Many wounds appeared on Mihawk's bare feet. Obviously, he had been training for a long time in this place to master Shunpo. The air around him was very heavy as if he was in a double gravitational field, but he didn't show any fatigue even though his body was sweating profusely. Although he had yet to master it, there was still much progress. Mihawk was very calm and focused. If he wanted to learn something that his eyes found possible, he would definitely master it. This was not just nonsense but the truth. This was his natural talent. What One Piece readers don't know about Mihawk is that he has the strongest learning talent in the entire pirates world. A few meters away from Mihawk, another young man was sitting. It was Ishao. He was enjoying the way this young man was doing things. Add more gravity. This is not enough. Mihawk said in an indifferent tone. His voice was solid but still had a youthful tone as if he wasn't feeling the pressure of gravity already. Are you sure? You've been training with ×4 high gravity for 2 days now. Although he admired this young man's determination, he still worried about him. After all, he had never had a friend before. Mihawk was his first friend. Make it ×6 for me, Ishao. Huh? That's too much. Just do it. Shunpo technique needs pressure to break free. It cannot be trained by normal means. You are the best person who can help with this kind of training. Meeting you really was my good fortune. Ha 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 ha, thanks for your praise. Well, cheek it. Gravity x6. Thus Mihawk continued to practice diligently to master Shunpo. What Rob didn't know was that because of him, the future admiral and the future strongest Shishibukai became very close friends. The future was heading towards an unknown place. At this moment, a green light appeared in the sky from the east. It was a very familiar light for Mihawk. This place was very close to an island that contained an art store. Art store Frisia. This island was also close to O'Hara. A new chapter of Bleach has just been released. Ishao, let's go. Who? Really? I'm excited, so excited. I want to see what happened after Aizen ran so hard. Me also. You know, Aizen is clearly the most powerful person in the Shinigami world, shrewd in planning and has terrifying and incomprehensible strength. How will Ichigo beat him? Let's hurry up and see. Frisia is already near here. Aren't we going to O'Hara? You said you wanted to meet the store owner, and I also wanted to meet him. A glint of defiance appeared in Mihawk's eyes. The store owner was one of the strongest swordsmen in the world. Only one of this caliber could feel his blood rushing at the thought of his fight. The Sky Sword was someone of the same clay as the Dark King Rayleigh and the strongest swordsman in the world Shiki. Okay, let's go to O'Hara. We'll read today's volume in O'Hara. Mary Giose. What monsters with amazing powers? Arrancar? Ichigo didn't have a chance. That Ulquiorra has a cold aura around him as if it was death itself. I wasn't expecting Ichigo's father, Ishida's father, Shinigami, and Quincy to be respectively. This was really off the charts. And what about this person, Shinji Hirako? It sounds promising. An entire organization of Ichigo-like people with terrifying inner monsters under control. Aren't those enough to destroy the world? All of this can't be compared to Aizen's real target. Who is the Soul King? Why, it does look so divine. That's right. Could it be like Lord Imma in our world? Shut up, this is sacrilege for our Lord. For a long period, the 5 elders continued discussing the events of the Bleach manga with a burning spirit. Since the Bleach manga was a fictional manga that had strong techniques and a good global foundation and had no real threat to their world, like the One Piece manga, it had no controversy. Every volume was being discussed with a pleasant touch by the 5 elders. The festival outside caused by the noise of celestial dragons who were happy with the Bleach manga was a testament to how good this masterpiece was. The first part of the Arrancar arc, the Arrival arc, was so awesome. After all, it made all Bleach fans expect more. This time Rob didn't add Bleach fillers in the manga after the rescue arc. He just ignored them and went to the Arrancar arc. That was the important thing. He won't draw any unimportant fillers in his manga. Only padding that he deems important and worthy enough. In the empty throne, which was not empty at all, long legs of a beautiful woman appeared. Only her long interlaced legs can cause blood to rise to the head and a person dies with the trademark Sanji, death by blood loss. A very elegant woman sat on the throne, enjoying turning the pages of a manga book. Suddenly, when the moment arrived when Yamamoto mentioned Aizen's target of attempting to overthrow the Soul King, an interesting smile appeared on her misty face, all that could be seen as a bloody glint in her red moon-like eyes. Aizen? Soul King? Interesting. Are they fictional characters? Should I ask my Rob-chan? Oh, Rob-chan, no one can please me in this grey world as much as you. Phew. Unbeknownst to him, Rob had become possessed by a person too obsessed to comprehend it. Kingdom of Drum. In the medical hall of the art store, Rob suddenly felt a cold chill run down his spine. Alvia, who was holding his hand, felt this abnormal emotion. Don't worry too much, my dear, you've done your best, and they're already cured. Alvia was also angry. After all, these 15 women arrived in a very miserable condition. They were brutally raped by several pirates, and their genitals were badly damaged. It's strange that her husband wouldn't get angry and destroy half of an island with the pirates. Such was something she felt helpless about. Just thinking that her kind husband had experienced such an unfortunate incident made her want to blow these pirates' heads off with her shotgun. Rob looked at his wife with a look of deep love, although he didn't understand why he was getting goosebumps, but his dear wife always found a reason for everything. Of course, he was still angry about the condition of the women who were been raped. But what could he do other than what he did? He cannot reverse time. All they could do now was leave the group of women here to take care of them psychologically. The art store was the best place to treat a person's psyche after all. The proof is that these 15 women were enjoying reading One Piece manga right now despite their bitter moods. The same goes for the large group of women survivors, who enjoyed the manga before sending them to their homes in a happy mood by Rob. For the past 3 days, the team of maid sisters joined by a new member, Toki, has been looking after the 15 women on Drum Island, so Rob is back in his usual works. In O'Hara, today Rob met 2 unexpected people. After enjoying today's volume in the crowded O'Hara art store, Mihawk and Isha were surprised by the number of surprises that appeared in it, from the appearance of Arrancar and the fight of Ulquiorra and Yami against Ichigo, Ishida, Uriah, and Orium. By the way, Ulquiorra was just a spectator because Yami alone took care of them all, to the emergence of the Visored group led by Shinji and the appearance of Grimjo Jaeger Jaquez as well. Overcoming Ichigo's Hitsuguya and his Shinigami team against Hueco Mundo team, Rukia reappears. Ichigo and Ishida's parents reveal their true identity under Urahara's more mysterious urges. Mihawk and Ishao's reaction to the chapters today was naturally excited. But Mihawk, as usual, was quick to save any new techniques that appeared in this arc. When they intended to leave the art store, the person they were looking for came out. The store owner finally appeared. Chapter 98 Navy Fleet knocking on the doors of Little Garden. While the world was preoccupied with the new fiery events of Bleach, the Navy had been on a mission to recover dangerous criminals on the run from justice for more than 7 decades. A fleet of Marines surrounded Little Garden Island right now. Their target was very clear: killing or capturing the 2 giants, Brogy and Dory, nicknamed the Red Ogre and the Blue Ogre, respectively. This wasn't what Rob expected at all, because he still thought the world would think his stories were fiction. Why did the world government and the Navy decide to visit a prehistoric island to search for 2 giants that appeared in the manga? Why would the world government and the Navy do such a thing? Isn't this an admission that the manga is telling the truth? In fact, this is what it might seem at first glance. But the 5 elders decided that based on their mere assumption. And what they assumed was that Rob visited Little Garden and saw giants there fighting each other, and he probably interacted with them as well before he came out with the inspiration to create this arc. The assumption of the 5 elders was not too far from the truth. This assumption led them to order the arrest on this day. The Navy was intent on striking with all it had and dragging the giants to impel down. 10 warships stopped at Little Garden Bay, and hundreds of Marines disembarked, carrying their weapons and swords, in order to secure the way for the others. Little Garden was a dangerous island full of monsters after all. Under tight orders, Little Garden Bay was controlled by the Navy. Sengoku looked toward this calmly before ordering: all units, advance and secure the area. Don't interfere in the affairs of giants. If you see them, leave them to us. Understood, sir. There were 4 vice admirals in the fleet and 1 admiral and 1 fleet admiral. If the world hears about this move from the Navy, the world will be turned upside down. Were they going to fight a world war? No, they were just going to capture the pirate leaders of the giant warriors, that's all. But why do they seem to use a butcher's knife to chop vegetables? This is because they think that the Little Garden contains a secret art store that Rob has placed here. It might alert him to come here, so they send this force to dodge all obstacles including Rob. Today, they were intent on arresting the Red Ogre Brogy and the Blue Ogre Dory. Undoubtedly, the Navy's move was totally unexpected for everyone. Fleet Admiral Sengoku, Admiral Zephyr, 4 Vice Admirals, these were 90% of the Navy's raw strength concentrated completely and reliably on this mission. If its news were to be leaked, there is no doubt that it would send ridiculous waves across the world, but the Navy did so in secret so that no single news could be leaked, no matter how small. If the world government wanted to keep something a secret, they would undoubtedly do so. Near the art store, on a flat and green grassy plain, Brogy and Dory sat enjoying the hands battle in their human size. As long as they are within 40 meters of the art store, they can perfectly maintain their human size. This was an art store feature to allow guests to familiarize themselves with the store's features before entering it, and this only applied to the body contraction or stretching feature. Geigia Brogy, you can't defeat me in a hands battle, just give up. You took advantage of my situation when I was drunk vodka and beat me. That's unfair, uncalculated. What's so unfair? I didn't ask you to compete with me when you were drunk, weren't you? Yes, but... Oh, Brogy, looks like we've got and cracked, and sparks of collision attacks flew into the sky. A destroying island-level battle has begun hours ago, between two admirals and two giants. A giant axe collided with a black fist and a frightening and horrific shockwave spread out, uprooting many trees. Brogy's gigantic body curved by a third and approached the ground due to Admiral Zephyr's fearsome attack. The gigantic axe that followed him centuries ago contained many crevices. This was undoubtedly the toughest battle he had ever been through. His friend Dory was in no better condition. Beside his stomach, Sengoku on his golden Buddha form was unleashing horrific attacks that made giant Dory spit blood. His sword was already broken. It is useless to resist. You have already fought for 2 hours. This record is impressive enough to raise your bounty by leaps and bounds to over 500 million berries. Why don't you give up now? We don't want to kill both of you. Sengoku was truly a vile person, his words showing an air of admiral. Among them were the cute female recruits of the Tsuru crew. Youngjun was the first to want to go back inside to try to succeed in the mission assigned to them by the fleet admiral, but because she wasn't focused, she bumped into a tall man who was walking out of the art store. Ouch! This is so painful. She felt like she hit a steel wall instead of going through the gate, but that couldn't be right, could it? The Marines who were following behind her turned back in terror. Some of them even fell to their butts in shock. This is... Jun raised her head to see what she had collided with, but she saw the face of an angry man. Lightning was flashing within his eyes like electric dragons ready to stun someone to death. A vast aura swept across the place, causing Sengoku and Zephyr to put on a very serious expression. This simple task had unexpectedly hit a steel plate, not perhaps even a bit predictable. Youngjun's body trembled like a tree branch tossed by the wind. She felt as if she was standing in the presence of death itself. From this day forward, this moment will be imprinted deeply in her heart forever. Rob will be the epitome of fear for her, the only person she can't overcome her fear of. In his presence, as if breathing became difficult, Rob doubled in size in the Marine's eyes and became like a tall mountain, squeezing their spirits, causing everyone to fall to the ground, including Marine Goddess Jun. Before some time ago, Rob, who was on the island of Drum escorting the 15 psychically devastated women with Dr. Kurha, Alvia, and the others, he received 2 notices from the system, which were different notices this time. Divine Protection activated. Destination, Little Garden Island. Divine Protection activated. Destination, Little Garden Island. This was not the first time he had received such a notice. He had already received it dozens of times. After all, this was the pirate world. The danger is everywhere. Many true One Piece fans across the 4 seas were rescued from the claws of death and taken to the art store they deal with right away. This was the greatest feature of the art store, which is not yet known to everyone, needing at least years for enough people to benefit from it so that it is believed as an indisputable fact. But the world government heard about this feature also. Although they heard about it, they didn't really believe in it. But today they faced this divine feature. What surprised Rob this time and made the blood in his body freeze is the destination. For the first time, this feature has been activated in the Little Garden art store. Twice, not once. Who were his clients in Little Garden? They were only 2. Brogy and Dory? Very quickly, Rob told the 15 women that he had important work to do and left their care for Alvia, Rouge, Toki, and the others before leaving the medical ward immediately. Since he was inside his personal section, he quickly moved into the teleportation room and was about to move. Of course, he didn't hide his angry expression from Alvia, Toki, Sora, and the others. They whispered to each other for a while and Alvia followed behind Rob. Husband, what happened all of a sudden? Why do you look so angry? Rob paused before activating teleportation when he heard Alvia's anxious voice. He looked at Alvia for a while before showing his usual gentle smile. I have some friends in trouble, so I'm going to lend a hand. Don't worry, my love. Before she could say anything, Rob sealed her lips with a very hot kiss. Then he gently patted her swollen belly. Come on, little Robin, get out quickly. This daddy's been waiting for a long time. Ha 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 ha. Alvia laughed happily when she felt the warmth of her usual husband. This was the mood of her real husband, so there was nothing to worry about. Dear, take care of yourself. I hope everything goes well. Well, no need to worry. Rob came out of his personal section of the art store Little Garden and saw an infuriating sight. His dear comrades Brogy and Dory, breathing rough and bloody, at a random place near his personal section. Brogy, Dory, are you guys conscious? Rob pressed his anger into his heart before asking them. He was assured about their lives right now. They couldn't die in his store anyway, even if they were on their last breath. When Dory and Brogy heard their friend's voice, they were thrilled. Their friend was here for them. With great difficulty, they looked toward Rob and raised their hands in the form of a battle of hands to greet Rob. Rob returned their greeting without hesitation. We had a great fight, dude. Yeah, you should see that golden belly marine bastard's face when he failed to block our joint attack. Gaba baba. Cough, cough. Since he had talked so much, Brogy coughed up blood at this moment. His injury was really severe, not only because of Admiral Zephyr's attacks, but the main reason was the backlash of using every drop of their strength in the crushing attack earlier. Don't talk, since I'm here, everything will be fine. Rob couldn't suppress his anger anymore. He got up and wanted to go out to face the Navy. We are counting on you, my friend. Don't worry. This was Rob's response to Dory's confidence. It wasn't easy to get the complete confidence of the giant race. Only Rob and a few other humans in the past succeeded in this. When Rob came out in his angry state, he shocked Jun, almost causing her to pee on herself in terror. Rob didn't give her another look, even though he recognized this beauty. He wasn't in a good mood to appreciate beauty now. His friends were bullied because of his manga. He clearly had the responsibility, so he couldn't escape paying the price. He relaxed his defense a lot and allowed the Navy to give him such a blow. Lately, he was too relaxed and forgot how disgusting world government was. Why didn't he take this into account? Is he beginning to be affected by the mood of this stupid world? No, not as if he hadn't taken it into account, but rather he was relieved that he thought the world government wouldn't dare to provoke him. But they didn't really provoke him, they wanted to catch wanted pirates. They didn't know they had some kind of relationship with Rob. This was a mistake in Rob's own judgment, so he can only blame himself for this. Who would have expected that the world government would send a fleet admiral, an admiral, 4 vice admirals, and hundreds of marines? Isn't that what the word despair means? Even Rob didn't expect it. 2 giants who haven't caused trouble for several decades now deserve so much attention. Rob has clearly underestimated the world government's face and reputation. The marines and even their officers gave way to Rob, who walked leisurely through the wreckage. How peaceful and beautiful little garden was, and how it turned out. It almost split in two. Rob looked toward Zephyr, who had a collision with him in the past, without expression and said, "Admiral Zephyr, why all this bullying of peaceful giants who have not harmed anyone in 7 decades? Even Zephyr was embarrassed by exactly this. He also didn't know why the world government had sent all this power. Wasn't he alone was enough? No, in fact, before this mission he had seriously thought that he alone was enough, but when he saw the strength of the giants himself, he had already overruled this stupid assumption. It wasn't enough at all. These 2 giants were as powerful as a low-level admiral? Every one of them? If they gather their strength on him, he will die without a doubt?" Since his old friend couldn't answer this embarrassing question, Sengoku offered to answer. "Sky Sword, Rob, we have nothing against you. Why did you come? Do you want to obstruct justice? We didn't bully anyone, even though they've been peaceful for 7 decades. Before that they weren't at all peaceful. 100 million bounties in that time wasn't a joke. It's like a billion berries bounty in this time if we are to compare. And their new crime is enough to nullify any sympathy we can bring about them. They killed a vice admiral from our ranks. This crime cannot be condoned in any way." Rob looked at Sengoku in shock at what he heard. Brogy and Dory succeeded in killing the vice admiral? Oh my god, this cannot be fixed anymore.